Welcome to the Condor DM show. Look at me. Look at this guy over here. He's from a YouTube channel called Legion of Myth. You can find the link down below. Afterwards, go over and check him out. Give him some love. His name is Max Liao. It's all about him tonight. It's going to be an interview. I got questions. We'll see if we get through them all, right? We're going to have some fun and talk about gaming. How about we open it like this, Max? First, you could tell me how old you are, where you're from. Yeah, there you go. Let's start with
people my age because I have my OF to worry about. No. I'm 52. Sorry. And when I put gel in my hair, I don't look it when it comes out. Apparently, I'd look a little older, but no. 52. Born and raised in Minnesota. Now live in Alabama. So come stalk me there because I have Second Amendment right down here. And gaming. I started gaming in 1983. I can dive deeper into any of that if you want, but
I got questions. Don't worry, we'll be diving deeper into it. I promise you that. So, first question is this: you had a delay on your entry into the hobby, something to do with the satanic panic.
Oh yeah.
You want to talk about that if you want?
Sure. So I went to. Somebody's been stalking me. He knows a little bit about me. No, I went to Lutheran school. So right off the bat, if you talked about Doctor Who, you could talk Star Wars and Star Trek a little bit. But it was a really conservative Lutheran school, and if you brought up Dungeons and Dragons, oh lordy, did that become a problem? So I played Dungeons and Dragons my first time at age 10. It's a story a lot of folks out there already know about me in terms of the ant story.
Yeah.
But I got basically caught and told not to do that, and I was given extra Bible verses and hymns to read. So, but I could play BattleTech.
Now we're going to get into BattleTech. Here's something I'm trying to make sure there's no weird background noise because here's something I appreciate about you that I figured out over the years. Like me, I'm not as extreme as you, but you can be very picky about certain noises and things that go on. I'm the same way. I can't stand watching people eat or make a noise. So tonight I'm not smoking on this stream for the sake of no noise in the background for you. I'm sorry if there is anything, and Max, if there is, let me know right away. Okay. Just straight, and I'll get rid of the noise.
This is my job professionally, not YouTubing. I work in video conferencing for DoD professionally, so there's a lot of things that I'll notice that maybe others don't.
No, I totally understand, and I'm sympathetic to it because I feel the same way about many things. So every time I've heard you talk about that, it's one of the most sympathetic things. I actually totally am on your side when I'm here. I'm like, yeah, I'll go watch a stream, and if I hear certain background noises, click.
Yep.
And I know you know that. I know you know a lot of people like me out there click if they hear certain noises. And I know YouTube is an important gimmick for you as you put your best foot forward on here, and I actually respect that about you. I take this serious too. I'm not always just here to be casual. I got other purposes or intent with it. So I totally get that on your side. Just want to say that before we go further.
Sure.
All right. So let's talk about your early years. Is it mostly GMing, a mix, or playing? And what do you prefer?
Depends on the era. So in the 80s, it was just kind of me hanging out with my friends doing the thing. I'd say that I didn't GM at all in the 80s. I might be wrong about that, but again, that's so long ago that I don't remember. Nope. That I am wrong about that because I actually GM'd a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game in the late 80s. So, but it was mostly playing. To simple answer, it was mostly playing. Like I said, I started with D&D once, and it was either basic or AD&D. I cannot remember. I just know I played a thief, and I got scared by ants, and it was awesome. Then I moved into BattleTech because nobody saw Satanism and giant stompy robots, so I played that. But that wasn't really a role-playing game. I was allowed to play Robotech because, again, giant stompy robots. And then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I always forget which one I started with. They were very close together. Wasn't until the 90s, I like right before I graduated high school, I started running my first game. They all hated it, mostly because I saw gaming differently than some of them. They had these characters that were like 20th and 25th level, and they were superheroes basically. And me, I'm like reading things like Dragonlance or the Avatar trilogy or whatever else, and I'm like, these characters aren't starting out like that.
No.
Where's the challenge for murder? I mean, they're like, here's the player's handbook. Just pick any spell out of there you want, and you can cast it. I'm like, right to the end. Time stop. It's too easy.
It's like playing Rust or something. I play a video game, Rust. I get your whole total attitude about this. There's PvP, and that's what Rust is all about, right? But then there's PvE servers where you go against environment and you don't got to worry about playing against other players. It's way easier to play the game. But you sound like a guy in this hobby that when it comes to the PvE, if you get the comparison, is you don't want the soft game. You want the PvP or what the game was meant to be. If it's meant to be rough, that's what you want.
Right. I mean, even today, I lean towards grittier. Now, I don't like meat grinders. The DCC funnel is interesting once or twice, but I don't want to do that all the time. But I want to be challenged, and I know how to challenge you at first level. I know how to challenge you at fifth level. I am one of those people that I don't enjoy the high levels as much. You know, some people, well, it's because you're no good at it. It's like, well, actually, one of my best campaigns was a Death Knight, a Drow, a Vampire, a whole bunch of evil, and they loved it. I just find it to be more work than I want to put in. I'm a little lazy with that. So to go back to your question though, in the 80s, it was mostly a player. In the 90s, right after I joined the Air Force, I basically became a permanent DM. 6 days a week. I had 2 campaigns going on at my first base in New Mexico.
Yeah.
I had a weekday group. That was one campaign, a Sunday group that was another campaign, and then I'd go to War Games West in Albuquerque on Saturdays to play.
People will think you're bragging when you say how much game you're doing at certain points, but an experienced person like myself, and I hope you understand what I mean by this, is saying it's not about bragging. We get addicted. We get absolutely addicted to doing this, and we're not doing it to show off, like, oh, we did this much, or saying about our past, because some people will read into what you're saying sometimes, like, what are you saying? It's not that. It's if I say I have a shitload of gaming, it's not because I want to say I'm better than you. It's just it is. I've done so much gaming. I get absolutely addicted, just like yourself early on. Just like you, I only played a little bit in the 80s because I'm a little younger than you are. And I started DMing in the 90s too as well. So yeah, about the same timeline. I think that's why we both got the second edition the way we did.
Well, yeah, I probably would have been a first edition or basic guy if that's what I'd started with. But I really, in terms of really understanding the game, I started with second edition. But what I loved about the 90s, and especially being in the Air Force and, you know, having new people come in and me PCS and going elsewhere, is I got exposed to so many games. For the love of God, man, if there's one thing I want to tell anybody and everybody out there, stop with the I only play this game. Now, if you're like me, you're 52 years old and you're like, you know what, I've played a ton of games. I know what I like. I get that. But if you're young or you're new to the hobby, try your 5Es, try your Palladiums, try your Forbidden Lands, check them all out. Because if I hadn't played Harn, Torg, Cyberpunk, Shadow, you know, just going down the litany there, I might not know exactly what I like. And all of that together has given me such a great perspective on, like, this game's awesome for me, for this reason. That game I don't like, you know, you might, I don't, for these reasons, yada, yada, yada. So please, and that's what I love about the 90s. The 90s for me, some people say it really started in the 80s, but for me, the 90s was the golden age. There wasn't a day that went by that I wasn't thinking about gaming, even if I wasn't playing a game.
Well, affordability, there's not a lot on options, so the customer base backs up a lot of people they probably wouldn't back up today with products that probably wouldn't pass the qualifier today, but got passed then because at the time you need to be, as a customer, if you don't support this, you don't have a hobby outside of D&D. So either you pay or that guy goes down in flames.
Apparently, there is still some echo going on. I thought I heard a little bit in the background, but I got some noise cancellation, so forth going on. So.
Is this me echoing on your end?
I mean, you're wearing headsets. I don't know how you can be echoing. It's weird.
I know. I purposely, let me see if I could just move this back. Are you hearing this echoing noise?
I'm hearing a little warble in the background, but it's not like an echo. But like I said, I have things that help stop that. So
let me see. Does that noise end?
I mean, I can talk quieter if people want.
I'll move back from the mic a bit here, just see if that helps. I'm totally, like I said,
you're still clear.
Okay, as long as that noise isn't too bad, because it's all about you here. I'll mute it if I have to. I will. I have no problem with that. I mean, let's actually, before we jump to more tabletop role-playing game stuff, there's something you mentioned I said I want to get into. Let's mention it. You're, from what I hear, a dirty compellant, whatever. So go ahead and talk about that. What's your wargaming history?
So yes, my handle, Max Liao, for any BattleTech player knows that comes from BattleTech, Maximilian Liao. I'll give the quickest version of the story that I can. Okay. We were doing a play by it came out, I think, Battle Technology magazine, and it was like a play by mail game, but we were doing it in our high school group. And so obviously the one guy got his house Davian first because everybody wants to be the good guys. And then the one guy who always played House Created because he's so into anime, which Japanimation as we called it back then, was so into that. He's like everything anime, he had to be House Created. Okay. And then somebody else already took House Steiner as well. And so there are two left. There's House Merrick, purple guys, and House Liao, the green guys. And I'm like, I don't like House Merrick. It's just all chaotic and whatnot. It's like, who are these little green guys? And they're like, oh, you don't want to be them. They're the bad guys. I'm like, well, who are they? Well, the Capellan Confederation, Max Liao, they're like Soviet. And my eyes pop. Wait, what? Soviet? Okay, keep going. Yeah, Chinese, Soviet. I'm like, I'm in because at that time I was taking Russian in high school. So I was like, I want to be there. Like, no, my real name's John. So like, John, you don't want to do that. You probably want to be American. At least they have a bigger economy or whatever. I'm like, nope, this is the one I want to be. And then I went and did something really devious. I went to the guy who was playing House Davy and I said, hey, you want to attack Karita? Because they weren't friends. They didn't like each other in real life. So you want to attack him? I'll annex the Capellan March. Just let me administrate it. And you don't have to worry about any forces, and I'll worry about House Merrick. Well, he didn't know what the word annex meant, and I didn't know that. So he annexed it. We had this little thing drafted out, and basically I owned all that. I was like, yes. Well, the game master stepped in and said, you can't do that. Why not? like he signed it. He didn't know what the word meant. I'm like, well, first of all, I didn't know that, and secondly, not my fault. Anyway, became a big fight, but they're like, you are a Capellan, because that is such a Capellan thing to do. I'm like, sweet, I'm in. And I just kind of stuck with it. When I used to use BBSs back in the late 80s and 90s, nobody ever had the name Max Liao, but Hans Davian and Katrina Steiner and all that would be taken. So it just stuck with me. It just really stuck with me throughout the years.
Sounds like when you finally commit to something like this is my deal, and somebody says no, you're just like, no, fuck off. That's my deal. Yeah, it's like I got, and then you get it in your head that this is going to be the way it plays out, and then somebody says it's not playing out this way, and you're like, no.
Well, the other part that I really liked about it was the Capellan Confederation is so opposite of me in real life. I wouldn't call myself a libertarian. I'm not. But I'm certainly not a communist. I'm certainly not a Soviet. I'm certainly not, like all the things that it purports. So it was, to me, it was kind of a role-playing shtick, and I love to role-play. So I'm a citizen, and I'm a proper citizen of the Capellan Confederation, yada, 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 something that, in real life would be, I love perpetrating that. So.
Maybe more like from what I've heard about you, maybe I'd almost, if you were asked me to judge you, I'd be like, classic liberal centralist, centrist, more like I could see you're opposing the woke stuff, unlike me, who's a conservative, right? I could see why the center opposes it as much as somebody like me, right? So when I look at you, it's at least from your opinions. Maybe I'm wrong, but you sound more classic liberal most of the time. I've heard you speak.
I'll be honest with you. I know where I think I fit in, but I don't know exactly where I fit in, because anytime I say this is what I believe I am, you'll have the people go, no, you're not, because if you did,
I don't want you to commit here and put yourself on here. Just me. Saying it.
I'm a conservative. I was the token right winger at a lot of tables. Like that's who I am. I am a conservative. But what type of conservative? Well, I tried being libertarian, found out that they were children. I tried being I've raised Christian, right? So there's some neocon in me. Maybe, I don't know, because I am hawkish. I worked for DOD for 32 years. I mean, maybe a little of that rubbed off.
That will do it.
It was Air Force, though. Is that really hawkish? No. But anyway, but I mean, there's a little bit of everything. But of course, as soon as you say you're something, somebody comes out, no, you're not, because if you were, you'd believe in this. So I am what I am.
Yeah, I've learned that over the years. You can't control how people want to view you on here. That is something you have just no control over. You just you give up on it after a certain point. You just go, okay, fair enough. I hope you'll. And I've over the years I try to put out content that explains certain things, but I find just some people, if they decide that's what you are, that's it.
Well, that's the weirdest thing about YouTube for me is that I've learned is. And I'm guilty of this as well. So I'm not blaming anybody on this, but if your content is more than 2 years old, they're not going to watch it. Like I have videos out there explaining entire game systems. Like, you should cover this game. It's already out there. Well, can you make new videos?
I've actually heard you say that quite a few times on the streams I have tuned in, where you'll see guys that I'll see them say, why don't you cover this, Max? And you're like, we did.
Right.
We did an entire thing on that thing. And I've heard you say that more than once. I'm just saying. So I get the consistency of running into people that miss your content. right? they just
and
don't check
then
it.
the other thing is yeah, like I have lost. So transitioning from what we did beforehand with the weekly live stream, which I was part of behind the scenes, but I lived in Germany at the time, so I didn't really have anything to do in front of the camera.
Yeah.
But transitioning from that to the rants, which is really what grew the channel, unfortunately, to then trying to phase that stuff out, we lost a ton of viewers, and there are still people out there on, we'll just say, different communities that will have nothing to do with us, no matter how much I promote the idea that, like on my Friday night stream, we want diversity, we want people, I want the blue hair, I want the crazy war gaming, no, if you're not counting every hex and every rule, and I want somebody in the middle, kind of concept.
I think you're going in the right direction. I watched some recent stuff that you've done, and it's like, I think here's what just a personal thing. There's a popularity in the negative factor drama world. There's an audience for it, and they'll grow you. But in my opinion, from what I see, there's a small ceiling. So it's like once you reach up to a certain point, then if you go away from that, you'll lose. You'll get hurt by that. And then there are some people that are say certain political point of views that won't agree with you, no matter how centrist you try to be with your content, because they might know you have certain personal opinions. Some people are just extreme. But outside of that, I still think the majority are right where you're at. I think my only take is some of the guys out there that I see it's like I see them doing content and I'm like, okay, that would attract a 50-year-old guy. Okay, fair enough. But why don't you talk with a bit more topics or energy sometimes just towards 30-year-olds? Like they're not going to be in the mindset of an older guy sitting talking about certain things. And it's like, I get that. Yeah, do that partly. That's who you are in life and that's what you enjoy. I'm not trying to offend people when I put out content saying, hey, I think it'd be nice if they put some more energy to things or went after things and thought about like the old school having a younger crowd, which it does. It still has 30s and guys in their early 40s. I'm like, these guys do not have the same mindset of sitting down and talking about World War II for 45 minutes when you say you're a tabletop role-playing game channel and then you put that content out. I say at the very least, I get criticism for putting out a mix of content, but I don't sell my channel as a dungeon tuber. I constantly tell people I am a YouTuber. I do a variety of content, right? So I sell myself.
Just heard that term a couple of weeks ago or a month ago or whatever.
Me too. What? Pretty much I thought it was because I think the term was created to put pressure on people. It's like, well, if you're a dungeon tuber, you can't say this or do this. And I'm like, well, I'm not, because I do that stuff.
Well, so, I heard it with Professor Dungeon Master when he made his like, I'm done doing this, when he was like overseas or whatever it was. He had this video where he's like, yeah, YouTube's messing with us dungeon tubers. I'm like, that's a term? I'm like, okay, well, guess that's what I am.
I heard some of the guys around the old school saying the term. I don't know if they picked it up for him or he just picked it up from somewhere else, but I was like, I don't count myself as that because I don't like the expectation. I don't like to pigeonhole myself in. It's like, that content does nothing for my YouTube channel. So it's because the audience, as much as I think I do some good stuff, the audience, a lot of the people don't like me. So it's one of these things where I get good watch time. I'm surprised by that. It's the best watch time I've ever gotten YouTube in my history. Watch time is amazing.
To be fair, that is that, and if you're I don't know if you're monetized yet, but that and income, those are the two things I look at. I don't look at subs anymore because I could get 1 million subs, and if you're not watching them, what does it matter? So watch time and income are like the two things I really pay attention to the most.
But it's weird, bad communication. I almost don't know what people want most of the time. Like it's like this. I'll get a reaction more to the non-TTRPG stuff. So on my YouTube channel, I had to reinvent myself. So when I came back, the TTRPG stuff would just not grow me at all. It wouldn't get me views. It wouldn't get me nothing. So it was like, okay, I tried that for a year, completely dead in the water.
Well, I'm not trying to promote another channel here, but I have to say this. The person that I think has really turned it around and done some amazing stuff with his channel, and as I've told people for years, he was so far behind me, and I neither like nor dislike the guy. Like he's just another one out there. But Tankar's Tavern. About 6 months ago, if you go look at his channel, about 6 months ago, he made a concerted effort to change. Now, I don't know if that was internal discussions with himself or with other people, whatever. And about 3 months ago, he started to skyrocket. And now he's blown by me. He's blown by a bunch of other people. He's actually using YouTube correctly right now.
The only change I seen with him is this. He went from doing heavy critical videos of people in the hobby, like just people in the industry, to eliminating almost 99% of critical videos and doing nothing but gaming videos and opinions. Yeah. And the second he starts doing, and you can see, I noticed it, you could just see it gradually starts going up. Less critical, almost 99% of that completely gone. No more attacking people, no more nothing. Just all this. And you find out, I still think, because if you look at the guys that are growing the most, no matter what you think of them, these are neutral, positive content creators. Like Matt Colville has a massive audience. You don't have to like him, but he does.
It's the second time somebody's mentioned him to me this week.
Yeah, but the only reason I notice him all the time, and I do the comparison, is I'm like going, well, if guys want to know what's popular, it's like if you're doing negative content and there's a small ceiling, but you want to go here, why do you keep going here? That confuses me. It's like, it's obvious that it's here, but you want to go here. And I'm like, but here's positive. Mm-hmm. You depend on negative. Like if you get some of the channels out there, if they don't have the negative attack content, I'm like, what are you known for? It's not a lot besides that. And I'm like, I get that it builds, just like you said, your rants, it builds. And I'm like, well, at what point and what if you make people have a hard time relating you with positive content? Sure. And then even as you try, because your reputation is so, I go after people. I mean, it doesn't mean you can't change it. YouTube will forgive you. Audience will always forgive you.
I don't know. I don't know about sometimes. That YouTube forgiveness. Because I mean, I've been on YouTube for 11 years now, and I look at, so for me particularly, how I determine if YouTube's doing whatever it's doing is how oh my God, not my click-through rate, because my click-through rate is actually pretty good. It's I can't remember the term, whatever the term is, to show how many people it put it in front of. I don't know why I can't think of it right now. But I'll look down and be like, oh, look, you put it in front of a whole 3,000 people. Good job, YouTube. I used to put it in front of 30,000 people. What's going on? So there's that. I don't do all the best practices for YouTube. Like I should split my channel into 3 different channels, yada, yada. But RPG Elite said something when he was on, I think it was the 4-Color Cafe, but I know it was with Bear and them, but I forget if that was the exact show he's on. And he said something, you got to have a why for your channel. And I know what the why for my channel is, but I didn't have it like documented. Like I used to be really good at, here's my vision, here's my mission statement, these are my goals, I used to do all of that. I don't anymore. And I sat down and I thought, I said, my goal has been exposure. I just want to expose people to different games. Yes, we're Palladium heavy right now. I know that, but I'm covering Stars Without Number right now. We've covered, people's personal indie project games. We've covered all types of. My goal, and it's very niche, and it's going to be something that doesn't grow the channel crazily, but I want to expose you to something new and different. But I want to do it more in depthly than just say this game exists and it does, and it rolls D20s. We're done. So it's finding that balance. That's what I've decided we're going to do for now. And then hopefully we're going to reorganize, for lack of a better term, the overviews into something a little more effective than just saying, this is what's in a book. That's kind of our goal right now.
I have a similar attitude to YouTube that you do, which is, look, I'll hear people say, just have fun with it. That means don't try to grow at all. Or you'll hear people that want to just grow on YouTube and they think screwing around is a waste of time. I'm like, why can't we have fun and try to grow? Mm-hmm. And my attitude is some things I do for fun, some things I do to grow. And I mix them. And that means I take a hit, just like you said, to have the fun. But there's some things I'm still making an effort on to grow. And it's like, sometimes I look at the audience that always suggests that you'd either do one or the other to the extreme. Like, why can't you just be happy with the middle ground? But I totally get it. It's not our
Jerry
choice,
Springer was a thing, right? You were talking before about, people like the rage bait and whatever else. People like Jerry Springer. I never understood that, but you know what? He was on TV for a long time. And then you got, the reality TV. It is what it is. When people come to you like, I don't watch that. I'm like, yeah, but you're in the minority. That's just the way it is. I'm in the minority too. So look, don't get me wrong. I agree with you, but think of this through for the masses. And, we've had to take a hard look at ourselves. And I've decided that I'm okay being in some of the niche that we're doing, but I also want to expand in other areas that will help us grow. But, the things you're not going to see on our channels, you're not going to see 5e content. And right there, myself in the foot, You're just because neither of us. So when I'm saying us, I'm talking about my co-host, Heathen Dog. He doesn't have any interest in it either. So why are we going to cover something we don't want to? Now, there are things we could do better. Shadow Dark keeps coming up over and over and over and over again. I have no interest, but it's probably one of those that I'm going to have to break down. I don't want to cover any OSR game anymore. I don't hate the OSR guys. It's just I've got plenty of OSR behind me. Like there's a million of them.
You've covered it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in anything WotC's ever done or Pathfinder. I don't even like the games, let alone want to cover them. But that's a personal preference. If you like them, do your thing. So I try to find other ones. And those other ones, to be fair, they're all niche in one regard or another.
I never heard you say anything about WotC games that I don't agree with. I don't consider them D&D either, to be honest. I think that's just something that stays with TSR. I have the same exact attitude about that towards that thing as you do. I did the 5e thing after years of never touching that stuff. And I didn't do 3e. I didn't touch anything. I just understand I didn't touch anything. I didn't touch any product they put out. So finally, after years to do a review on it, I kept reading it and going, here's what I think, and I think my opinion's spot on. But it's not fair to not try the game with such a strong opinion and want to talk about it publicly the way I want to talk about it. So I stopped talking about 5e on purpose on my channel, and I went months learning the game, and then I ran a short campaign. First, I played a few sessions and ran a short campaign. Came back and still felt everything I had criticized was right up, but I felt more confident about, like I could talk about it in more detail because now I ran the game and I understand it. So, but everything I thought about it was spot on. My big issue with this, what destroys 5e or any WotC D&D, is the simple term of combat. I think they destroyed it. Combat is, if you look at every other game, there's not one area that D&D covers that other games don't already cover. They're all covered pretty decent. Role play, interaction. There's all kinds of nifty ideas out there for this stuff in different games. So D&D is not competing with you in the realm of simple interaction or something like that. Lots of games do that, okay. The one area they're unique is combat. And their experience point system, most of the game, old school, is built around combat because combat's unique. And to me, that's the centerpiece of a D&D game. And if you want to even be close to whatever that is, that has to work. If that doesn't work, your game's broken. I can get role play elsewhere. I can get all this stuff elsewhere in other games. And they have combat systems that work, even if I don't like them. At least they work. So if you break this, you broke the game. I said 5e is a broken game. I really believed it after reading it. When I'm ran it doesn't mean the combat doesn't work. That's not my issue. But a 15-minute combat in old school D&D in a second edition game is an hour and a half or 2 hours in a 5e game. And that's when you're doing it at a pretty good pace, right? So I'm like, that's average. And I really didn't think that at first. Maybe somebody's bullshitting me here. Maybe I got it wrong. That's why I had to go run it. Just, is this and it is average, hour and a half, 2 hours for short fights. I'm like, and when you look at it, there's almost no thinking. It's pick A, B, or C. Not a lot of thinking on the player's end for their choices in the combat.
Because all the thinking comes in the build, not in the game.
You got it. You're not wrong. It's all within the options once they build. There's a lot less of this and more pick A, B, or C going forward. And I was like, you're playing a board game for real now. Now you're not playing a mind game anymore. You're playing that's the way I felt. And the combat, I think, is just wrecked. I think the rest of the area, it just works like any other role-playing game. So I sort of get that, all the other stuff seems normal, as it should, but you could make it seem normal with original D&D.
Yeah, I find it hypergeneric. So one of the things I look for in games, and not everybody does, is one of the big arguments I'll get into with folks is they'll be like, they want simplicity and they want fast and they want this. And I get some of that. I mean, you don't want a game that bogs down like Battlelords of the 23rd century.
Yeah.
But I like a game with soul. And that's one of the things that I look back, whether it's, Palladium, whether it's AD&D second edition, whether it's, Shadowrun with the damage codes and, whatever else, is all of those games have a soul to them. So some people are all about the rules, like even Heathen Dog and I, we discussed this a lot, or where we counter each other a lot, because he's a little bit more into the rules. I'm a little bit more into the spirit of the game than the rules of the game. And when you take that spirit away and just this is the most efficient game system ever, I'm probably not going to like it.
That's why AD&D First Edition's Dungeon Master Guide is the best Dungeon Master Guide out of all D&D there is. I think Second Edition does a great job, don't get me wrong, but Gary Gygax does that book. It's not by committee, it's authored by a person. It is the most personal book I've ever seen out of all of the Dungeon Master Guides, and that's a soul in that book. That's a person you're speaking to. That's Dad at the camp, at the fire, sitting down next to you, teaching you some stuff about a game. And you feel that way when you read it, because you read his opinions. All other books after that, even Second Edition to a point, is by committee. And I get it does a good job, but it's by committee. And you do feel a little bit of a loss of that soul in Second Edition. That I never deny, but I think you can put that in there yourself. You bring that, and it's still AD&D 1 in many ways. They're still similar games in many ways. So I still think it's there in that essence. And you still feel the old, real D&D in Second Edition. You don't feel like it's, the stuff watching. But I agree. When I play 5e, there is, as you would say, I'm an atheist, but the language, I can't find a better way of explaining it. There is no soul.
Well, you compare it to a board game. I compare it to a game, tomato on that one. And I think, so for me, third edition, I actually like fifth edition more than third edition. I played a ton of third edition because most of my friends converted over after that happened. Literally, the story I got for that is I cannot remember. At that time, I was playtesting various games. So I do not remember if I was a playtester for that game or if I just got it like day one. But I opened up the book for third edition. It said, basically, we don't limit by race class anymore. I said, this is commie role-playing, and just I literally threw the book. That was like within the first minute of me having it. And I could never come around to it. And yes, I had to play it because that's what my friends were playing for a while. But to me, it is the best computer game ever written. In fact, a lot of computer games have been written off of that core mechanic. Look at Star Wars: The Knights of the Old Republic. Perfect example. That's just the D20 system, right? But because of what it lended towards players, and yes, this is an exaggeration. You'll get comments if I don't say that up front. But the idea of I'm going to go into a room. Hold on. Okay, I got a 15 in my spot check, and I got a 35 in my perception. And you're like, what are you looking at? What are you doing? No, tell me what your character is doing. What do you
play the game?
Right. Well, no, they'll argue, and I can't find a good argument against that. They'll say that is the game. I have stats and I want to roll them. But I say play your character. What is your character doing? I will tell you when to roll the dice because I'm the game master. You tell me what your character is doing, and then we'll add modifiers if necessary. But they just turned it into this whole, hold on, I got this sheet in front of me. I roll. Okay, well, did I find everything?
See, I think old school did smart by AD&D 1, especially got this right with the authority to the DM, whereas if the DM doesn't call for the dice roll, there's no authority to the dice roll.
Yep.
So when you roll, it means nothing. And there might not even be a dice roll needed if you say the right words out loud. That's what the DM is challenging you to do. So if you look, maybe he'll just say, yeah, you're right. It is under there. You don't have to roll a dice and fail and maybe miss it. You might actually just find it by listening to the details, asking me things, let me detail remote. I don't do long-winded speeches as a DM that does pure theater of the mind. I'm used to just doing exact information what you need. But once I give it to you, then it's, do you look under the pillow? Do you move the table? And it's like, hey, if you find it that way, we don't need to roll dice all night.
Right. I'm glad you say that because I've been at tables or around people that have made that. Well, you looked in the drawer, but you failed your roll, so you didn't get the note. And I was so happy when I started reading League books, and I never really felt this needed to be written in there. But again, when you hang around, when you play all over the world, literally, and see all these different types of play styles and what people do, you realize why they put in there, hey, if the players look and the notes in the sock drawer and they open the sock drawer and look, just tell them they found it. And I'm like, why would you ever need to say that? Isn't that common sense? No, it is not, because there's always some game master or player out there trying to get one over on the other. And
it's a balance of being strict as a DM where you need to be because of some bad play, but then you got to realize too that you are there for the success of the players that have an enjoyed night. If they can overcome the challenges, you're happy for them. I've never had the attitude of me versus you. It's you versus the environment. I manage it. I referee it, as they say. But I've never sat there and went, oh, wow, you beat the goblins. I feel defeated. Because I'm like, I always looked at as a stupid view. Because I'm like, as a DM, I can just say, your character drops dead. And I have the authority to do that. And then I can say I win. So what are we don't need to compete with each other. I'm here to challenge you. I want to make sure that's right because I don't want you to be bored of my game. But so it's a mix of I'm ease, like you say, where you should be, but it should be still a challenge going forward in many ways. And it's hard to find a balance sometimes, not to be too strict or too this. And
I'm not gonna lie, with like some of my early 1990s groups, I was pretty adversarial, and I think it's because we were adversarial like as a friend group, so it translated over into the game. But
it was
yeah,
acceptable.
well,
I got
we ruined every one of us as a player ruined somebody's game at some point just by being that kind of adversary. But
well, let's talk about some of your strict stuff. One of your strict rules, and you could talk about other things related to this, is you have delayed healing when using healing potions, right?
Holy crap! When did you hear me talk about that? Okay, yeah, that is true.
I'm right about that, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
okay, I've just noted it over the years, and I've had this interview in my head for like 2 years. So just
okay. So I do that specific. I don't do that with healing spells, but I do that with healing potions. So what it is I turn them into hots. And heals over time. So I'm an old MMO player, so using some of the acronyms here. Heals over time, where it's like, yeah, you drank that potion, but I don't like what I call the whack-a-mole. Oh, I'm down. Oh, I'm up. Oh, I'm down. Oh, I'm up. Oh, I'm down. Oh, I'm up. I don't like that. Also, I want to give you the opportunity to retreat. You're getting your butt beat. You might want to retreat. Drink that healing potion as you're retreating, and over time, you'll get, let's say you roll a 5 on the D8 for the Cure Light Wounds potion, right? And so you'll get 1 hit point a round for 5 rounds, but that's all you're going to get. So you're still not just jumping right back into the fight. Now, some people call that overkill or, oh my God, you just hate your players. Like, no, I'm trying to encourage that the players realize that they don't have to fight, number 1, to 0 hit points. They can retreat. 2,
you have the right philosophy. Go on.
2, it's like, you're going to get the healing, but I'm just not going to have that up, down, up, down, up, down. Sure. Does that change D&D from being strictly D&D? That one change by itself? No, but I guess if you keep adding up, possibly. But it's the feel that I want for my settings and my worlds. I want them to feel grittier, but not punishing.
I actually don't think that leans away from D&D at all. You have the exact right principle. D&D is all about you don't run into the fight. We reward cautiousness.
And research. Oh my God, nobody researches anymore.
And it's like what you're saying is, look, it's not hard to survive. You can just back out, and that's part of playing cautious and not stupid. And if you do that, this doesn't have to make you suffer or go through a meat grinder. It's the idea, if you want to run in like an idiot in this game, the game is going to make you pay like an idiot. You're going to go in, get burnt up. Your healing's not going to save you in time. You're going to get killed, and you should have just been cautious, backed out, work careful, understood your healing reality before going into the fight, so you understand how to use it, when to use it, who to get away from stuff so the healing can actually be effective instead of them getting clawed down while they're trying to heal, right? All this type. It's why not prepare and be cautious, which is what an old school D&D player is supposed to be.
And I like lower magic settings anyway. So because a couple reasons, and I'm not going to go into what my favorite game is right now, but it's just absolutely just embrace that, which is why I transitioned to it immediately. But ideas like, I want your magic items to mean something. I hate the throwaway. Like, if I got a +1 sword, +2 sword, +1 sword, throw it away. Like, no, that thing's magical. It should mean something to you. If you're going to have a potion, if you're going to have a spell, I want it to feel like something like, this is mine. This is who my character is. This is what I like. That's not just a spell book of rote spells. I've got these spells that work in a certain dynamic. So another thing I'll do is if you take a potion of heroism, it won't be necessarily the first one, but over time you have to make a saving throw to see if you become addicted to it like it's freaking heroin. Super heroism, immediately, first time you drink one, you could be addicted to it like it's heroin, and you're going to go through withdrawals. Like, and I don't do that to screw over the players. I want them to make a conscious choice. Like, is this something we need right now? Is the risk worth the reward on this? And yes, you can easily be cured of that over time, whatever. I don't just be like, ha ha ha, your character's screwed. But I like choices in games. I like, effects that matter, not just like, oh, let's go into the next fight. Hey, buff me up with all the pluses, and then, just going in.
Yeah, there's always something. I had a realization about what you're saying about magic and overuse of it, and the lack of appreciation for what you have, and how valuable the experience of not running into it all the time, where it's rare and exciting when you finally do. Like, that experience is awesome. And I learned this really young. It sounds simple and stupid, but it's just true. In 1988, a friend of mine had a goblin adventure he put together. I played goblins, really silly stuff, but I was like 8 years old. But it was the first time I played in a game where we start with almost nothing. And the small understanding of the little bit you get becomes so much more valuable
Yeah.
when you have nothing. When you have not like that thing in any other game, I wouldn't care. But in that game, having that one thing because it was hard to get or limited on stuff, and just the experience of excitement of having that stuff and the appreciation, I realized how valuable as a player that is to what I'm doing here. It doesn't mean I need it all the time, but it's definitely something I should realize I want to a degree.
Well, when I talk about my games to people like that have never sat at my table, I always get I would never play in your game. That's funny because, and I literally had people say that while I was running games in the Air Force and sitting on the couch, be like, actually, your game seems pretty fun. I'm like, right, because what I do is I don't just hand stuff to people. I keep, I'm notorious for keeping players poor. Now, I don't do that like as
I've
in,
had that deal.
aha, you will never get any money. It's because I want them to make that decision. Is it more important to get the spell, or is it more important to get the paladin some armor? I want you to think that through. And then once you do that, you're going to adventure for a little bit, and then you can get the spell or the armor, whatever. Like I want you to think about these things, like not just like, oh, we're going to go gear up. I'm going to go to the magic shop, which is something you won't find in my games. Like they're goals for your character to attain. And one of the things I learned, again, some people disagree with this, but I'm just saying my experience in running games has been like, if you always keep that thing right out of reach, they want it more. And then when they got it, you find out what the next thing is that they want. So when they get this one, they're on the way to the next one. So it's never a matter of like, I'm just trying to screw over my players. Plus, you know what? You can use goblins up to characters of 5th level and still make them really tough if they don't run around with a bunch of magic items all the time. And you can use some of the simplest creatures in interesting ways instead of having to go, hold on, they're 5th level, but really they're kind of like 8th level. So let me go find the most advanced thing I can find. Oh, I'll do specters and level drain them and make it so they can't hit them because they need +2 or +3 weapons that they don't have yet. It's like, no. Use the little stuff. Use some of those things you've always wanted to use and never have before.
That's all incentive and goals. It keeps them going forward. It makes people want to come back the next week because if they're like lost on what to do, like, I think I got the thing. I did the thing. Okay, I guess I'll see you next week. But if they're like in the middle of the chase, well, next week is, man, I'm one more step closer to that thing. And what you're saying is not that everything's cut off from you. It is from the start. And there's a wall between you and the thing, but the thing exists. And so you can go after the thing, but I'm putting a wall between you and the thing. And your job is to climb over that wall. And your job is to figure that out the entire time. And your goal should be that. And if at any point you climb over the wall, okay, I'll give you a reward for that, but there's another wall. And that's what you're saying. It's just
because there's another thing that they
want. It's a hurdle. Yeah. No, I totally get that. That's old. Like when you talk, I mean, old school guys should right away just hear old school principles in you. I can just tell you've done the old school stuff for so long that it's D&D. I don't care if you play other games. There's certain principles that are so well produced or well stated in old D&D, better than some of the other games, that even if you do like Heroes Unlimited or Palladium or go over to the vampire games, some of the best stuff was from Gary Gygax. Some of the best mindsets I seen went from D&D to these places. Because I noticed the one thing is what D&D was built up a culture and a hobby. So when these games come on the market, they're not just trying to create customers. But without D&D, there's almost no customers there already waiting to buy Palladium games or vampire games. So in a way, I still look at D&D as such a valuable piece to the overall hobby and success, because imagine coming out with Palladium, but there's no already established player base or anything.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Palladium was, so first edition Palladium. There are technically 2 editions, so they're generally compatible. It's kind of like first and second edition AD&D, to be honest with you. But that actually came out of Kevin's frustrations with Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, no, I totally understand. Oh, I talk about it and people get mad at me. When I was younger in the 80s, about AD&D 1, I talked to so many guys that left AD&D 1 and just got frustrated with D&D, the whole circle of it, and went over, played Palladium games. They were onto like Robotech. They loved Kevin's stuff, most of them. Some of them went over to the vampire thing. Almost every vampire I knew person was, well, we bought AD&D, we hate it. And I think the only reason AD&D took the big hit was this personally. If you look at the artwork and the selling, it says, be a hero. You're riding the knight. You're riding the horse. You're fighting the dragon out in the field.
I never took it that way, but that could be because we were already inculcated into
the only thing I noticed is there was only so many wargamers that crossed over from wargaming, because a lot of wargamers didn't like D&D. They actually criticized it, I found. But we had a number of wargamers. But most of the new customers coming in, I found, were, I went public DMing. I just never met wargamers. I just kept meeting thousands of like regular fucking people that knew next to nothing about they didn't know about chainmail for OD&D. I'm like, you have to teach them everything, or at least tell them that there's this game. That knowledge was for every, like, I say a few hundred guys I'd meet a war gamer that was in public where, oh, okay, so you know about chainmail. Yeah. Oh, I don't got to explain this to you. No, dude. Oh, thank fuck. Just because I have to go through all kinds of people that just continuously know nothing about nothing, and they play. A second edition was more leaning into it than, say, first edition. But I heard so many were like, I bought it for this, and then suddenly we're not heroes. We're just guys running around in a dungeon.
That's interesting. Now, personally, I've never run across that myself.
Yeah.
What I've heard in my circles has been like things like, oh, I just start characters. I give them the attribute bonuses, and because I want them to start off a little more heroic. But maybe it's just my mentality and how I play. I like it was a term that's been probably used long before then, but I loved it. It came from a game called Shards of the Stone, which unfortunately never made it to fruition because there's a big fight with the company. But it said off the farm. It said you get this many character points, you get this many character points, depending on how heroic you want to be. And it's called off the farm. And I just picked it up from there. Like, yes, that's exactly how I view characters. Like, if I'm starting you at first level, it's going to be like the orcs overrun your town and you guys maybe live together, or maybe another guy's coming in as a merchant. That's why he doesn't know you that well, whatever. Or you're going to be the elder scroll thing. You're going to be prisoners, whatever. It's going to be where you're downtrodden, down on your luck, you're escaping, you're getting away, or you get what I'm saying? Like, there are many other things you can.
I've heard these conversations. Now, amongst the guys that were in from OD&D and were automatically D&D people, everything you're saying makes complete sense. That's how they talk. Here's what I got cursed out. They used to rant, like AD&D, one guys used to get really mad at me for running games for regular people because they had this religion about not letting the majority into the hobby because they thought they would water down the game to make the game for the majority of people. So they write these letters to Gary and them, and guys like me, I get cursed out by guys for, you're enabling people that shouldn't even be in the hobby, Steve. And I'm like, I think anybody can play the game, but that was just an old attitude. A lot of people were pissed off.
I'll just be upfront with you. Your experiences and mine are almost exactly opposite in that. And I'm not going to say that yours is wrong because obviously you lived your life. I didn't. But in mine, it was like, we want more people in. But the main thing that we did, and this happened to me when I first joined, and this happened, at my tables, is we expressed the traditions and tropes as to why they exist. Why can't my gnome be a paladin? Well, that's a very easy one because gnomes are too flippant. You might have a god, you might have things that you believe in, but there is no such thing as a zealot gnome. It just doesn't exist. And now we didn't use the term then, but now we'd use the term. It's bioessentialism. Deal with it. And there are many other things that we'd go into, but we think, oh, okay. But look, my favorite game of all time, Earth Dawn. Guess what? You can be a dwarven wizard. If you want to be a dwarven wizard, you can. Now you're going to have penalties for it because they don't have some of the higher attributes for it. But absolutely, you can do it. They still suffered a little bit from that, though.
Yeah.
So, if I wanted to play a game with an all race, all class, I would play more Palladium, or I'd play more Earth Dawn, or I'd play more Forbidden Lands now. But if I'm playing D&D, again, I am a purist when it comes to the heart and soul of a game. The heart and soul of that means I use alignments, even though I hate alignments. I use race class limitations, but I do respect and like those because it should be human centric. And I use a lot of the other quirks. The idea, come on, rod, staff, wand, paralyzation, poison, deathmatch. I mean, like, these are the saving throws. I love it.
Well, I had to teach some people. I didn't know people didn't understand the difference between tournament play and regular AD&D one at home, like the expectation difference in the book. I didn't realize that I'd hear these Bro OSR guys going, it's raw. And I'm like, all right, well, what do you mean by raw? All right, so let me see what you mean by raw. And they name all these things off. I'm like, no, 70% of that is optional. And that's tournament play, dude. You're talking about tournament play. Yes. And tournament play, for consistency, you keep it raw with these things. At home, 70% of that can be wiped out, and Gary makes that very clear. So it's only 30% of the game. Dungeon play mainly. Dungeon play and some of the character creation stuff is core, the 30%. 70%, including tables and that, you can drop, change, adjust, bring your own tables in. They don't care. Gary makes that very clear. And that's at the at-home game. Now, the tournament play, for consistency, they did 80 to 90% and called it real D&D. And Gary said he sort of felt that way, but given his own adjustments, especially on Dragons, but he said this, anybody can go check this out. He said it, he answered like a million questions on this stuff. He said, no, it's not exactly raw in the sense that all these other things are raw to AD&D. There is a framework for the game. Same thing with second edition. And he acknowledges even with second ed, there's a framework that's D&D. Now that's the 30%. That's the feel. That's the spirit, as you would say, or soul. And then within that, you can do what you want within the framework. You're true to 30% of the game to make sure it stays within the framework of what D&D is. And then you can bring in a rule. And as long as it doesn't counter to the core stuff, the 30%, don't make sure it doesn't smack that away. That's the core element. That's D&D. You can make as many changes as you want. I hear guys going, well, no, it's this, but even Gary would get on and go, that's tournament play, guys. Even he would say it. That is, you're talking about tournament play. You're not talking about regular at-home AD&D 1. And AD&D 1 is more like make most of it up yourself, just like second edition. Second edition AD&D 1 are so alike. The second edition just drops tournament play and emphasizes the at-home game. That's the freedom. So all second edition does is enhance that and focuses more on Thaco than the attack metric. It gets away from that and just makes Thaco thing.
Makes it simple math.
That's all it does.
Everybody knows that video. Thaco minus armor class. No. Oh my God, I can't do my own mantra. Thaco minus die roll equals armor class hit. Like people kept quoting that to me for years. I mean, we could probably quibble over the 30% part. I would probably say if you go that far, it's not D&D anymore. But at the same time, I don't care what people do at their own table. Also, where you say tournament play, that's more of a, for me, that's more of a recent revelation or encounter. Like I always looked at it as baselining so I can have a conversation with somebody. So I don't know if, like, if I go move to Germany or Japan or Kuwait or wherever the heck else I've lived, and I'm starting to talk Dungeons and Dragons, we have to have a baseline of what we're talking about. So if I start talking about all my house rules, they're going to be like, what game are you talking about? So
I think you can explain the 30% without needing to say the rest, but it's just certain details I find it's like, well, it's optional, dude. It's even Gary makes it clear that that's optional. So it's,
sure.
Yeah.
It's just, at what part does it become something? And I've talked with people like, you change that, it's not D&D. I'm like, okay. Sometimes I agree, sometimes I don't. Like things I would never get rid of out of D&D that for me would take it away. Changing the saving throws, removing alignment, again, race class limitations. Now you can adjust them. I mean, the book even gives options on adjusting them, but understanding that they're there for a reason. Well, there's one other big one I was thinking of. Did I say Thaco? Whatever. Those things are integral to the game. You can't get rid of. At least not in Call of D&D.
I totally agree.
You want to change some spells around or something for your campaign. You want to add a new race. I mean, for the longest time, I didn't think I would tell you probably until maybe 10 years ago, maybe a little longer now. But Dark Sun isn't Dungeons and Dragons. I hated Dark Sun. Freaking hated Dark Sun.
I played it. I never ran it really, but I played it. Yeah.
Oh, I played it. I played a Thri-Kreen Ranger, and the fact that I'm playing a Bug Ranger, like this isn't Dungeons and Dragons. What's going on here? But it does follow the core. I think I am hearing the echo again.
Sorry.
But it does follow the core. It's still your same 6 attributes, even if you're rolling them a little. I think with D4s instead of D6s. It's still the same saving throws. It's still the same alignment system. I always thought preservers and defilers were stupid. Like, oh, I cast a spell, plants die. Oh, I cast a spell, plants grow.
I think what happened with Dark Sun is TSR got to the point where they weren't selling anything, and for her company to exist, you need to look at what your options are, and then they started looking at what other games were popular or ideas.
Well, it was setting-based edition. Let's be honest, the settings is what sold edition.
But I think there was just some other ideas that other people had out there that were seemed popular with the crowd, and D&D was trying to copy other people's ideas to keep in business. I sort of get where they were coming from. It's like it became junk at the end and a waste of money. Like Birthright, neat idea, but if you're not advertising what you already brought out that's new and you're not selling that, you should be putting advertising money in and going there instead of pitching money to Birthright when your advertising is obviously failing you, which was happening with second edition. They barely advertised it and they're not selling it. I'm like, yeah, you put and they admit to this day, they put a lot of their money into just making products and then making sure they had enough products to sell.
Right. This is the part that I both hate and understand WotC at the same time.
Yeah.
One of the design goals, and this is documented, it'd take me a long time to find it again, but I read it. Yeah. One of the design goals of third edition was to get away from the setting. They didn't want people to say, I play Ravenloft, I play Dragonlance, I play Dark Sun, I play Planescape, whatever. They wanted people to say, I play Dungeons & Dragons. And to me, that was what I call it now is I call it backward think. is such backward think. I get what you're saying. You're trying to get people in. You want to sell the core product, but everybody's table is a little different. If I make my own homebrew and you make your own homebrew, those are different settings, even if we're using the core rules. And when you tell people gnomes can be paladins and dwarves can be wizards, there's no going back. The way it should have been written is, no, race class limitations are this. However, if at your table that doesn't work for you and you want to emulate Arxon, or you want to emulate this, where they have ogre wizards in, say, Dragonlance, the Erda, then do it. But the core game says no, and here's why. And then you just move on. But they went the backward think, and you know how it is. Once the genie's out of the bottle, can't put it back in.
Here's the problem for the hobby sometimes. I get that there's a minority of guys that love what we do and have stuck with us forever, and myself being one of these people in the hobby for decades. I sort of look at it like, you need to be able to sell shit, and I sort of get where people are coming from, but I say to the minority, TSR didn't want to be honest with you. They didn't want to tell you that for them to serve you, you got to get rid of your picky opinion, and you got to buy the stuff. And if you buy it, they can keep serving it. And you're a minority, so it's the only way for them to keep serving you is for you en masse to come and purchase. And
no, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know much about the history, and to be fair, I intentionally don't research it much, although I've been exposed to it because I care about the games, not the companies so much.
Yeah, I don't research this because I was selling a game myself or getting ready to do one at one time.
I gotcha. But like the splat books. Oh my God, AD&D second edition had so many splat. You can even see some of mine right there, right? I love the splat books.
Me too.
I probably used 5% of it. That's it.
Me too.
But because as dungeon masters, you know, favorite word of a dungeon master is no.
Yeah.
like
a good dungeon master.
I want to play the Green Leaf Ranger. No, you are not playing a walking tree ant that calls himself a ranger. I'm not allowing that in my game. But if you wanted it, great, use it. It's just so much just amazing food for thought for people that would be wonderful for their tables. But where 5e kind of crapped the bed on this one, and maybe it started with 30E, I just didn't see it as much with the Lego characters there, is that the expectation was, we have to allow me to be a sorcerer, thief, warrior, myrmidon, assassin. Like, no, I actually don't. I actually don't.
My rule was this to players. Yeah, I had a rule to players, which was, I don't care what unique ideas. You can pitch whatever you want at me as long as you're willing to hear no. But my main aim with unique ideas is this. Is your idea going away from what's here, or is it enhancing it?
Sure, yep.
So like I pitch the game to you, and if you want to enhance that, you want to be a part of helping that out so we can achieve something cool together, and you don't take away from my vision because this is my creativity, then I'm willing to let you partake in the creativity with me because you're looking to enhance it. If you come in and going, I want to do my own thing, and you make the game all about you instead of us, then I'll probably say no to you when it's about you and not us. And that's my attitude. I've heard some guys recently, I don't know what is I know the backstory stuff. Here's what I do. I'll give you a simple rundown. I give people one page, not two sides of the page, one page. They get no more than a page. They can give me a paragraph, but they give me a page too on the background. I warn them, like anybody, all these other nerds out here that will say it, I'll use the background on you, so be careful what you write in there. Don't say you got a hunter coming after you. If not, that guy's going to be on your ass, maybe, right? If I feel like using that. So just don't put that in there. You get a page, don't give me 2 pages, you'll cut it down to a page. And if you don't cut it down to a page, I'll cut it down to a paragraph, and then I'll not count the rest of the information you give me. That's my rule. So they keep trying to go, well, what about the, all right, dude, here, I'm taking this. What about the rest? Nope, not reading the rest, not even influenced by it. That's it. You got your paragraph. And I'm a hard ass about it. And some guys have left my table over those type of attitude reactions, but I can't help it. And it's putting my foot down so other players get to see that. It is about making the point sometimes.
Why do you have such a long backstory anyway? You're level 1.
What do you think of backstories? I've heard it talked about a million times in your thing. I'm not sure exactly what you think.
I don't know if I have a standardized thought on this. The main thing is don't give me too much. You're level 1. I always mock the people like, so I'm on the run because I killed the prince. I snuck into the castle. I'm like, how the hell did you do that level? No, you didn't. Go away. That is not something that ever happened. In fact, the way I take it now, and I probably have for a couple of decades now, is I get a vision for my character and I might write down some notes. If I have to put in paragraph format, I will for the game master, but that's about it. Because what I like to do, and I do this as a game master as well, and some people like it, some people don't, is I have that campfire time, so to speak. And I don't care what type of genre game it is, but okay, sitting around the campfire, it's now time for the characters to kind of get to know each other a little more.
So important.
It helps the players to bond, but it also, it indicates what their characters are as well. And so what I'll do, like, I never thought if I had a sister or not, but this guy started talking about his sister, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like thinking, so you're rescuing your sister, blah, blah, blah. I might just say something, if that was my sister, I'd feel the same way. It's like, yeah, I could never see something happening to her. Note, I now have a sister, things like that. Because I like that to happen organically. And
that's the best way.
It's just... Like again, there's some things, I'm a thief, right? Like, okay, let's just as an example. So why am I a thief? Well, I'm probably going to have that up front. Well, I'm not a pickpocket thief. I'm the type that helps delvers like you go into dungeons. I'm more of a rune. I want to get the relics. I want to get the go into the ruins. Like, I don't care about the guilds and all that other stuff. But that would be probably the extent of it. If you go too much into it, you actually start to you cause too much for your character to be like, hold on, does that meet my backstory? No, who cares? You're sitting, be organic about your character. It's like that sorcerer thing. Like, hold on, I got to plan out all my spells from level 1 through level 20. This is why I don't allow sorcerers at my table. Like, no, get that crap out of here, because you should be taking spells that are organic.
You should let things develop. Yeah. It's all about that character. Instead of deciding who the character is before you play, leave some room so you can find out who they are as you play them.
I mean, one of the most biggest horror stories I heard was just recently. And if I'm wrong about this, I apologize, folks, but I think it was Bear that said it, where a character gave him a backstory, but then said something like, you can't use any of it. And then when Bear I left the game or something, I'm
that's stupid.
Going, what? Like, I don't even want to know who that person is, because I would never want that person at my table ever. Oh my God.
It just sounds like the dumbest thing ever. It's like, here's a backstory and it can't influence what you think of my character. Then what am I reading it for, dude?
Right?
Like, it's if I'm freely allowed to take in your character any way you want, here you go. Take it back. I ain't reading shit. Right? I got no time for that. That's nonsense. Like, that's like, just tell me you want the backstory. But he's saying, will you accept 2 pages even though you're telling me not to give you 2 pages? That's really, I think, what he's saying is, could you accept it quietly? Well, I'll get you to read it anyway. Like, no, dude, I'll read a page. I don't care what your tricks are. 1 page. That's my rule. I think
if you want to jam it all in, just give me it in bullet points. We'll be fine.
1,000,000%. I'm more like, it's just like, look, I support creativity. I'm not against that. And I think a little bit, just at least having a game master that will just let you write a bit and take something in for a starter point. Cool. Starter point for your character. I write simple backgrounds. When I was smart, as when I was younger, I'd be like, I'm from a farming family. I'm very poor, but I have an uncle who has some connections over here. And if maybe I get to see him, he can help me out. And I'm doing that on purpose because I don't want the DM to think I'm trying to paint up some I'm going to save the prince story or some princess shit. I'm not ridiculous like that, but I had the idea in my head, why not give them something that could benefit me later without trying to take too much? That's because I'm more going, DM, do what you want with it. I have no expectation. That's it. I hope it benefits me, but
in the last 5e game I played before I left Germany, and COVID ended up ruining this. My character was a warlock, and this is my entire backstory. Farmstead went on fire. I couldn't save my brother, and I just screamed, "I'll do anything to save him!" And all of a sudden, time stopped. He's like, "Anything?"
Oh, you're going to get screwed with.
Yes, anything. All you have to do is, and I don't remember what the exact words were, but basically, listen to me and I'll guide you and I'll save your brother for you. Okay. And of course, my young character did it. Well, now I'm a Hexblade Warlock. And I've got this demon that I've got to listen to. And I'm like, mother. But that was that was it. That was the entirety of my character's background. Now from there, we adventure. Of course, my character was thinking, I got to get rid of this thing. I just can't tell him that.
You know what my big problem with today with people that are so empty in gaming, I notice this all the time. It's something you just said there that I see most players can't get to that stage, is this. They'll say, I wouldn't do that. But I'm like, wait, look, we don't try to get too anal about this, but we like to play character. And the true to the character thing has some merit.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're playing a kid, if your character's a kid, that's a kid under pressure of somebody talking to him like this.
Mm-hmm.
Forget that. Yeah, okay. John or Max would say, yeah, whatever, go fuck yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the kid wouldn't. The kid should be influenced. A lot of people now, I swear, they are really. I used to complain about this a lot when I was younger, but it's more so now. I find people are just there's no character. It's them. I wouldn't do this, and that means that thing in their game can never happen. They can't have that experience. They'll bust it every time you put that in front of them, which is sad. A lot of old school guys like yourself, though, can still get there, can still hear. And I don't have to teach you or give you the hint that you should play a character. I just know since you're old school, you'll look at the situation about what your guy's going through, not what you're going through sitting at home in safety.
Well, that's what I loved about, again, how I was introduced to the hobby. Maybe not the first guy that for the ant story thing, but after that, the people that I hung out with were avid readers. They actually caused me to become avid readers because I hated it. I actually played sports. Like I was like, I'm not going to read. But they got me to read a ton of stuff, and I was like, man, I like these characters. I like how this character grew over these 3 books or 10 books or whatever it is. That's what I want to create in my game. So yeah, I'm going to start with a character that's either gullible, naive, grumpy, alcoholic, whatever it happens to be, whatever the foible is, and we're going to try to work over that. It might happen. It might not. And you had I see in the restream here, you had a comment about somebody saying that he could play a great horned dragon. I literally let somebody play a fairy dragon at one of my tables. But I wasn't just like, can I play a fairy dragon? Sure. No, it was, can I play a fairy dragon? What? Hold on, we got to talk. But after talking with him, that character, everybody in the party loved him. Absolutely loved him. He wasn't overpowered. He wasn't, and he kept using that euphoria breath every time they got hurt. So he's like, you guys are in trouble. Hey, thanks, man. We feel better now. But they role played it well. I'm oversimplifying, but if you get a good role player in there who can do something like that and not just say, what are all the powers that it gets? You can have
options are endless. Yeah. Yes. And you have to be honest with some players. Like, look, if I give you a character type, I gotta trust you. And then there's some things where he sounds like he's smart. He sounds like I would have said yes to the same thing. If you're not cheaply trying to get benefits, and that's not what I feel that's coming from you for the role play, like you want to play something interesting. It's about enhancing the fun. Hence, we're back to the enhance the situation, not think about yourself. If he comes to me with the attitude, I'm not looking for a blow up character that can kick everyone's ass. I'm like, well, that's a starting point. I'm listening. And if I feel like he's going to enhance the game and not go against what I'm doing, then we're I'm with you. I can see myself getting down the same path because it doesn't sound like a guy that was picking something for the sake of, oh, this lets me cheap out on all this stuff in the game.
But anybody who knows me knows my gut reaction. I'd be like, hell no, you can't do that. No. What are you talking about? Because that's hold on. First of all, I don't let people play monsters. I don't, there's so many things in there where you're trying to break everything. But I talked with him because he's somebody I knew. And I talked to him for a long time. I was like, you know what? You've convinced me that this can happen. I talked to other players and they're like, that actually sounds fun. Let's do that. And if it becomes broken, the guy was like, hey, if something goes wrong with this or it's not fun for everybody, I'll come in with a real character after that. And we played that up until that was the last real campaign I ran. Then I ran that evil campaign I mentioned earlier. Then I ran Council of Worms, and then I left Dungeons and Dragons for a different game.
You sound like you just had the good social contract down with that person. And that's what you really need for that type of stuff is the agreement, the understanding, and then both parties working together to have fun. It's as simple as that. You just got to give a shit. It's a little give a shit. It's like we do a lot of things that we should be in real life. We get paid for that type of effort or work we're putting into gaming sometimes. But it's like there's a payoff. There's a real payoff for giving a shit. And for people out there that act like they can't be bothered with something, I'm like, you're missing out. A little more effort will improve. It just doesn't mean I think you're doing it wrong, but I think your experience can be just better by trying a little bit more for some people I see out there. Just a little bit more try. Doesn't mean you're doing it wrong to begin with, but a little bit more give a shit and you'll have a better time. I'm convinced of that for some people I see out there, but you don't want to say anything to most people because they'll take it as an attack.
Well, again, like I was mentioning earlier, we all have to have this baseline that we're talking about. We all have to understand the core D&D rules so that at least when we start the conversation, we have that baseline. But then we all, okay, that's your house rule. That's this. I've never ever cared what somebody has done at his or her own table in my entire life. Even if I don't like it, I'll just note myself out. What I don't like is when it becomes the expectation of this thing that I have to allow everything, or that it's baked into the game now. We allow everything. Like, no, that's first of all not Dungeons and Dragons, but secondly, let the table decide that. And when you open the door up, that Pandora's box, nobody ever goes back. Now the expectation is everybody gets to be a tiefling, warlock, fighter, wizard, druid, barista. And why wouldn't you let me do that? Like,
I find I just say it's weird sometimes on here compared to what I grew up with in real life. When I grew up, I was a young guy. All our elders were considered guys that can give you advice, tell you what to do. I get on here. I've been doing this a long time, and I've done it a lot. So I have I think pretty solid advice for the things I talk about. And I get on, I'll give some advice. So, and it's people seem so offended. Like, you ever hear this? You're telling me what to do. I'm like, this is just you volunteer to watch this stuff, dude.
Oh, I double down. I just say, yeah, I am.
I hear you, but I'm not. It's even when it's the way they talk about giving advice out here that they attack it like it's a bad thing. I'm like, they'll say things like, "Oh, you're just trying to grow." I'm like, well, I mean, I am a YouTuber because I want to grow an audience, so that's part of it for sure. I won't lie, but this is just the type of advice guys gave me. I've done this for over 30 years. I feel like I should be giving back to other people in the hobby. And I have a platform to do that on. I don't do that to tell you what to do. And in all honesty, I think we're all about brainstorming here. I don't think you need the advice, but I think it's valuable. I tell people to watch it only because I think we're all brainstorming here ideas and thoughts. And
we're giving out our experiences and what worked best for us. And maybe you can try exactly what my Friday night stream is about. I'm not trying to tell you, and I don't think any of our three panelists are trying to tell you exactly how to play the game. We're trying to say, this what works for me. And yes, this whole thing, and you alluded to this a little bit, if not directly, like this whole thing where people keep telling, well, Max, that's just for you. I grew up knowing what an opinion is. Okay. I grew up knowing that, okay, this person plays differently than me. That's his way. I don't agree with him. And I might tell him I don't agree with him, or I might move on, whatever. But I don't need to do this. Well, that's just your way. like, when did that become a thing? I have to tell you this. I have to tell you, well, for me, I'm not going to do that. And I still get even some of the people I talked to behind the scenes, like, Mac, that's for you. I do act like this is one true way sometimes because I know the response I'm going to get is by somebody else that's acting all one true way on the opposite side. So why is it, it's what sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander, as my grandma used to say. And, like, I just put it out there. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. You can comment all you want. But if you think I'm demanding you do something, I've only ever made demands of companies, never of people at a table.
Personally, I've never had any. I've heard the talk from you, your ways of thinking. I've never been offended by anything you say on the gaming stuff. I'm real old school, so I come up from a crowd of guys that it was cool to say your shit.
Yeah,
and then we could all talk.
We would have knockdown, drag out, shouting matches in my circles, and then an hour later, we're sitting at the table playing the game.
I have aggressive arguments with guys in real life, and then I'm like, at the end, hey, dude, you want a drink? Yeah, sure. All right, cool. I'll go get the drinks. But that's 100% of the time. That's my whole life growing up. So when I got on here, the vastly more sensitive reaction you get from people without being able to be cool afterwards, like they got to attack you for 3 months. I'm like, dude. Look, I get that. It's like some guys I put out opinions all the time. They get criticized all the time, every day. I called out every day for, even if I don't agree with the call out, I get called out. And as that's right, I'm a public figure. I put my opinions out here. I welcome being called out or being disagreed with or criticized. I never take that initially as any type of attack. That's why certain people have to do like several 6 or 7 attacks on me before I finally respond with a 5-minute video, right? I just don't initially take the first so many as a big issue. I'm a public figure. You'll go ahead, but if you keep digging, I'll react after one point. But if you let it go after 1 or 2 times, okay, you're not going to hear from me, right? Because you're allowed. I'm a public figure. I accept putting myself out here. I'll get some guys that will think I'm attacking them, and I think it's a shame because I don't really hate them at all. One guy, Bear, I put out a video disagreeing with a drama take he had about drama. I thought I only said it. I said, I felt like what you said in the video you did that night on your stream. And I said I felt that was hypocritical. I made that video, and it's like, well, you put the video out, man. You're a public figure. I don't hate you. I'm disagreeing with you. That's all that's happening. And I've heard you talk about me on streams, dude. So you've talked about me like probably 10 times, criticized me openly. I haven't yelled at you, Bear, about doing that on streams about me. So I've let it go. So here you are on the video. And my issue was at the same time, there was other guys putting out drama stuff, but what they were really doing was not what Bear was doing. I got what Bear was doing. These other guys were trying to control what we talk about, which is drama is what they disagree with. Oh, because it makes them upset. I disagree with this. It pisses me off. So I call it drama because it makes me upset. But it is so I don't have to hear about it. And I'm like, oh, so just you don't want me to freely say the opinion out loud. You want to control that. I understand what you're doing. I went to examine what Bear was doing. The only thing I did was disagree with the video a bit, but I didn't think he was doing what they did. And I even said that in the video. I don't think Bear is coming at it from this point of view. Right. And he's a public figure. He put up the video, and it's okay that he's talked about me. I have no issue with it. I don't hate him. I don't take what he said about me as an attack, even if he isn't the biggest fan.
Well, I can tell you, Bear and I, especially behind the scenes, we when he's on my panel, sometimes we'll go after each other. To be fair, some of that is to get audience reaction. I'm not going to lie about that. That some of that is to get audience reaction. Doesn't mean he disbelieves what he's saying or I disbelieve what I'm saying, but sometimes we'll be a little more antagonistic about it.
Just to emphasize the disagreement.
Right. But we've had a couple of knockdown, drag out, conversations over things. There are things that I do that absolutely frustrate the living crap out of him. But what I'll tell you, my experience with him, he's like us. He's a Gen X guy. He's seen a lot of stuff in life. Mine's on the military side. His is more on the, we'll say the bar scene side. And you know what? I think when he says something, he says it, and just like what I think you.
Well, he has a right to say his video. I think he had all the right in the world. It just he said the next day after I did that video, I don't get why Condor is out here attacking me.
Well, I don't know that situation, so I can't.
He was on the DM.
To be honest with you,
no, I don't want to bring drama, but he was talking to DM James. He thought I attacked him. I just want to make it clear.
Somebody like him. I think he's similar to me, and this is we don't give a crap. Like, and it's not you. It's just in general. I don't give a crap what somebody thinks. If I feel like saying something, I'm going to say it. Now, why do I not rant anymore? And I may have mentioned this at the beginning of the stream, but it's because I don't want to. Like, believe me, I've got some rants in me, but my rants were supposed to be tailored towards the 8% of the people, and you know who I'm talking about, that I think are just bad people on the planet, and I don't want anything to do with. Outside of that, I never went after Shauner as much as there are some times when I really wanted to. There are a couple other people that I've wanted to tag, but I'm like, I'm not going to eat my own, so to speak. So I have a lot of disagreements with folks.
I had a hard time being mad at Shauner.
Well,
I had a hard time being mad at him, and he went at me quite a bit.
Yeah, well, like I said, for me, it was a matter of like, dude, we've got you on this live stream, and then 5 minutes later, you're going over there and talking crap about us. That was the thing for me. Like, he was in our circle, like as a friend, so to speak. That was my issue.
You guys didn't know he was like that for so many years, and I already knew that about him. And the thing is, I gave up on the expectation of him playing cool. So what I would do is, he would do the stream about me that night, shitting on me, and then we talk for 40 minutes privately and have a great time.
That's fair.
But we did it every time he talked shit about me. And then the next day I would do a video, oh, Sean, or hey, you old man. I'd go around and we laugh about it. And when he passed away, I felt so bad that nobody knows this about me and him, because it's a secret between me and him. So it's something between me and him, fair enough. And maybe people won't believe what I say about this. Me and Sean are very, very close. Privately, even when he was talking privately shit about me. Mm-hmm. It's weird. Trauner's a weird guy. I gave up on the expectation that he behaves normal towards me. In a weird way, he's the one guy I made peace with, and I never got bothered by what he said. And I realized he just never had sway. And it's nothing against him, but he never had. It was like, dude, if he says something about you, you could just go about your life. It just means something.
I get what you're saying, but the people that are like in my circle, there are a couple of sides to this. You could say this isn't true because of, you've never met the person, but I consider a lot of these people friends. And somebody who comes on my show multiple times talking, even when we disagree, even when we're whatever, and because I can have knockdown, drag out fights with my friends and then go get a beer afterward. His felt more malicious than that. I don't know if it's intentionally malicious.
They were
looking at,
they
but,
were.
and see that's not somebody I'm going to have in my friend circle. That's just not. That's fine. He can do what he wants. You're right about the whole public figure thing, yada yada. But I don't want you in my friend circle, and I don't want you associating with me. I don't do guilt by association.
I wouldn't even call him my friend. It was just one of
Okay.
these weird things. He was a weird guy, and he was always going to be this way. And the only way to talk to him was to accept it.
Yeah, and I won't. And
I know. I totally get where you're coming from on that. Yeah.
But back kind of where we're going with this, like a lot of us, man, there's been other people you see on my streams almost every week where we had months where we weren't talking to each other because one or the other, me or that person, had to cool off, but something was said, things went on, whatever. But then, we kind of calmed down and we realized, either, hey, my bad, or yeah, I probably got a little too emotional about that. Let me simmer down. And it's just
some things people say on here. Yeah. There's some things people say on here where I'm like, that doesn't sell in the real world, dude. There's some things people so harshly go after, or like the continued attacks where it's, say you're a YouTuber and reputation is important to the audience you're going after. Somebody keeps rubbing your name through the mud, and they have, like, most of the people are going to see them before they see you. Well, that person has influence, and you have to accept they have influence. If you have thousands, and here you are, one of the bigger YouTubers. I had a bunch of guys, but and they hear guys before they get to me, and it's like, my only issue was I could take all of that. It was just like there was no break to it, and it was continued. Just after a while, people that never seen my content had these opinions about me, and I realized all of the opinions and where they're coming from. And it's not even true, like, stuff. It's just like, I get that you assumed it one week, and maybe one week somebody would say, I assumed this about Stephen. Mm-hmm. Next week they would say it like it's a fact. The next week they'd say it like and it's not just one stream. It'd be yours, Table Breakers, and then DM James. And it was 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 6 months in, every week, not a week missed. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Guys are making some weeks 5 videos about me. Some weeks it's only 1. Some weeks it's done, but I still get the 3 streams. That was the first 8 months. I took a 2-month break and I came back, and not as consistent on your stream, but again on DM James and Table Breakers. It was Shit Talk Condor for another 8 months.
So I won't speak to the others, but for me in this one, I made 2 videos.
Oh, I know the videos, but it was the streaming stuff.
I got that. One of which was kind of supposed to be a meme. And it turned into a meme on somebody else. Rob's game group, I think he goes by Adventures with Dice now. He said, oh, you're talking about me, aren't you? And it was all a joke, but you're talking about me, aren't you? And then so he's like, I'm going to make a reaction video. I'm like, you should make a reaction video to this, and I'll make a reaction to your reaction. He lost like 14 subscribers the day he did that. And so we had to shut it down immediately. It's like, dude, I don't want you losing subscribers. To be fair, I never wanted you to lose subscribers over this. I was just being my imbecile self, on the internet. Like, okay, you want to say this?
To this day, I don't think you did anything on purpose. I've never hated as if you have. Just I want to clarify that with you personally, publicly, before we go further. I don't think you meant to be any type of bad guy. I think if something happened, it's just like, oops. I think that's all what happened.
Well, that was back during the chill stream where we were talking a lot of shit too. Now, if somebody came on the stream and say something, I do a little bit more now, but that's for a whole different set of reasons. But back then, I absolutely did not police my chat. Some people were saying crap on there. I'm like, oh God, YouTube's canceling me right now. Because I didn't police the chat and I didn't care, because that's also how I was, making the money. That's how I was getting, people watching. It was fun. People enjoyed being there. So if somebody's going to talk shit about you or whatever, or to be fair, pretty much anybody else, I didn't give a crap.
Oh no, I think innocent, but it ends up being pure character assassination when it's like 16 straight months almost, right? And it becomes very convincing character assassination. Like, it's very convincing when here is my audience will see you almost guaranteed in DM James and Table Breakers before they see me. So that was the thing. I knew you were a filter to people I'm going to see most of the time. I understood that because you guys got a lot of new people coming in. And I knew that because almost everybody that came and left comments, everybody that I interacted with, all came through you guys before they got to me. So
I can show receipts on this next part. Yeah. I have never, ever once. In fact, I've actually always told people, even when they rolled their eyes at me, I don't care. Go subscribe to Condor. I've always said Condor is good food.
I've heard you. This is why I don't think you had any bad intent. I'm just being real with you. It's not like it's like, here's the outcome regardless to what you intended or not. And it was damaging, very damaging. It's brutally damaging, to be honest, because I went from 60 to 100 people a week growing to everybody getting influenced by this stuff. And then I start losing what I'm gaining at the same time. And then at one point, after just complete, this is who Steven is, a piece of trash, it just dies. And I'm doing the same content that was popular just before all this starts. So before all the streams start, the same exact content is growing me massively. I'm growing pretty hot on my new channel at the time. And I start doing the same content after you guys started doing the stream. So I'm like, okay, no content change. So why am I not still doing okay? I start realizing as I'm talking to people to try to figure out what changed. I'm a YouTuber. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck happened. I'm doing good now. I'm not. And then everybody I talk to, it's like, oh, we heard this about you. We heard this about you. We heard this about you. I'm like, oh, okay. Okay. And then every group I'm going in, I'm getting banned from old school groups. And the admin would leave me a note like, you know, I know you're this. And I'm like, oh,
wait, you're getting banned from old school groups?
Yep. Facebook.
I'm only laughing because I got banned from woke groups that I didn't even know were woke groups, but all of a sudden I'm banned.
I got banned from the woke groups too, because they didn't like they don't like my public politics, and I'm not shy about what I think.
We saw what you said on this live stream, like,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it was weird. It's both groups. It's the guys that are my politics were kicking me out of their groups. I got that very confused, but they leave stuff. I'm like, the only place I'm hearing this stuff said about me is on the stream.
Well, say that's the difference between me and you on that one is the old school just comes after me. And I don't mean that in some sort of, crying way. I just mean like I'm literally on Discords and Facebook groups and so forth, be like, Max, you're so stupid for thinking this, or can you believe that Max said this dumb stuff? And I'm just like, you know what? You think it's dumb. I think it's right. Let's move on. Sometimes I argue, sometimes I don't. You know,
I find if you could build, like I watch certain guys, they build up an audience and they're pretty smart about it. They won't say nothing too disagreeable for a first while, but then when they finally get an audience, which is smart, because the nerds I find can be so sensitive, they'll finally say the more controversial thing, but then it's harder to slap their wrist because they have a following. Like you can't really hurt. You can be, a few will be mad, but so many people will just give in to that guy, like say the basic expert. You get back to me. The only difference between me and a guy like him is out of the gate, I tell you the truth. So I don't bother being nice to you to get you to follow me. And I'm very brutal with my honesty. And it's just who I am up front. So I go, I'm not looking to grow like you guys on YouTube, but I do want to grow an audience. But I say to myself, if I'm going to grow at all, I accept failing, but I want to grow being me. So then I don't have to play by any rules. And once, like it's 900 some people I have right now. I got them doing things the way I do it.
I mean, I can't speak to your interactions with TBE on that, but I can tell you that TBE and I have some severe disagreements on stuff, but I found him to be nothing but open and honest with me. Like we'll have to agree to disagree on certain stuff, but we also take different tracks. He's definitely more into the old school, so to speak. And I don't know why that is, but that's what his interest in. Good, have it. I don't care about chainmail. I don't care about OD&D. I don't care about, look, even as you were saying, I don't care what Gygax said. That's one of the things that Heathen Dog and I are really adamant about. We have Kevin Siembieda on from Palladium, right? But part of us don't even care what Kevin has to say. We care what does it say in the book, and that's what we're going to talk about, in terms of how we express the games. So, that rule Gary never used. Don't care. He wrote it down here for some reason. I think it's stupid, whatever, and boy, man, you get on that Gary train. But the one thing I actually wanted to mention that you were talking about, I've gone after some bigger people. I don't know if you remember, oh God, what's his name? We call him Simp Clops. Indestructible.
Oh yeah.
Indestructible.
You've seen my video on that.
Did I?
You had it on your stream. You played it on your stream.
Oh, did I? Okay.
You thanked me at the end of it because it was defending you.
Okay, well, I thank you. I don't honestly, I don't remember stuff I did last week. So, but when he came after me, the funny thing was he came after me because of something somebody else did. He's like, well, you're going to come after somebody I like. I'm going to go after somebody you like. And I'm like, you realize that just because I've talked to those folks, like two of the people that you brought up don't even like me. And you used it to hurt them. Like, okay, whatever.
I could understand why he went at you personally.
Sure.
I could see him looking over at you, and given how many people talk to you and how many people surrounded you compared to others, like how many YouTubers surround you, go on your show, and you'd have this community you're building up. I could see how a guy like that would look over, given that there's only so many guys that are YouTubers in the old school, and you're one of the bigger ones. I could see common sense, logic says to me,
Sure.
I could see why he looks at you and says, if I'm going to target somebody, it should be him.
Well, and I said some pretty aggressive stuff, especially about Jenny D and so forth. My thing about Jenny D back then, now maybe I have a little bit different mind now because there have been more years behind it. It's like, girl, you've been in this hobby for like 2 seconds. You don't get to give advice. You can give suggestions. And the whole thing is I was just kind of playing on the pedantry of the term. Didn't even care. But it's that whole thing. And man, did Indestructible go crazy on that. And yeah, I use some very callous terms. I don't know if you know this, but in dealing with Palladium books, especially with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Kickstarter,
Yeah.
I had to have Palladium call me. Like we had a phone call over the fact that Paramount almost told them to stop associating with me. Paramount.
Well, because you're starting to play in money. You're starting to play in business. And the second you play in business, that's when you'll get shocked. You'll be like, you won't expect someone outside of there. Yep. And the second you get near that top, you start getting in dangerous territory.
And to be fair, I said some crude things about Asians Podcast Represents. They needed it said. If you're going to call me certain terms, and I know you know what those terms are, very favorite terms that segment of the population likes to say. One of them starts with an N. If you're going to be that crude and callous with me, then I get to be that crude and callous with you. And that's exactly what I was thinking at that time when I used those terms. And so it's not a word that I say often. It's not a word that I use often. But if you can call me some sort of istophobe, whatever, in a time when that was actually canceling people, then you know what? You might cancel me, but I'm going to get my dig in. So I got my dig in. Well, some people clipped that and they sent that to Paramount. So I had to justify, why did you say these things? I'm like, well, let me tell you. But after the conversation I had with Sean about everything from political stance to transgenderism to so on and so forth, he's like, okay, you're not actually a hateful person. You're just being a shock jock. I'm like, that's a fair way of putting it. Okay. And they're like, yeah, okay, no big deal.
Oh, no,
that's a conversation. Yeah. Do you want to have that conversation with somebody saying that, wait, Paramount and Nickelodeon who are like breathing down our throats? I'm like, crap, I got that kind of.
I'm not big enough for anybody to care, but I am surprised how many people report me or clip me out and send things to like a company. I'm like, I'm a nobody, dude. And at least I can be humble enough to acknowledge it. I don't pretend because I even have this crowd that I'm somebody here. Like, I totally get it. And it's like, so nobody's going to care. I'm not worried, but I am surprised how many people do exactly what you're suggesting, which is if they're trying to take you down or hurt you, they start clipping things out, sending it everywhere and trying to report you on everything you say out of context. It's like, in context, it makes sense what you said. Out of context, you got to have a talk with Paramount, right? Or whatever it was.
And to be fair, I've never understood that either. I like, again, if somebody, and I'll let anybody in chat, if I'm being a liar on this, go ahead and pull the receipts and I'll accept it if I'm being a liar. But I've never told anybody to go to a channel and brigade it with downvotes to unsubscribe. I've always been the opposite. My mentality is this. For most of the people, especially during the chill stream days, if I would have said, everybody go unsubscribe from Condor, you would have gained 100 subscribers just to be like, screw you, Max.
I might have, and I never heard you say anything like that. That's why I don't take it as I think you did anything with. But it's the same with me. Look, I'm not perfect, and I put out a video apologizing for shit I think I did wrong, straight up about that, because I'm not a perfect human being either. I never thought it. It was like, I just think it was at a time when it was hard to communicate to people, and stopping and talking probably would have solved a lot of things, right? Just, hey, stop saying things in public and let's talk for a second. And I made suggestions like that to people a lot, but the reaction I would always get would end up being on the live, whatever, or the video. And I'm like, well, dude, why don't you talk to me in private? I always thought I was a cool guy, right?
I didn't want to cause any more problems. Not going to lie. There were conversations behind the scenes, but I didn't want to cause any more problems. I unsubscribed and I wasn't getting your videos unless you made something that either said my name or implied my name. And then somebody behind the scenes would be like, Max, he's talking about you again. And the most hilarious thing to me is I'd say 2 out of 3 times they're right. The other 1/3, and that's a pretty high percentage in my book, you're talking about somebody totally different. Like, that's not me. I don't know who the hell he's talking about right there. One time I know for sure it was Bear. Another time I know for sure it was DM James. I'm like, what are you guys, why are you saying he's talking about me?
And I don't lie. It's not that I haven't talked about you, but I always hope you listen to those, because I try to be as thoughtful as I can. Even if I'm disagreeing, I try to be overly thoughtful. It's like, we're both public guys. I'm saying, and it's like, you said enough. So it's like, hey, I've taken my heat from you, which is fair. I'm a public figure, so I might respond, but it's not always for heat. which I would get disappointed when guys be like, "You're attacking Max." I'm like, no, he's a guy talking about the topic in public. So
I don't care. I don't care if you attack. That's the weird thing. If anybody's trying to play protector for me, like I don't care.
No, wait, no, yeah, I get it. But
best case scenario, I ignore it. Worst case scenario, I have fun with it in my own way, and then maybe another video comes out that I'm a hater.
I can't see you being upset with the couple of videos that I probably not like 500 or something. But I definitely know there's a few statements that you made that I wasn't happy with on your stream, and I made a response to it, and I thought that was fair. I never thought like I hate you, and if you again, I always hope even in the aggressive videos I'm thoughtful. If you go listen to it, I say things like I get you, you're not doing this or blah blah blah, but I'm not like happy with what you said, and I don't think it's true. And it's like suddenly it's well, you're attacking him, and I'm like, and then I hear you on the stream that week thinking I was attacking you. I'm like,
and I'm not trying to pin you down here. I'm really asking out of curiosity. Did I say that, or did I say that people said you're attacking me? Because I usually
I'll be honest with you. You said people said he was, but then you'd be like, I don't care, even if, and
because I don't.
But the thing is, you would act like it was the end result was it just seemed like you believed I was, and I was like, I hope it's too bad because I'm doing this for the sake of communication because I'm realizing we're not talking in private, so a way for me to reach out is through this forum sometimes, right? This platform. There's one video you did, and I know it was a long one, and it's the one you got completely wrong. You thought I criticized something about you on a stream or a podcast. And there's other podcasts that are gaming like the ones you go on. The guys can talk very similar.
Do you know what it's about? Again, I don't remember most of these things.
It was that one where you have it with a clown face, and you went on about my teeth issue. My lack of teeth. It was a meme video. Now, just to let you know.
Look. Okay, yeah. You know what? This one I'll give you. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I actually didn't know you were missing teeth. And so for that, I will apologize. I really didn't know. I was I think I said something to the effect of, man, he talks like a toothless bastard or whatever, something like that, because that's just some natural.
You made a whole skit for the thing, but it's I had my jaw shattered, and then I had to have numerous operations, and at one point I couldn't even speak.
Yeah, I heard about that after the fact, and I was like, oops.
Yeah, and then I finally had the operation that saved my life and let me become a YouTuber again, which is good. So I could speak, I could DM. I couldn't DM, I couldn't be a YouTuber or nothing for a period of time. And I was really privately, I won't say nothing too public other than it was the saddest point in my life. It's probably the most depressed I've ever been. I could not speak out loud to people. It was horrible. I did learn sign language and everything. But anyway, I'm here. But in that video, you thought I was attacking you on a stream. And I just want to say to this day, I have no problem with the video. I don't care about it. I just want you to personally know I've not brought out videos attacking you. Meaning I might have brought out videos disagreeing with you. I might have, well, look, see, there's that guy. Some people are so mad and so negative. So
I don't even know. Well, so I don't know if I have a mod in chat, but I did ask my mods to be in chat so that anybody from Legion of Myth that wants to start crap knows that they're not supposed to. So that wasn't anybody.
No, that's my haters person. I know. So I already know that, and they might be people in your circle, but they're my haters separate from you. So I don't think you're
so just to be clear, if I really needed to, I'm not going to, but I could go back and I could watch that video. They're all behind the paywall at this point, and the reason they're behind a paywall, I don't delete stuff. That's one of the things, some people are like, dude, you need to ban more people and delete more things, and I'm like, I'm starting to ban stuff, but I don't like to. I'm kind of a free speech absolutist, and I don't delete stuff not because I want to hold this in perpetuity and just in case I need it again. It's all for the fact of like to me it's history. I was talking with Kevin Siembieda about this behind the scenes, but he had mentioned like that he at one point had to sell a lot of stuff because his company was having a little bit of trouble. There's a big incident that happened that took a couple of years to resolve, and he's like he had to sell some stuff. And I'm like, dude, I still have cards from ex-girlfriends when I was in high school, just because not because I read them, they're in a box, but I like it's a history thing. When I had to sell my Transformers. Yeah. Because when I got out of the Air Force, I was poor, and then all of a sudden I was out of a job for a while. Like things were desperate. I was telling my mom, I said, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna do like armed robbery or something. So I go to prison for a while just so I can have 3 hots and a cot. I was selling things. I'm so angry that I sold them, not because, you know, Transformers are my favorite thing ever, but there's a history behind all of them. My grandma bought this for me at this age, whatever. So yeah, those videos still technically exist. I could easily go look them up, but they only exist for posterity's purposes.
I appreciate that. I get what you're saying. I just want to say to you that I've only responded to things. So it's like, even if you went on a stream and I were to do a video that was disagreeing, it would be with an idea you put out. I wouldn't go, oh, you're a piece of shit on the stream. Now, there are certain guys that personally attacked me at one point. I know I put out a video saying, well, you guys are idiots on those streams. And I think to this day, I'm convinced.
We are idiots on those streams.
Well, not you guys. It was a different stream, different YouTubers, but they do tabletop. There's so many guys that don't know each other. And now that more guys know each other now. And like, I introduced Dungeon Minister. He was around for a long time before people knew him. And I introduced him. He even thanks me to this day. He did it recently on RPG Pundit's interview with him. He said, it's Condor that introduced me outside of the Facebook groups he was in. I introduced him to you guys. Right. But it's because I knew, because I mingle with a lot of different guys you guys don't know, but they're all old school online with YouTube channels that don't know you. And they all do. You want to know what? Here's what's funny. Their streams sometimes sound like your streams, right? And so I go watch them, and because they're talking about the same shit. They're the same old school guys like you with mindsets of, oh, I'm picky about this. So they can sound very similar. If you guys mingle together, that would probably work really well, right? Either way, back at the time, some guys have gone now. They don't even have YouTube channels anymore, but they did at the time. I get shitty with a group of guys. I knew right away when that video came out. And I started hearing you say, and you're detailing out what I said in that video. I'm like, oh, it really was. And the guys already attacked me for the video. So I'm like, okay, they've already taken their shots at me for it. Mm-hmm. But I'm realizing you really thought I went after you. And I was like, I'm not even mad about the video, but I wish Max knew it was cool. I don't attack. I respond. Or I respond to your ideas, or I respond to what you say about me. I never attack, though I get accused of it all the time. I think people just didn't want to like me for a period of time. So everything I would do would just be like, we paint this as you doing that. I'm like, okay, dude, fair enough.
Real quickly, Pat, no, I'm not streaming. This is all a Condor thing, man. I'm not streaming to my channel at all.
No.
So it's
I'll set it up so he can share this content on his channel afterwards. I just didn't know. We talked about this a few minutes before it started. I don't do a lot of streams with people or even work this out. So it's not been necessary for me to even concern myself with.
Look, I know we've kind of gotten off the rails a little.
All right, let's go back.
But and also, I don't know how long you want to stream. I'm good all night. I don't care. I'll stream forever. Like anybody remembers, if you watch those old streams, you know sometimes I went 8 to 10 hours. So other than maybe a bathroom break at some point, I'm good. But at the same time, to respect your time instead of just going off.
I'm good. Everywhere. I made sure I was clear for tonight. Okay. I'm not saying that we have to go that long. I'm just saying I made sure that.
I mean, chat's moving pretty well.
I hope the guys are enjoying
the audience, so to speak.
Yeah, they seem happy with it. Like they haven't shut up since. But I know these are your guys, and I know this is probably interesting for them, seeing me and you talk after all these years of knowing each other. So there's probably a bit of that, and I get that. I hope you realize I'm just a normal guy. I hope this talk is
just normal. I mean,
no, but I mean, I think
nerds, and we probably have some sort of autism or whatever else, ADHD or whatever the hell else people are claiming that they've got out there. But I mean, this is something we were talking about recently, and I don't remember if this was in an after show or if this was on the show. But and now I just lost what I was going to say. What the hell? See, this is how you know I'm old.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. It happened to me.
Oh my God, we were just talking about nerds. Is the fact that a lot of us, when we grew up in this, so, one of the first questions you asked is like how I got started. I was in Lutheran school, blah, blah, blah. Well, when I transitioned from there to junior high and then senior high is like the only time in my life that I would never, ever, ever want to replicate. I want to block that. If there's ever the word trauma to come out of my mouth, it happened during junior high. But even in senior high, once I actually did get kind of a friend circle and, they're gamer nerds, man, I was hung up on a flagpole. My belt loop broke. I was smashed behind bleachers. I was put on a little board that they do. It took 5 of them to get me there, but I was put on a little board and I was raced all around the gym and smashed into walls. Remember, at this time, I also still played sports. So I was still kind of a jock. So I wasn't totally hated. what else? We had people kicking our dice. There's one big one. Oh, I was tipped over in a porta potty. like the thing is this is one of my issues with the whole mainstreaming of this, is the fact a lot of these kids didn't go through, you know, what we did. And I'm not boo-hooing, I don't care, but most of us came from broken homes. I don't think anyone in my gaming circle either had two parents or had two stable parents. One was an alcoholic, or whatever. Most of us
TSR wouldn't exist without fucked up people being willing to go through shit to play the game.
Right. So, you know, when it comes to nerds acting weird, and, you know, if some people maybe didn't socialize even up to age 52 like me or whatever, yeah. I mean, I can thank the Air Force for that. The Air Force made me grow up. They made me grow up. Yeah. My first 2 years, we're not going to talk about that here, but was a problem. But my the point that I'm making is, I think nerds are always going to be nerds, no matter, even the ones that want to act like, no, I'm not like that. I think to some degree we all are. We all have our hangups. We all have our issues. And back then we learned how to get over it. We didn't say you need to go seek therapy. It said, shut the hell up and grow the hell up and act like a man, you know? And that's how a lot of us talk to each other.
And I agree only to a point. There's a point that I think people say things online where I'm like, no, if you said that in life, you have to apologize. So I would smack you or punch you in the face for that, and that would not be.
But that's its own answer. I'm glad you said that. Yeah. That's its own answer. You can't do that now. Like one of the things I learned recently, and anybody out there who, what happened? Am I here?
Oh,
yeah. Hello.
I think am
I back?
You're back on my. I can see you now, but you do a little blink on your end.
Yeah, that was on my end. That was weird. Going on with that. Anyway, like just if you go up to somebody and flip off his hat, that's actually technically 5th degree or some degree. It's assault. I'm like, assault? You flip off my hat, I'm going to pick it up, put it back on, do it again. That's harassment. I'm going to punch you. But what you were saying is like, sometimes, yeah, punching is the right answer. How dare you say that? Because I have testosterone. That's why. But you have to stay away from that now. And so now it's litigious, or don't be a big fat meanie face and say these things to people. Like sometimes people like a lot of times, I don't know if you've ever done this, but a lot of times people looked at me and said, you would never say that to my face. I'm like, have you ever met me? Ask Heathen Dog what I would say to people's face.
I say to guys, I'm not worried about what you would say to my face. My only issue is if I can't punch you in the face and I need social decorum, and we're not on Discord. This is public, so what you say about me here damages me. Sure. So this is not where we can be casual. And if you don't understand what you're doing to me when you're doing things, I can forgive the carelessness. But you casually having fun talking shit about me for a while turns into something that's drastically bad for me in public. Now, if you just said shit about me on Discord in private conversations, then you do it every week. I don't care, right? That my life isn't altered by what you're doing. But my success may get altered if that's in public. So I say to guys, in public, you got to make it that I can approach you. And it's like, there's some guys that want me to go on streams with them where it's like, I'll look like an idiot for going on the stream with you. It looks bad on me. You'll get views. You'll get likes. Guys will be happy. You'll probably want to own me or something on the stream. I'll walk away and I'll get nothing from the time there, other than I look like an idiot for going on, because you make it that I socially have to look like down on my knees idiot to go talk to you. It's like, if you want me to stream with you, I tell some guys there, you got to make it that I can socially come and approach you reasonably. It's like we're public figures. This is not on Discord in private. I got to be able to approach you without looking like an ass clown. And
I guess the point that I was trying to make, though, is that nerds are always going to be like that. And you know, some people socially, to be fair, for me at that time, for about the year and a half, 2 years, I don't even know how long I did the chill stream. It wasn't as long as I thought it was, but it was longer than what most people wished it was. Is the fact that I was venting at that point, the things that were pent up for a long time that I really wanted to say. And sometimes people got the brunt of that. But I think nerds themselves, because we grew up in a lot and I'm talking the 70s and 80s nerds, maybe into the early 90s. Yeah. We're just like, dude, who the F cares? Like really, who the F cares? And you know what? Social decorum can be damned, because you're over there, I'm over here, we're screeching at clouds, you're screeching at clouds. I agree with you on one thing, and I've actually said this to many channels. It's like, there is a thing when I'm talking to you, like I don't know how to say this because I don't want to cause crap with anybody, even in the chat. I never came here with the intent to mess with you, right?
No,
I
I know.
wouldn't do that. I would just say
I
no.
hope you notice that I'm not doing it on my end
Right.
with
No,
you.
no, you're not either.
Yeah.
The whole idea is there is a social decorum.
Yeah.
And I do absolutely believe that whether you're at the D&D table, I don't need X cards because at the D&D table, I know there's social decorum. You know, when I'm talking behind the scenes and, you know, we get a little more blustery with, you know, with some of the folks that are on the after show and so forth, we still know there's a sense of social decorum in that. And so, yes, I absolutely believe in decorum. I believe in etiquette, but I also believe in entertainment. And whether I'm good at it or bad at it is going to be anybody else's decision, not mine. I think I suck, but you know that's I mean I got a few viewers anyway. But and I think in nerds, in a general sense, I'm not talking about me and I'm not talking about you. In a general sense, I think that nerds lose a lot of that because of whatever tism it happens to be. They either didn't learn it or they can't internalize
Because they don't get it. I want to go on the stream. Like, there's a guy, I don't want to mention his name because I don't want anybody to think I'm taking a shot at him. But I would say yes to go on the stream right away. I'm not a shy guy. I hope that's noted tonight. I have no problem talking to people. I'd never be shy. I'm a social butterfly in life. I go talk to crowds like breathing air. I'm hired to do jobs because I talk to crowds without any shyness in person, right? So I talk to everybody. There's no shy about me, but it's like telling a guy, I got mad because he asked me one week to go on the stream, and I'm like, I'm getting ready to say yes. He goes on the next day and he lies about me on the thing, and I'm like, and he knows he's lying, so I'm like, okay,
and there's no recourse to confront him on that lie. I'm just curious again.
I never made a video replying.
No, but I mean, like going on the stream, and be like, dude, what the hell?
Well, to me, it's right away you're crossing a line, and it's like it's the next day before I could even say yes to confronting him. Say I wanted to do what you said. So the next day he tells the lie again in the morning. I'm like, on post. I'm like, all right, dude, that's 2 days in a row. Okay, so I haven't even had a chance to reply to his thing. The next day, he tells the lie again. I'm like, dude, I get that you're mad at me for things, but you want me to go on the stream, right? I mean, 3 days in a row, I could understand day one and what you said, Max, go on the stream and confront him. Fair enough. I think that's fair. But it's like day, I'm like, dude, come on. And if you're acting this way and it makes me not like you. It's like trying to tell him it's like you're a stranger to me, Mr. Guy, not you, but this other guy. And it's like, you want me to want to go talk to you. Well, I want to like you to want to go talk to people. That has to be sort of part of it. I got to want to sort of have the conversation. You can't make me not want to go talk to you just on the casual, right? And make me so dirty with you that by any point, I'm just like, all right, dude, I'm not going on the stream. Just
so one of the things that I take very seriously, and this is more on the military side, this is more in my real life than I worry about on YouTube, but is my integrity. And as the Air Force, we have 3 core values. The first one being integrity first. And so there's a lot of shenanigans and so forth. But I'll even mention. I don't care. I'll mention his name because we're good now. DM James one time was on a live stream and he was talking some stuff about me.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went into this whole thing. Yeah, well, I don't trust people that take money. I don't remember the exact words, but essentially, I don't trust people that take money. Can't believe a word that they say. And dude, I was like, are you kidding me? You just were talking about me, and then you added that in there. So I was like, let me on your stream right now. And I confronted the crap out of him right there. Come to find out that he wasn't talking about me at that point, but there was no transition there, so I didn't see that.
That's happened to me with some guys.
And B, I wouldn't say I overreacted, but I was like, dude, you can't talk about me and then all of a sudden say, max this, max that, Legion, blah, blah, blah. And I don't trust people that take money. And I'm like, whoa, no, this is my YouTube channel. This is my business. And while, I have a full-time job, this is also a business. I put time and effort into this. I'm going to ask for money. Like, that's just the way it works.
It's if you said it, James, in the Discord private conversation, I don't care. Right? But what you're saying, you wouldn't even care. But even if you heard it, it's like you'd probably correct it, but it wouldn't be a big issue. But he's doing this in public on YouTube, saying
but we worked it out. But we also worked it out in public. So you know what? After that, we were good to go, and he's probably forgotten about it.
If they would give me the opportunity to do stuff like that, like DM James, he asked me to stream with him. So he repeats this very drastic thing. Say, there's a guy who took a video I did, and at one point in the video, I'm doing an example. I'm giving an example of a guy and his brother. It has nothing to do with me because I don't have a brother. I'm an only child. So it's like, I'm giving this example. And the guy who streams it, and is well liked, he takes that part only, plays it up and says, I'm saying that about myself. It's like, I don't have a brother, because I broke up with my ex. And so he says she went and cheated on. I broke up with her. She never had a chance to cheat on me. There was no opportunity to cheat on me. But so I wasn't hurt by the lie, but it was weird that I only found it out after 3 months of him pushing it continuously. And I finally called him out. I said, here's the video. Please, everyone watch it. You'll realize I'm giving an example of another person. So I put the video up, very happy. A lot of people came back. Yep, exactly what you said, Stephen. Yep. DM James is pushing the lie the day before I put the video up. And I called DM James and I said, can you please stop doing that, dude? And I was very polite to him. I said, it's not true. Here's the link to the video. Go check it out so you just stop telling a lie about me. Right? We're cool because he wants to stream with me around this time. I'm trying to fix this issue with him. Stop telling this every single day on your stream. It just has no truth to it. The bigger YouTuber that took my video, cut the piece out of context again, and lied straight on the stream saying, yes, I'm saying it about myself, which I don't understand the lie. Maybe he wants me to look like a cuck in front of people, but I'm like, I broke up with her. I mean, you can ask her. She never cheated on me. I have no brother. It seems like a stupid lie. It's like a OG. OG has this whole history with me for over a decade. I only knew him like 3 or 4 years ago. It's a complete lie, complete fantasy he makes up about me and him.
Wait, so he's saying it's over a decade?
OGGM goes on and says, he's known about me since day when I came around YouTube. No, he didn't. I know what circles I was in. He didn't exist to me. He wasn't even making content at the time. I only knew about him. I didn't even know about him when I met you online. So when you first commented on one of my videos and we started talking, I still didn't know who the OG guy was.
Well,
right?
So when I invited you to the Discord group, and I'm absolutely not going to bring up anything to do with us, but when I invited you to the Discord group, I just invited him like a day or two prior to that. And I actually asked the folks in there before I brought you to it. I said, hey, do you guys mind if I invite this guy? Okay, I came across his channel. Seems like he's got some good food for thought. I don't know him from Adam, but and everybody responded, said, yeah, we got room for more. Sounds good. Let's do it, whatever. And that's when I invited you in. And I think he was in it.
Oh, I believe you. I don't think he had a problem with me right away. I think this is something that you ever see people when they don't like you for a certain opinion, then other people go on attack, and then you get a bandwagon effect. Other people just sort of seem to jump on the bandwagon when they've had no issue. That's what it felt like when I first think the negativity from him, because I only ever did one video, which was, and I was nice. I just said it was because he had said something rude about somebody, and I said it was about dungeons. I'm sure it's the only time I ever disagreed with the guy really before he blew up on me. But he starts creating this history between me and him. He's telling everyone, well, he's known me since day one. I'm like, dude, I just met you. I don't know you from anybody. And then he kept telling a lie. I thought, this is really weird. I'm like, is this making me look bad? I'm not even sure. I'm not even caring really, but I am. It was more curiosity. Like, what's the point of the lie? I don't understand it. Why is he creating this whole history of rivalry between me and him? Does he think it brings credibility to him to have an issue with me? It's what it felt like, because I never had the issue with him. So he made several videos now where he has this whole history, and he does all. And I'm like, the dude is in fantasy land. I haven't known him that long, but I guess for him and his hit, I've known him for over 10 years, the OG GM, and he's been arguing with me the entire time, and I've done the same content. He doesn't realize in my first YouTube channel, I didn't do this content. So, and the reason he doesn't know is because he's lying. He wasn't there, right? That's why he doesn't know. Right. And
I definitely can't speak for other people, but I get why,
I don't hate the guy to this day. I have no issue with him. It surprises me how often the guy lies, because he at least about me, and he would just tell, like, dude, I don't understand why you're angry with me. I don't understand why half the guys are angry with me. Like Basic Expert, I went to one of his groups, and I seen some guys that were saying shit about me in the group, and I said, oh, no, that's true. A pretty casual reaction. Then he booted me from the group and said that I started shit with people. I'm like, well, I was just there, and he boots me from the group, and I never took offense to it. I never thought about it for like 2 days. And then suddenly he starts telling this thing about me where I'm like, well, he started shit in the group. And I'm like, no, I was quiet on purpose. I didn't want to get booted out. I know I already have a sensitive reputation with people. So I don't go and start. And if you notice, DM James would say, I'm starting shooting this chat. And I'm like, I would even hear you would at least respond. And I appreciate it. You'd be like, yeah, I don't think Steven does that. I don't think Gondor does that type of stuff. Start shit with people in chat or anything. Because I was a principled guy. I believe in free speech. I don't go cause trouble for other people. So it was sort of weird to hear DM James accuse me. Then some of the guys that really didn't like me came up with my defense and just said, as much as we don't like him, Steven doesn't go around, or Condor at the time, they were calling me Condor all the time. Condor doesn't go around starting shit with people. So we actually don't believe you. DM James, like he got called
I
out
think
for that.
the quote unquote truth will set you free. Like a lot of times, it's one of the things that I look at, as well as like I've only ever had to make a couple of videos out there for folks. There was an issue going on with RPG Pundit at one point. Where he started telling me that I had to vet everybody on my stream because he thought that somebody behind the scenes was effectively a neo-Nazi, yada yada. And I'm like, dude, I don't talk politics on my stream, so I don't care what you believe in. You can be a flat earther, you can believe in the spaghetti monster, you can be a Satanist, as long as you're not out there murdering children or something like that. Like, I don't care, man. Like stop telling me who the hell I'm gonna. Of course, I was more blunt about it than that, but stop telling me who the hell I can have on my show. And then there was one other incident. I don't even remember what it was about, where I had to make a video saying, "Leave me the f out of this. This is a you issue. This is not a me issue."
Yeah, I've been there. Where I try to come at it like this. I said to myself, if I ever went on somebody else's tabletop role-playing game stream, I don't bring up politics. You don't have to worry about me. I let you lead the conversation. If you let me lead, I only do what seems to be acceptable on your channel. I would sit there, and I've been on a few streams where it's like, yeah, Steven, say whatever you want. It's like, you guys talk about gaming. I'm just going to talk about gaming. I don't bring up politics. It's just, I tell people, and that's my only qualm with the Dungeon Tuber thing, is it feels like more like they're trying to pigeonhole you with that stuff. And I'm like, I
think the name just sounds silly. I mean, that's for me. I'm a Dungeon Tuber.
sounds pretty gay. So I'm like, yeah. And I say that, it's like, oh man, when I finally came out last year and confessed to being bisexual, I had a few guys that were like, you're going after these guys and doing this. And I'm like, well, I figured a few guys that were Christians that didn't like me would be saying shit. I sort of knew that was going to come as part of the package. But I'll say this to all the people that are in that community. The old school's not that bad. They don't just fucking hate you because you're different. You should never have to worry about that. I heard a lot of gay guys that I've talked to outside of our circle here that don't bother with you guys because they think you hate them. I'm like, that's just a lie. I'm like, there's even a game designer you guys talk to that I think is gay. Guy that talks to the basic expert.
Oh, I got you.
Am I right? I'm not trying to insult him. I think he's public about it. I'm
not gay, but again, look what Kelsey, what's her name? The Shadow Dark chick. She's a lesbian, from what I understand.
Open lesbian.
Okay, here we go. Let's go with the company that I have a lot of ties with, Palladium Books, one of their most famous artists now, for purpose specifically for Turtles. Sophie Campbell is transgender. In fact, people came after me about that because I made a comment, because the book, when I first saw the cover of this book, I was like, oh, it's kind of pinkish and whatever. It's soft pastel colors. Remember, I used to be a graphic artist in the Air Force, so I look at stuff like that and said, this would be great for the girls. And apparently that was anti-trans for me to say that, when I'm literally thinking in my head, this is awesome. If you've got a daughter, to get your daughter into the game, probably wants to play, maybe an anime kitty looking thing or bunny or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like,
perfect. You're saying, like, look at the dinosaur. It looks like stuff I like, but look at the difference in this image to attract other people.
Right.
That's a good thing.
Compared to this, which, okay, now you're going for the old school teenage. Yeah,
that's
exactly. And I'm like, this is awesome. And that was part of the conversation we had to have. It's like, well, what about Sophie Campbell? Blah, blah. I said, here's my deal with Sophie Campbell. I will absolutely, she's a turtle fan. I'm a turtle fan, whatever. Let's sit down. Let's play some turtles. Now, if she starts making demands of me at the table that are against my beliefs, we might have a problem. But I wouldn't picture her doing that, because you know what we're there to do? Play a game.
Yeah. It's if you get rid of agendas, it becomes easier to talk about some of this stuff. Like, it's I don't mind the idea that at the end of the day, what we produce are stories. I totally get what people are saying with that, but I tell them, Here's my problem as being a public DM. So I see this often. I don't know how much you guys see this. The majority of the time that you hear no character death or things like that, it's backed up by this is storytelling. And it's always backed up by that claim. And I tell the guys that I know that don't think that way, I appreciate when they say storytelling, they mean something else. I'm like, yes, I get it. I can respect you. I'm more on the same page with you than you think I am. I have no problem with some of the views that you have, but here's the problem. Your language is being borrowed by 80% of people out there that are damaging the hobby with it. So I appreciate that. And I agree with you more of your details, but the problem is there's other people going, hey, thanks for defending the thing, but we're going to use it for something else. And since you make it a successful argument that story is a thing, we're going to use it to have success pushing back against character death with it. And when you hear most of the character death anti-stuff and you see it get popular with some people, what's backing it? It's the justification is this is storytelling.
So I'm a prescriptivist, not a descriptivist. And anybody in my circles knows that I'm very pedantic about words and terms and the whole language changing nonsense and so forth. Yes, I know language changes, but I don't like it when it's done by activism and things like that. So I don't let them, like the 4D crowd right now. Actually, I like most of the guys in the 4D crowd. I get along with most of them, but there are a few that even in the 4D crowd themselves, they're like, oh my God, that guy's here too. That want to change certain terms, like the term role playing. I'm just not going to let you do it. I'm not going to let you change the term story gamer. Yeah, for a while, even I avoided the term story gamer because the people I was around were like, oh my God, that's like, you can't use that word because it has these connotations. Screw that. Story game. There's nothing wrong with story gaming if you understand that it's emergent storytelling. It's not, I wrote a book, I wrote my novel. Part. Right. It's emerging from the gameplay.
You're there to play game. Yep.
And so if somebody else wants to take it and use it differently, I'm just going to say, you're wrong, and I'm not going to let you have the term. We've had the term long before you. Now, I'll put it out there because I know somebody in the comment maybe will comment this argument. Well, Max, why do you say TTRPG then, not RPG? I had that dude, forget, he runs the center up in Geneva, Wisconsin. God, I forget his name now. Wasn't Gygax, but it was one of the... anyway, he's really
Frank Metzger.
No, not Metzger. I'd love to talk to Metzger. Oh my God, I'd love to talk to him. Beckme is my favorite OD&D or basic D&D version. But I forget his name. But he's like, he went off on me, like he just spurred on me about using TTRPG, and I'm like, look, I'm a computer gamer. I'm a tabletop role player. I'm all of these. And you know what? The computer gaming industry has won. If I say CRPG to somebody, they mean, oh, you're talking classic computer role playing game. I can't even say that to folks. Yeah, I've given up and I've caved in on the TTRPG thing because otherwise I have to explain myself. I'm not talking about Final Fantasy 14 or some nonsense, right? But I am actually one that I'm straight up like, no, I absolutely believe that it should be RPG for us. We had it first. It's just, how do you compete with the billion-dollar industry?
That's what it comes down to. It's communication. And they created the communication and no one pushed back. So it's like you can't have a few people complaining out there why a business is creating the dialogue around something. Once they create it, you sort of have to accept where it is. And unless you don't want to communicate what you think, if you want to say stuff and have it be confusing and nobody listens and nobody knows what you're talking about, go ahead, do that. You'll get left behind. You'll be ignored. I totally 100% agree with you. It gets to a certain point where it's not your fault. The communication has to change. But if it has to, you have to adjust to be able to get people to understand what it is you're saying. And to a degree, I always look at what we do as I don't mind coming up with any term that seems to separate it from anything that's too general, because we're so generalized that you call us wargaming or you can call us drama class. And I'm like, I don't like wargaming is wargaming. Drama class is drama class. Let them identify as those things. We should identify as something that borrows from these things, but it becomes its own thing. And
my favorite modern term is session zero. That's my favorite term because in the old days it was like, hey, do you want to come on over, make a character, and I'll tell you about my campaign? Now there's
an interaction. Zero. Yeah, there's activity to go with it. I totally get why that's sold. And when I hear a lot of nerds will always try to push back on something new. I remember years ago I brought out a video saying session zero is going to be an accepted thing. We need to get over.
Had to make a video on that?
I did, because there were so many guys out there saying, fuck session 0. We don't need it. I'm like, no, session 0 is here to stay. We're here. Like, people think here's the immersion thing. I made a case for this. I never heard anybody using it. And I remember the word immersion was used with game theory. It was a game theory that was pushed by Ron, forget his whole name. But there was this whole game theory that became unpopular. It was first pushed, but it used language like immersion to try to explain our experience with the imagination. I looked for it to see if Gary was using the word immersion that way. He says it a few times, but he doesn't detail it out to me what I was going to argue for it. And I said, well, I think what they're trying to say is immersive as in not immersed in water. That's too much. It's too nerdy to just encompass the entire word. Relax. So I made sure nerds understood what I meant. I started pushing the word immersion as a way to explain. It's like watching the movie. Somebody says your name, you don't hear them. They got to poke you to get your attention because you're so into the movie. I said, that's where your imagination and you want to be during a gameplay scenario with a tabletop role-playing game. So immersed in that way that somebody has to poke you to get your attention. Just saying your name wouldn't be enough. That's how good of a time you're having, so focused. I said, that's what we're all looking for, regardless to how we all get to it. And I don't care what tools or non-tools. I said that's the one aim that we should all agree that we're going for, is that. And then I did 40 videos talking about immersion, and it went from nobody using the word to suddenly hearing streams talk about it. Like, and it was a response to me on Table Breakers, ironically, talking about the word immersion because Condor kept talking about immersion. And then once it became more talked about, I was quite happy with it, but I knew I would never get credit for pushing that word. And then one day, Venger Satanis, not shitting on him, he comes out and does a video basically trying to push the idea that he's pushed the word immersion into the hobby as a way to explain what we do. And I'm like, dude, you're sub to me and you watch my 40 videos about it. Why are you doing this? I got really mad.
I'll argue with both of you. My friend Garth on my Discord, we don't talk to him much anymore. Yeah. In the 90s, he kept throwing that word at us. Like,
I believe it.
My Earthdawn games, he kept talking about, we need immersion, especially when we had a couple new people join. So I didn't use it much in the early 2000s, but I definitely brought it back at some point. I don't know when. I mean, let me rephrase that. I didn't bring it back. It came back into my lexicon, but I remember him talking about it all the time in the 90s.
I should be clear by what I mean by that. It wasn't that I never heard something. I said I heard Gary say, I've heard other people talk about immersion, and probably even occasionally on the private side of the world talk about it. But I was looking at public figures who were pushing certain words to mean certain things or use it, and I was like, I took me about 2 months of looking up that word and a few others. I wasn't happy with the others, but I ended up thinking nobody is using immersion. And it was an idea thrown out with the game theory thing. So I knew it wasn't its fault that it wasn't being used. Like, it was a great word for it. And obviously people had already used it, just like your friend, just like other people. So I knew about that. It wasn't that I'm denying that part. I just said, is there any public figure pushing this word? And then so I made 40 videos, and I felt to this day that a lot of the talk around immersion came from a lot of pressure I put, because I get a lot of views on those videos. A couple of them went actually viral, probably about 2,000 or 3,000 views on each. And then remember, Venger Satanis has signed up to me seeing all these videos come out. And then after I did 40 some videos, he came out and did a video saying he discovered the word immersion. I was like, well, Jesus Christ, what are you doing, dude? And I watched the video. It's like, I know. I have comments from him on my immersion videos. So let alone, I know he watched them. He's interacted with me on the videos where I'm talking about it. I'm like, well, I just talked about it in 40 some videos, dude. I think I'm the one who talked about this, not you. And so I like that guy. I don't mind Venger, but that was the dirtiest public thing I ever seen him do. And he did it in public, because my 40 videos are public. Your video saying you're discovering the word after my 40 videos is now public. If anybody checks the dates on my videos, they'll all realize they came before yours. And I did 40 of them. It was the most in-my-face deceitful thing I've ever seen. For all the guys I called out, that was the one public one I called out for sure. There was another thing when they were reporting genre, and this happened to me when I first came around the old school. I would go in Facebook groups, and because the guys couldn't ban guys from YouTube, they ended up thinking I was a cool guy in this way. They invited me into the private circles, and then started trying to get me to plan to run guys away from YouTube that had opinions they didn't like. Just simple gaming opinions, but they wanted to run these guys away. Then I had Shauner. guys were trying to get him reported and removed from YouTube, and they deny it to this day that they came and talked to me on Discord. And both of them. And at least one guy is one guy, he wasn't directly in the conversation with me. So I said that truth. I never lied or said that guy was there or said he said the thing. I only said one of the two came to me stating that him and the other guy. So I only said one guy made the claim. I never accused the other guy of anything. Though, of course, I get accused of accusing both. But I verbalized it. I made sure to be clear. And they came in and asked me, Stephen, do you want to join report? They thought I hated Chandra. So, because they don't know about the secret relationship privately I have with Chandra, they don't know that. So they came to me and said, do you want to report him and get it removed? And I was like, have you heard my videos on free speech? I was like, this is the stupidest fucking thing I ever seen you cunts ever come to me with. I can't believe you've shown up in this fucking private chat asking me if I'm going to report someone. Go fuck yourself, the two of you. And at first, I said the two of you, but I admitted in the video that I don't know if it was the other guy, but it was my emotional reaction to him at the time. I was not happy. Asked me to report someone. I won't report you. I won't report Bruce. I won't report Bruce after some of the most violent shit I've ever heard said towards me in public ever. Still wouldn't report him. I don't do that. Never cause him any trouble. I don't report Chandra. When they came to me with that, I was like, aren't you guys right wing and agree with free speech? What the fuck are you doing here asking me this shit? And then some of these same guys, old school guys, report my channel all the time. Yet they're right wing.
If you don't like a channel, just don't watch it. That's
the way I felt. I couldn't. I was like, God, they report my channel every day, and I'm lucky YouTube is used to me getting reports now. Like my recent strike there, I put a comment up that was not racist or bigoted. It was called hate speech. And I went to YouTube, and I'm thankful they looked into it. Because the last two times they've given me strikes, they've had to take them both down. And they did. So I don't even have the strike on my channel no more. It got removed because they agree with me. What I said wasn't hate speech. And it was in the comment, the little community section. I made a comment where it was about talking about a certain modern political group and comparing them to an old political group. Now, I know the old political group is not a popular one to mention, but there's no hate speech in what I said. I wasn't being sexist or talking about a race. And I get the hate speech accusation. So they took the strike away. It just sucked that I had to miss like 5 days without doing content on the main channel.
I was wondering. Yeah, I know when you sent me the link, you're like, it's gonna be on the backup channel unless something changes. It's like, oh, yeah. Okay. Wow.
It's supposed to be 2 weeks, so I should be like, if the strike was all the way through, I'd still be in strike zone. We'd be doing this on the backup channel. The only reason within the 2 weeks I can do it now is because the strike went down. It's the only way I can get free to get to this channel.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people copyright claim us in the past. I had one community or whatever it is, the really bad strike sounds like that you got there, not just the copyright nonsense. I won that within 24 hours. I actually threatened my lawyer on him because, I used to be a financial planner. So I do have a lawyer. And I threatened my lawyer on him. And they rescinded that one, but that was many years ago. That was like 6-7 years ago. But there is actually something I'd like to bring up here because you're talking the immersion thing. And I've had a lot of conversations with immersion on people recently, and I get really irked when people don't understand that immersion is not just role playing. You watch me role play. Don't know if you ever caught any of Bears games or any oh my God, not OGGM. That's Jim Fritz when he ran his game or whatever. I am in character. By the way, I'm getting a huge echo now.
Oh, I'm trying to move back here. Thank you for letting me know. I hope when you're telling me about this and I'm moving away, this is helping a bit.
Well, I can maybe talk a little quieter as well. But I'm in the headspace of my character, and I like to role play. I like them. Sometimes it'll even take me, 5 to 10 seconds for me. Like, okay, my character's this, my character's that. Just whatever for me, because I try to remove the world. But here's the funny thing. I also find the gameplay, the rolling of the dice, to be immersive. Now, not every time. Yes, combat can get too long. Yes, sometimes you roll too many dice. Yes, there are things in there that can become too much. But if I'm trying to perform a skill, just holding those dice and going, am I going to succeed or not? Let's find out. Let's find out. And this is one of the reasons why I like dice pool games, because you don't get that instant response. Now the dice are rolled and you're like, okay, I got 1, I got 2. Yes, I got 3. There is something about that to me is just as immersive as me going to your character and being like, oh, I can't believe that you were doing this, you crazy fool. Let's go have a beer.
I get what you're saying. You're immersed into the experience.
Yes.
Not just so it's like standing up when you game master.
Yeah.
That's a way that you immerse yourself in the game, right? All right. So hearing rolling dice being
Who's your
rolled, hearing
producer and got all this information? About
also, you prefer in person. Here's a question. You've done this for a few years. You did a little bit online. Are you still in the zone of in person, standing up, hearing
Yes.
dice roll? Oh, so you still prefer,
and pardon me for interrupting, but that's how easy it is to answer that question.
Yeah.
And I learned this anytime. So where I work, I actually work for Air Force Wargaming right now. So that's awesome. Now, to be fair, their war games are not BattleTech and Warhammer.
Yeah.
Their war games are real. But in order to have the experience where some people, how to say this, some people need to learn to role play. I'm making a fictitious example, but this is something that everybody can understand. Imagine it's World War II and you need somebody to play Germany and you need somebody to play Japan. Well, instead of playing to the rules of the game, you need somebody who understands Bushido and you need somebody who understands fascism. You have to play with that in mind. So we have to teach them to role play. And well, guess what? They let us play games like Dungeons and Dragons and so on and so forth. So every now and again, the last game I ran was Turtles. And I really debated, do I want to sit down and do this? Because just the way that the area was set, it's like, no, I'm not going to do that. Even though I'm kind of cramped here, I'm still going to stand up. I had a whiteboard. So you like theater of the mind. I like theater of the mind. I will use miniatures in a hybrid sense, but they're not mandatory and I don't care. I don't need them. I had a whiteboard. I kind of detailed out the little area and said, you're about here. And if they wanted to run, I just said, yeah, I got to about there. If you want to get further, make a dex check, just things like that. Right.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, but the entire time I'm standing up and I absolutely, and I was literally thinking about this while I was running the game because we had this conversation a lot. I'm like, I couldn't do it any other way because I like walking in front of the player like, all right, let's see what you got. So you got, can you make that hit? Can you make that? Can you stealth through this? Are you good? Are you going to stealth through this? And there's just something, maybe it's because I'm not a great game master and just sitting there and doing my thing isn't going to work for me and people are going to be uninterested. Maybe that's what I have to do to keep people interested. I don't know.
I get sad when I hear people say something like they're not a great game master, it almost makes me sad. It's almost like, did you have fun with your players that night? And you're like, yeah. I'm like, you're a great game master.
Oh, and that's the funny thing.
That's my attitude right there.
That group, I absolutely asked. So we had one guy who said he hates all things Dungeons and Dragons, right? He's like, the fact that you got me at the table was already ridiculously difficult, right? But I got him there. One guy had never played before. Two guys were 5e people, and I forget what the other one was. I think it was 5 players, if I remember. No, it was 6 players because I had all the wolves. So there's 6 players, but they all afterwards were like, oh my God, we didn't even get to the combat part yet. And the session was over. Like, we're going to do this again, right? And the funny thing was, this last Thursday, we would have played again, except for I was on leave. like, you're on leave. Like, no, come into work. I'm like, nah, dude, I'm on leave. I'm not.
Isn't it funny when people are ignorant and don't know what we're doing here? Isn't it surprising once they have a real taste of the real thing for 2 seconds ago? Wait, this is it?
Right.
Yeah. And it's like, wow. Oh, I thought this was stupid. No, it's not. Not when you're inside of this. It's the amazing place to be.
And also, you don't have to run the game stupid. There's a different way for running for kids, and there's a different way for running for adults. One of the things I take severe issue with, and I made a blog post about it a couple weeks ago. Is I really get irked when people say, oh, it's just a kid's game. Oh, it's just a kid's game. It's like, no, it's not a kid's game. That's like saying football is a kid's game or chess is a kid's game. Can kids play it? Absolutely. And there's a way you play it with kids. Probably don't want me running that game. And I'm not saying that to be a jerk. It's just, I run visceral games and sometimes I like to get a little graphic about, what's happened out there. But yes, you absolutely can play it for kids and you should play it for kids, but it is also an adult game with adult choices and adult consequences and adult concepts in there as well. And that's how I tend to run my games more. And when one of the guys saw, he's a little younger than me, but not much. He's, he's actually promoted in the civilian world. He's actually higher than me in the civilian world. And he's a leader of men and so forth. And he's like, I never knew that's what this was about. This really is intense with your imagination and your consequences and your decision making and your life or death struggle. And this isn't just a video game where you're like, hack, where's the next fight? I'm like, I got it.
The other thing is you're bringing to wargaming is that sense that we talked earlier tonight about where you talk about being the kid and you're having the person talk to you about saving your brother or something. And you're going through this dramatic thing where it's like you accept it because it's a kid. Like Max might say, fuck, I won't say that, but the kid is scared. He's going to go along with what buddy's saying. Imagine you're playing the war game, and instead of just doing the gamey thing, you go, knowing a bit about the Japanese here and given their strategies, they'd probably move through here. I wouldn't do that. But they would. Maybe I should do what they would.
We
And it's almost
literally
like
did that in BattleTech. And my friends and we actually did that with BattleTech. Now I wouldn't do that at tournaments, but with BattleTech, especially the guy who played House Kurita, you know, the Japanese Bushido, you know, we call it Space Japan. He absolutely would do that. He would have honor duels with people. He'd put himself in the dumbest situations because it was honorable to do. And you know, we loved him for it. The Merrick guy, because they're nutshit cases, he'd be a nutcase. The Steiner guy, because they're all social generals, he'd make a dumb move. He'd be like, you know, I probably shouldn't do this, but I just got to assume that my captain, who has no clue about warfare whatsoever, and I just want to see what happens if I go here. You know, like,
I don't think people appreciate flavor.
Right.
If you know what I mean, like there's a flavor that comes from all of that, and it's so flavorful that that's a story you could tell later. If you did the generic thing that night, it's just one of many generic things you've done. If you've done the odd thing where you've done the thing that the character would do instead of you, and it turns out to be something, it's going to be something you remember.
And I'll go one step further. Odd thing, but within scope. One thing I despise is playing against type. I hate that. I hate playing against type. It's simple. It's overdone. It's not interesting at all. But you can play within type and still be on the periphery, we'll call it, in terms of like, that's not normally how a dwarf acts, or that's not normally how this is, but it is still within scope. And wow, you just made that character more interesting. You forgave somebody, even though your clan would never allow it. You know, whatever it happens.
Is there if you're going to go against what dwarves would do? Are you doing it because you don't care, or is there something where you're saying this? You're bringing flavor. You're saying, I don't want to really go against dwarves. I just think it's interesting that my dwarf says "fuck you" to the society because he's been mistreated. So he tries to act like humans, but he fails at it all the time.
Right.
That'd be interesting roleplay.
The flip side of that has to be that when that character goes into dwarven society, he's shunned. You can't just be like, oh, we know you're the weird one. Come on in and would drink with us. No, they're going to drink by themselves and leave you out. Now, a clanal society like dwarves, who they're absolutely tied to their kin, and you've got one sitting over there and you're not inviting him, that might not mean much to a human, maybe not even to an elf, but to a dwarf, that's like, whoa, what just happened there? And that's what a good game master will absolutely.
You might even get shunned by some of the humans where you're weirdly trying to hang out with humans, spend your time with humans because you're trying to get away from your dwarven folk. Next thing you know, the humans are saying, dude, you don't belong here.
Yeah, somebody earlier said he thinks the word verisimilitude has been used a lot, right? I agree that is the verisimilitude. I actually love that word because verisimilitude is so important, and that is the verisimilitude of that setting, of that world. And I think that as a player, when I joined somebody's game, I played with guys who are much more railroady story gamers, guys who are just completely open sandbox and everything in between. What is your expectation of this game? And I'm going to be quirky about it, but I'm not going to be quirky where it ruins the table or makes the game master hate his own world at that point. But let's do something interesting.
It's about enhancing the time for everyone. Yeah, I always say it's a team effort or a team sport. There is no great DM. I'm only great the night that you guys played the game with me.
Sure. And you know what? I will say that players help make great game masters as well. And that's because, you know, whether you argue about vetting or you say you're a public game master, and I've been all over the world, so I've had to just sometimes just deal with the people that are there. A bad player at the table can frustrate a game master or frustrate the table to the point where, man, that game master sucked. But it really wasn't the game master. Now, to be fair, maybe it was, you know, but the point is like you said, it is a team effort, it is a collaborative effort. I hate the term collaborative story gaming because I sometimes think that misses the mark, but there is absolute truth in that where we're here, I've got
a emergent story. We are working together for emergence together, yes.
But we have a role, and this is why I don't accept this whole thing like, well, the game master is just another player. The hell he is. Like the game master has an important role, but he is just one person within that social group of however many you have at that table. You all kind of have to work together on this. That's, you know, unwritten in my case, but social contract, yada, yada, yada. All these things that we've talked about during this episode so far that all play together. And so my point being is you can have maybe one bad player and still have a pretty good table, but if you start having a couple bad players or if you have a bad game master, it's over.
It is. It really is. It's so necessary for giving a fuck. That's the thing we said earlier. It's that basic care factor. It's yeah, we all can be assholes. We all can be bad. So let's not just target just certain people. We all potentially could be that. But when I show up, I give a shit. When the other players show up that aren't causing trouble, everyone could be a prick. So I know they give a shit. Right. So when you show up and you're acting with an attitude, the sour part about that is you're not giving a shit. And we understand we have to do some work here that most people get paid for. It's tedious shit. We have to plan out, make things work the way they are. It's like at the end of the day, it's not like turning on a video game, even though that would be convenient most of the time.
I don't know. I don't get the same from a video game. Now, to be fair, there's a couple of times I'd say I'd rather play a video game. If you tell me you want to run D&D 3 or Pathfinder, I'm probably going to prefer to play a video game. And then there's certain groups out there that I just wouldn't, we'll call it the pure beer and pretzels. Just because this is the internet, folks. I don't hate beer and pretzel players. Do what you want at your own table. That table is just not going to be for me. But with that said, like I'm probably not going to have fun at that table. But outside of that, no, man, I'm ready to go. The only reason I'm not in more games now, believe it or not, is my YouTube channel. The amount of work, effort that I put in behind the scenes on my YouTube channel is the second job. So I basically have two jobs. And there are people who've asked me to be in their games. And I have to be, I'm supposed to be in a one-shot coming up here. At this point, I don't even know if it's happening on that date or not. But the point is, like, I had to, she started saying, it's probably going to be 2 sessions. And I'm like, oh, crap. 2 sessions?
It's when I get told I'm being lazy on here, it blows my mind. I'm like, time is money, dude. I am outside of this. I don't have no life. Like, as far as, when I say no life, I'm so busy, I'm owned. Like, I'm owned. When I come back, I have to record something. Sometimes I record 5 minutes of it, run out the door for an hour, come back, record 5 minutes, go back out, come back in, try to edit, maybe add the instrumental, put it out. When I was doing audio at work, it's because it was just easier to record on the thing. And I was at work, 14-hour shifts I'm doing. So I can't be home to record on cam, but I want to talk to people on YouTube. So I'm like, okay, I can do this audio thing. And I'm getting told, well, you're doing lazy content. I'm like, dude, if I take out 20 minutes to talk to you, it ain't lazy. It's money. So I work my ass off. I am the least laziest person you'll ever meet in your fucking life as far as working hard. I go 14-hour shifts constantly. Most people couldn't keep up with me that call me lazy on here. I get really insulted by that. I calm down about it. But at the moment, I take hot heat because it's like, well, he's doing lazy content. I'm like, yeah, come live my life for a week. I promise you won't think I'm doing lazy content. You'll think I'm working my ass off to get these videos out to people. And you'll believe me once you see what I go through to make the videos and get them out to people. Tonight, this is the first time I've had this much time to myself in 3.5 weeks. And I don't mind giving it to you, but it's just saying.
This is actually cutting into things that now it's too late now. I'm not going to start anything at 8:30 p.m. my time here. But this absolutely, when we were talking about when to do this, the only reason this worked out is because I'm off this week. I have use or lose leave thanks to that furlough. So I actually got done a lot this morning, stuff that I needed to do. But no, I have to think about stuff like this, and it's such a weird feeling. Like, dude, you have 8,000 subscribers, and you do live streams, and that's it. There's more to my YouTube channel that, people saying your content's lazy. Hopefully I never said that because I don't think I ever thought that. No, I look at my channel and people call my content lazy as well. Cause I'll do a live stream and then literally I just go in, let's clip that segment out. I don't edit it because I actually started to, there's one point a few years ago where I started editing them and a 2-hour live stream would take me 4 or 5 days to fully edit. Like, well, then where'd the videos go?
I think you're one of the hardest working guys out of all the old school YouTubers.
I don't know about that. There are people who do actual research. I'll give them that because I don't do a lot of research.
What I'm saying is within continuous content for years.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
As far as grind, just pure grind, I would give you top spot as far as years committed to grind. I think you're one of the hardest working guys. I don't get why people would ever call your content lazy. You always produce well. I say, even with our qualms over the years, every time I mention something about your channel, I would say there's good content on there. Max is high quality. He does high production. For when you compare it to most of the guys around, like DM James. And I've always given that respect. I've always sent people like that. If you have ever talked to anyone, even the Black Rose person you interacted with one time, that's from my audience, I hope you notice how respectful he was to you.
Yeah.
I hope, and that's because I don't say bullshit about you behind the scenes.
I just don't. Only 2 people from your channel that I remember the names of, and I'm not going to mention them here. That I was like, oh, okay, you want to play this game? I don't care if Condor sent you or not, but I'm about to have some fun if you keep acting like this. But they backed off, and I'll just be upfront. One of them you've had a falling out with. I just learned that recently.
Oh yeah.
So I'm sure you know who that is. And the other one is I'm not going to mention that. I haven't seen him around in a long time.
Yeah.
But outside of those two people, yeah, I've had conversations with Black Rose a couple of times that I remember, and they have been respectful. I think. My feeling was, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I think I saw Black Rose in chat there, but I think Black Rose was trying to actually smooth things over or wonder why I go so hard on you on certain stuff. And I'm like, did I go hard, or are you just accusing me because I've got the bigger channel? And I'm not being angry. I'm just saying, like, I think you might have misinterpreted why somebody's going so hard. But we had that conversation, and I'm like, well, again, my perspective is a little different. Obviously, Condor's, there's always three perspectives to everything: your side, my side, and the truth. It was just somewhere in the middle. My perspective is, especially if, and I'm not saying you did this, I want to be very clear about this. I'm not saying to everybody out there, I'm not saying he did this. But when you're like, these people are lying about me, these people are haters, these people do this, these people do that. And I'm always like, does he remember why we had our falling out? It wasn't over anything like that. I never cared about miniatures. I mean, in fact, I agree with you. I don't use miniatures. And I'm not trying to dig up anything. I want to be very clear. I'm not trying, but my point is, like, our falling out was actually over something completely different, and it was the interaction that caused it, not a video or a commentary or whatever. It was the interaction that was around it that caused it. So, and that's what I think.
Actually, I've acknowledged that. I've actually acknowledged that with you, that I never tied you to the guys who, and I even said this publicly on streams. Yeah, Max never had an issue with my miniature take. All this, most of the guys had that issue with me. You had an odd issue compared to the other ones, but when I'm talking about it, and it's like 95% of the guys have this issue, but Max doesn't, I get it. I'm really not aiming that at you. And when I would mention your name, if that's why I would always hope you listen to most of that stuff. If you ever heard me mention your name for real, I would never ding that with, and I'd even clarify, like, I don't think Max cares about the miniature thing with me. I don't have, me and him, I guess, have issues. I would say it like this: I guess have issues that are a bit different. I said, I think maybe he thinks I insulted Bruce or something, or crossed somebody. I was totally confused.
I'm not going to go public with what it is, but I'll just say right now, no, it was literally nothing to do with anybody else except for me and you. That is 100% it. So nothing to do with anybody else out there. And I'm just going to leave it at that, because it's none of anybody else's business as to what that's about.
Agreed.
But
I apologize. Here's what I got, just not to cut you off on purpose here. With Bruce, I just want to say this. I apologized to him literally the next morning in the video. After we talked that night, and I said it with simple mind. I came up the next day, I said this, and he accused me of this. I just want to make it clear, Bruce. I don't think you're fucking stupid, dude. I don't think you're simple-minded. I said I apologized for the way I talked. And then he went on for 3 months saying he acted like I was trying to cover that up. Like, look at how he talked to me. This is the real Condor. I'm like, well, dude, the next morning I acknowledged I talked that way to you. I said it was wrong, and I apologized right away.
I'd like to say something, but I know nothing about this.
No, but when he was getting angry with me on your stream, it was always based on that conversation, which confused me. I'd even come out, like, I'd hear him again go on after, like, I go on the stream and be like, well, Bruce, I acknowledge what you're saying. Yes, I did say shitty things to you. I had a bad attitude. So did you. I apologize. You didn't. That's it. I don't know why you're still mad. And that's when he was freaking. And the table breakers was all to do with that conversation. He kept bringing it up, and I'm like, he kept acting like I wasn't acknowledging. I'm like, I acknowledged it like 12 times at that point publicly. I said, I don't know what more to say to you, dude. I acknowledge I was a jerk. Cool. He went on a stream with you before the game master thing that you started. And it was a stream just before that when you had invited me to potentially take part in that. The game, and you're doing Game Insight now, but it was called something. It's your chill stream. Either way, it was
oh my God. It was,
yeah, Bruce. Yeah, there's a guy that's gone.
Stream and the rando stream.
Yeah.
Do you know why that name? I'll tell you. Tell your story, but I want to tell you how that name came up, because it's part of our circles here. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
But here's what caused me and Bruce to have an issue. So you invite me on. He doesn't know me that well, but I already know he probably doesn't like an opinion or two I have about certain old school gaming. I knew that already, but I don't think any of that. So I'm watching that stream that night because you're telling me I'm probably going to stream with some of these guys. if I go in the Game Master thing. I've seen Bruce and some of the other guys you would have on later, right? So I go watch, and I'm like, and he starts talking about me, and the guy gets to me, and Bruce just calls me a fucking shit DM who knows nothing about gaming, goes on a rant, and the other three guys are just like, yeah, he's shit, he's trash. And even using words
Is
like,
that
I'm
Bruce
like,
or is that Crafty?
that was Bruce,
I
not
the only
Crafty.
person I think I've heard that from was Crafty.
Bruce, remember, Bruce was the one who was, I won't bring it up, but he was the one who was getting like, I want to choke Steven and all this. I won't go further than that, but he said that many times.
Okay, look, I'm gonna defend him in that one. Bruce, first of all, is hyperbolic anyway. I used to say things like, and again, being hyperbolic, you know, I got some of this from like Ricada, some of it from Cecil, and so on and so forth. It'd be things like, you know what, I'm gonna light somebody on fire. I've had somebody come after me. He threatened my life. Like, I didn't threaten your life. Do you actually think I'm gonna get out of my chair to go light you?
I would say I totally get that, and I used to think that was, but it's like I tell people, if you're like, if I don't know you and I don't know how you are, and I'm a stranger, imagine how it comes across to me when you're saying you'll choke me out, and you sound serious, and you don't sound like you're joking, and then you keep saying it. And I had a guy, understand, 2 months later, a guy came to my work from the old school and threatened to kick my ass outside of my job because of my gaming.
Because I generally know where you live. Like somebody.
Yeah. That's where the Halifax Halcon. He wanted.
Please come here.
Yeah, I don't have one of those. You can't really just.
Oh, that's right. You're in Canada. I'm in Alabama, dude. No,
so
I don't even have it locked up.
He came to the work saying he was going to beat my brains in because of my gaming opinions. At first, he threatened to get me to go to a thing called HalCon here in Nova Scotia. It's Halifax Con, HalCon. It's gaming and all that. He said, meet me there. And I said, I just talked gaming, dude. I don't know why you're freaking out. But he's a guy who liked some of the guys that didn't like me. So he's watching them. And I'm like, okay. So then he starts hearing not just Bruce say violent things, but other guys say violent things about me too. And this guy shows up at my work. I can't even tell you. And at first, I'm not used to YouTube. So I admit I freaked out when I first getting my life for being threatened over things. Like I reported that to the cops and everything. So I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to do here? Is this a big issue? Because I never had anybody threaten my life before.
Well, remember, online. Swatting was a real thing for a while.
Oh, I know. But over my miniatures opinion, because guys felt like I was fucking with their money or whatever, I had guys sending me really deep death threats. So like if you read them, man, you would at least think the guy is serious. And I understand what you're saying about Bruce, and I forgave him regardless. So understand, even though I'm not saying all the other things he said. I'm holding back on purpose because I think he was just being, like you said, talking out of his ass a bit. Going crazy. Fair enough. Cool. I'm with you. I don't want to accuse him of seriously doing it. But I just tell Bruce, I didn't know you were joking, dude. And so imagine the experience for me. So it's nice that you throw your threats around, but imagine how I'm getting my life threatened. I have guys come to my work, and then I have you telling me you're going to choke me out. And I think guys are being dead serious.
That whole coming to your work thing, dude, I'm 100% not calling you a liar, but that's just so hard to believe. Holy crap.
Because he wanted to meet me at HalCon, but he kept saying, Steve, I blocked him on YouTube, and he was really mad about me blocking him.
And by the way, we're not talking about Bruce for the folks out
there. No.
Sure you're not.
Let's make sure we're clearly not talking about Bruce, but it was a guy that kept saying, meet me at HalCon. And I was shocked that he showed up at the work because I was sitting there. We called the cops. My boss, like, this guy's out there. I go, look. Like, dude, who are you? He's like, well, why don't you come have a talk with me, Condor?
Calls you Condor.
It calls me Condor at work. I'm like, all right, this guy's from YouTube. I knew instantly it was from YouTube. So I figured out later, not even right away. When the threat happened, I didn't even know who it was. It took me actually most of the night to figure out it was that guy, right? But it was the guy from HalCon. So he showed up in my work. And I know people won't believe it, but it happened. And I don't know how to prove it, but it happened. So I just say, at least from my point of view, I'm having guys threaten me privately about killing me. I have guys showing up at my work. And then I have the Bruce thing. And I was like, I understand that Bruce now, I think about it over the years and I let it go. I understand it's just a little like we said, ass talking, but before I figured out and sort of put it together in my head not to blow up about this stuff and just take it casually, I was fucked. My head was fucked on that stuff. I was like, I was no way I was going to talk to him. It's weird. I'm getting and then asking people still asking me to go on stream. Like, dude, I don't want to go on and have somebody tell me they're going to kill me or something on stream. I just don't feel like listening to that. I'm not going to go on there and have that happen. And I felt that because I was like, it's like, don't you guys? I was always thought at first I thought it was like, don't you guys think it's weird? And you want to know what? It stopped. So Bruce stopped doing it. Everyone stopped doing it. So it was freehand to do it at one point. And I think what happened was where I feel bad is when people were making certain actions towards people that they still felt was okay years ago towards me. I think just years later, most of the stuff that happened to me, you would not see happen to new people. Like here's a guy, Daniel, the guy who drives around. He does similar content to my criticism, has the attitude, fucking talks shit about people and everything. He talks shit about Harmony. I mean, fucking really harsh too. She comes out and gives him a completely milquetoast reaction to what he said.
So like, the thing about that, and I learned this recently because he's actually been on Game Master Insight a couple times. He's one of the new people I've got this year, and I love it. According to him, and I'm only going with what he says because I do know about his Intelligence is a Dump Stat. I think that's the name of the show that he's got on Mondays. Is that most people know that show is somewhat tongue-in-cheek. Now, is he being serious about what he's saying? Like, is he calling something out that he sees as a problem? Yes, but he doesn't see it as being malicious. And actually, the people around, apparently the Bro SR and Harmony and so on and so forth, they all recognize, like, apparently they all have like a good rapport back and forth.
No, but here's my issue with it, Max. It's all honest opinions he has. And what I'm trying to say is, they might think he means no harm, but how can you think I mean harm? It's like all I'm doing is, and when you listen to him, it's not like he's trying to play a character. He's being a nerd. He hears something he doesn't like. He has a bit of an attitude about it, tells you what he thinks, moves on. And I do the same thing, but I'm like, I got fucked with for 6 years over that. Here's Daniel doing the same thing, but it's all milquetoast. It's excused. It's dismissed. I'm like, imagine because things that were done to me, nobody would think would be right to do to him. So it's done to me then. It was okay then, but it was okay at a time when lots of people were still doing that stuff in the hobby. Years later, most people have calmed down with some of it. Like some guys will still go after Scott and then try to put me into Scott Garibay circle. I hate that. It's like, look, I know Scott has an issue and Scott's just a human being. I don't know why people drag him through mud so much. I know he's a little nerdy, but he's like the rest of you. But I'm like, why do you keep? But it's put me into a circle with him because I realize that's the false picture being painted. It's like, yes, to compare me to him takes away my credibility. People love dismissing what I say. It sucks when I know I'm credible. I have real knowledge or experience on something, and it's like, yeah, you're just Scott Garibay. Fuck you.
I got in trouble for I didn't know who he was. The first ever chill stream that I did. And I was literally just going to the chill.
Oh, Patty, let me just straighten this out with Patty, so Patty can stick this up his ass. Hey, Patty, just so you know, little boy. No, I'm not talking about Harmony, who's only been here. I'm talking about 6 years of dealing with the guys who have been here for 6 years. Either you pay attention to the conversation or kiss my ass and shut the fuck up. One of the two. It's like I've been very clear. I'm not talking about Harmony over 6 years. Oh, posting for 3 minutes. I didn't even talk to Harmony for the first year of her fucking existence. So I'm not talking about Harmony. I'm talking about the old guys. Fucking idiot. All right, sorry, go on.
No problem. But I got to be fair. Patty has been really good to me.
Oh, he is. He's been nice to me.
I don't know all the ins and outs of some of this stuff here. So, what the hell were we talking about? We're talking. Well,
if you're going to try to make me, like, if you're going to make a comment that tries to be like, well, it hasn't been 6 years. That's dismissing what I'm saying about the 6 years. I'm like, Harmony only been posting for 3. Well, I'm not talking about Harmony for 3 years. It's a great way to dismiss it.
Oh, we're talking about Garibay.
Yeah, talk about Garibay.
So with the chill stream, I was literally I want to know, like, I stream on Sundays, but I want to know if I could do like a Friday stream. I think I could do that. Just kind of have a hangout stream with people that I know and like, and whatever else. So the first ever, I had Joe from Biggest Geekus, and I don't remember who else was on.
I like the Biggest Geekus guys.
And one other person
was
on as well.
Was it Randy?
No, it wasn't both of them. It was Joe. I think it was Aaron Pedantic. Is Aaron the Pedantic, if I remember correctly.
That's right. Aaron was on your show a few times. Yes, I remember.
But by the way, you want to talk about somebody who kind of became friends, at least for a while, after lighting each other up. He's one of him and Shauner. I actually met after they went after me and I went after them. And then we were like, hey, let's talk. Hey, actually, you're pretty cool. But no, so Garibay, like we were talking about something, I don't even remember what it was, but Garibay starts talking in the chat, and I don't know this guy from Adam. I didn't know he was part of Nerdarchy or that other nonsense, which the Navy dude from Nerdarchy, if I ever see in a back alley somewhere, we're going to have a fight. So he starts yapping, and I was like, dude, you want to just come on here? Do you want to just come on here and talk? And so he did. He came on, said his thing. He had one of the dumbest comments ever, that he thinks that should be a statue bigger than the Statue of Liberty of Gary Gygax. So we all gave him a bunch of crap for that. Now, because Joe and them were lighting him up so much, I had to tone it down a little bit. I was like, damn it, guys, you're like, I don't want this guy to just completely run away here. I'm like, dang, I don't know him from Adam.
Well, I'll say this. Some of the guys thought if I went on your stream, they'd be running me away. I'm like, I guess you guys don't really know me. I get you don't know me, but I'm a very cocky, confident guy. I'll come on there and verbally rip your fucking heads apart if you fucking try to talk shit to me on Max's stream.
See, back then I would have been like, I'd have just kicked back and be like, oh, this is going to be cool.
Oh, yeah. I'd fucking destroy them. Any of those cunts wanted to talk to me that way, they would have fucking got eaten alive verbally. Right? But I have no fucking problem with it.
After the fact, I had, because he started making videos, and all of a sudden everybody started talking about him, like, Max, you did this. If you wouldn't have platformed him, and I'm like, I don't care. First of all, I don't know who this guy is. I still don't know who this guy is. Whatever. Like, he was part of Nerdarchy, and he did this. And politics? And now he's driving around and talking stuff. I'm like, I don't care. I literally don't care. Like, but he wouldn't even be relevant if it wasn't for you. I'm like, really? I have that kind of power? I don't think I do, but cool. That's also long since died down, but it's just one of the hilarious things. First ever chill stream I had, he's on, and I had to live that one down for a while. But,
I think you have influence with the old school. I think
not anymore.
Not maybe. Look, I'm not trying to even look, but I'm just saying years ago, at least, on the very least, I think you accepted, and I think you acknowledge it too. You had YouTubers around you. Sure, you had a bit of sway, but you weren't trying to play with it. I remember you saying it's about us, it's not about me. And I buy that with you. I don't believe you were trying to kiss your own ass in the front. I think everyone's trying to grow on here, and you can't hate people or say they're bad for it. It's just, how do you go about doing it? And I thought you went about it well. It's like, look, of course you want to grow. You can't be shamed for that. But hey, at least you're not being an ass and cutting people off. You're not doing this, you're not doing this. So it's like, of course, but when people would say, well, he's only on here for the money, I'd hear stuff like that about you. I'd be like,
okay.
So what if he is? Yeah. So what if he is?
This is YouTube. I have monetization. I mean, there are some things I don't do because I think that they're insulting. Like, I generally don't turn on monetizations for live streams, although YouTube's changed that a little bit and it's almost forced me to turn them on. So I sometimes forget to turn it off now. But generally speaking, I'm fishing for funds. I mean, right now, just one of the things that I'm kind of getting a little backlash over, but I'm not going to back down on this, is the fact that I used to like read through like this entire book, right? It'd be this entire book, and I have like 30 episodes on that. Well, 30 episodes is over half a year. I don't want to spend a half a year on one game if I don't have to, and then cover, oh, here's the equipment section this time. That nobody watches those videos. Nobody. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to cover the core of every game. You're going to get the combat section. You'll get probably most of the lore. You're going to get the parts that are important. The meat and potatoes of what are you getting into? But if you want more, and this has happened twice now, once with Alternity and now with the Stars Without Number that I'm covering, I'm not covering the psionics section. Why? Because psionics play out just like skills. But I want to know what the psionics are. Great, fund it. That's what it is. Because you're taking a week away from me that I could do going into another game where those first 5 videos do better for me. I'm happy to do it. I might even be interested in it, but I have to look at the channel, and the channel says you don't watch these videos. So if you want to, you've got to fund it to some degree on this. And I don't have time for a Patreon. I don't have time for these other little backdoor more members only stuff, as much as I'd love to give my members more. So since I don't want to do something more segmented like that, make my entire channel members only. Well, then great. Then I get nothing because nobody
this is
knows
where I think me and you agree more on this stuff. Like I'm also in the mindset of, hey, dude, I'll do so much work, but there's work you're asking me to do I'm not getting a reaction to. So it's like, if you want me to do more of that, you got to give me a reaction to that, because it's I'm using time here. And if it's like I get that AD&D 1E stream, and I do the whole thing, and I'm telling guys, I'm not going to teach you the game. You can go find 5,000 videos that do that. But if you actually wanted more of that or more of this, I make content that says, if you like it, if you show me that you want more of that, I'll respond to it. And I do. I really do with the content that I get liked. I tell guys, here's what pisses me off about watch time. I'll go to the video. watch time is fabulous. I'm like, okay, so you want more of that, right? Is there any sign that anybody wants more of this? I'll have, okay, 20 views, but that's still an amazing amount of watch time for 20 views. Okay, why don't 20 of the guys, or I'll talk to 10 guys, I'll have 2 likes on the video. I'll be like, okay, 10 of you have told me you love this fucking video in private. No one's going to believe me, so I can't even tell the public that you told me this shit. Could you just go, I ask guys straight up, could you go like it? Yeah, sure. And then no likes come. Or guys, there's some guys in the old school that talk to me privately that don't tell anybody because they're embarrassed that they talk to me, or they don't want people to know they talk to me. And I'll say, I can't go in public and say that, because I think playing the villain or heel here, I'm more popular sometimes than I think my channel lets on to people. Like I'm more well known by some people or some circles, like the old school, especially a lot of guys around you. I think my channel would not support how actually well known I am by some people, because I get no support. I'm playing heel for a lot of guys. So it's like they come watch my stuff and I can see it in the watch time. I appreciate that, but it's like, but I'm an asshole. So you hear them say like, I don't want to like his video because that will give him support.
Nobody knows if you like a video. I mean, that's a good thing. Just don't leave a comment then or something, you know. Like, look, to be fair, I don't know if it still happens, because honestly, I haven't heard much about your channel in probably the last year, maybe more, but last year. But there was a time when even people on my Discord, I know you had 4 or 5 just from my Discord alone that were hate watching you. And I know that other people have Discords that are hate watching you as well. Again, don't know if it's still going on.
It's like
there's your 20 views right there.
Well, look at Ryan and a person like, well,
Ryan
from, we'll say Rumble. I don't want to say his whole name. The Cognito.
Yeah.
And then there's a guy with 2 Ds. And the reason I know they watch my content is they make certain comments that you have to watch the videos to know this stuff. I don't say it anywhere else. So it's like every time I'm like, and I tell them too, don't let me know you're watching, because sometimes I will do videos to poke at you if I think you're watching my content. You're being an asshole towards me. So I'll tell, like, I hope Ryan or D's when they watch, they should. I'm like, guys, don't keep pissing on about me and then let me know you're watching, because then I'll manipulate you.
So Double D is actually one of the reasons why I stopped doing why I stopped doing the rant streams, because he was up and coming at the time. I actually told him this on his stream, like, dude, you're going to pass me soon. And it is like, you know, I was saying that some people put more research into their stuff. He's one of the people. I would just get on the thing. Somebody show me a tweet or some nonsense. I'd be like, that's just stupid. You know,
he should thank me. He should thank me for helping grow his channel.
I don't know how much
he should thank me.
I honestly don't watch him. And this is no knock on him from me. I understand that you guys have beef. I get it. It's just I'm not looking for that kind of content anymore. But I knew that he was going to do it better than me, because he would research these people like what was the old D&D guy that they finally got rid of?
Well, he's the guy who took me out of context, so his research on me was lying.
Okay, fair enough. Again,
remember, he's the guy who started the story about me and my having a brother that I don't have. Right? He's the guy that started that whole thing. He admitted it, started the whole thing, and then when he get called out, he brought the video up again, and instead of just saying, look, yes, I made a mistake. Maybe he says he makes a mistake. I almost expected him to say that. No, he just cut it out of context again, played it again, say, oh, he does have a brother. It did happen. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking? Dude, why are you lying about that? I don't have a brother. I'm an only child. My woman never cheat. I get you don't like me, but what's the fucking point of continuing? Or maybe he was embarrassed that I called him out so clearly because he lied about that. I put the full video on.
Well, this honestly, Condor, this goes. And do you want me to call you Steven or Condor? I'm sorry, I'm so used to calling you Condor.
Steven's fine. Or, yeah.
This goes back to the Jerry Springer thing. Remember, Jerry Springer was popular, and this is not a knock on him. I did the same thing. He just does it better. So if there's a bone to chew on, it's just somebody on the internet is going to do it. It happens to be him and you on this one. Do I like it? I don't like lies. I don't mind jokes and memes. And you know, I used to say mockery isn't hate, and there's truth to that from me.
And I supported him on that too. But I said it's fine because he says his shit about me.
The lying part, I would like to, kind of stay away from that. But the point is, from me, and I'm not speaking for him. I don't know. I don't talk to him much. Is if he can Jerry Springer this thing for some views, remember, he's a YouTube channel as well. He wants views as well. And this is, but
I tell him, it's like, he wants me to go on the stream. And I'm like, well, dude, if I go on your stream, I get no views, no nothing. I won't grow. It does nothing for me. I just said to him, regardless of your heat with me, you have to make it that I can get something out of going on, and then I'll play your game. We're both YouTubers. I don't mind you growing off of me in a certain way, but there has to be a bit of scratch my back. And what you've done, though, DD, is you created an environment that based on your actions, I can't grow off of going on your stream. So then you make it useless for me to agree, even under conditions that, oh, hey, I can go. The guys will be like, you can go clear something up. But I'm like, for what? For absolutely nothing. I'll go on. He'll take his shots at me. You'll all be happy. I walk away with absolutely nothing out of it. And he has created that situation where I cannot grow off of doing content with him.
Yeah, so I mean, if you don't think it's in your best interest to go there, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. On the flip side, I don't think that there's anything wrong with him asking you. I don't know
I have nothing
how
to
DD would act. I really don't. He's pleasant with me. I get along with him. We don't converse every day because I think he does most of his stuff like you. He does most of his stuff on Twitter, and I avoid Twitter like it's.
I'm a small YouTuber. Nothing I say is going to hurt him. I know he's completely safe against me.
Well, no, I disagree with that a little bit, just a little bit. And here's how I disagree with that. If you sit there and you're reasonable, and he's trying to poke you all the time. I'm not saying he would do this. I'm just saying if he were to do that and people start to notice that, there are going to be a certain audience that just want to see him poke. I know this because it was happening on my chill stream. I get that. You saw that on my chill stream as well, right?
Oh, here's why I call him out too. They call me a locale, and I'm like, all right, dude, this is where you're socially unaware and you're nerds, and I'm going to call you out on this. You guys are mad at me over opinions about a game, and you pretend to laugh, but I know you're fuming at the mouth when you're pretending to laugh. So the real locale is the guy where it's like, Scott Garibay, okay, locale. But with me, they're not laughing because I'm funny. They're laughing because they're angry. And they don't want to tell and when you see them privately comment me, it's all anger. This is not like I'm a joke to be laughed at, because I know outside of them, outside of that echo chamber, when I go to people, to my 900 plus YouTube audience that are non-TTRPG people, none of them. Not a single one. And these are the people without a dog in the fight. So if I am a jackass, they're going to tell me. These are the people, no echo chamber, nobody. It's like, if I'm a jackass, they will know. So I should be getting the response from them that's the same from that echo chamber. I don't. Not a single, even the people that don't agree with me, don't see me as crazy at all. Completely normal, not a locale.
Well, I don't know.
Only guys that are, it's what I'm just saying with DD is what they are is, in a way, I'm not laughing at them, but they're the locales. And here's how easy I pick on DD. I did 3 videos, and I said, I just wanted to show him how I could fuck with him. I said, DD, and I did this on purpose. I really wasn't hating him, and I don't really care. And I just kept saying this just to show him how I could manipulate by repeating a statement about him and get him insecure about it, even as a big YouTuber. I just wanted to show him how I could manipulate right easy. I said, okay, I'm going to say he has a bitch voice. I remember the first video I said, okay. I said before recording, I was like, all right, I'm going to say he has a bitch voice. He has a soft voice. I'm going to pick on him about this soft bitch voice he has. But I'm not going to do it once. I'm going to do what he does to me. I'm going to hit him. In 2 days, I'll do another video. I'll say the bitch voice again. I'll go on my stream and I'll say the bitch voice again. By the next week, his audience was saying, man, you don't have a bitch voice. You're okay. I mean, it's just babying him because I heard him. And I wanted to show him, this is how easy it is for me to fuck with you, nerd. So why would you talk shit about me in real life, DD? You're a fucking nerd loser. You'd be hiding in the corner crying. So why talk shit to a guy I in real life talk the way I do? So it's like, DD, I know this is a show for your fucking little audience. And that's the reason I think he shut up about me. Every time he talks about me after 5 times, I bring out a 5-minute video. You want to see a guy get upset? Because I can destroy him. I'm not just a normal nerd like he is. And so it works in the echo chamber, but people outside of you don't actually think you're hardcore at all. It's like that Ryan guy in Rumble, Nerd Cognitive. It's nobody takes you serious, kid. Not outside of your circle. But I get their hates get big because other guys like them all like their shit. But I'm like, in real life, you're a nobody. Outside of your circle, you're a fucking nobody. And I'm more popular than you are. So if you want to step out into that world and talk shit to a man like me, well, guess what, DD? I can talk some real shit, dude. So you want to bring your...
This leads into my point a little bit, though, where...
He was not happy with me.
Where I'm saying, if you were to go there, I'm not saying you should or shouldn't. I'm just saying, if you were to go there and he were to do that, and he were to try to poke you.
Oh,
But everybody notices that you're there in good faith, kind of like our conversation tonight.
Yeah.
Everything tonight is in good faith. We're having, good conversation, yada, yada. He would make himself look like a bad guy. Like you see what I'm saying? There's going to be that group. Doesn't matter. I have it. You probably have it. I'm sure, Bruce's group probably
But I'm
has
sure
it.
you're more like me than that. I think you more relate with my not putting up with shit thing.
Well, no, I get it. What I'm saying is there's always going to be a core group of people that are going to support him no matter what. Okay. But he gets what? Last I looked, and it's been a while, he got 1,000 to 2,000 views per videos. I'm assuming he still gets the same. And if he doesn't, well, that's just what I remember seeing.
He has a consistent audience. I give him that, yeah.
Okay, if you've got 50 people in there that are consistent, you got another, well, I should go with 10%. But so we'll say 200 people that are always going to kind of support him no matter what. That other 1,800 though might be, whoa. You just talked to Condor was trying to talk. Sorry, Steve was trying to talk to you in good faith here, and was just answering your questions. And you kept trying to. We know the little jokes that you're doing. I don't know what he would do. My point is, I'm not worried about make him look bad doing that.
Yeah, but I would end up. See, here's what I know. Here's another reason I won't go on the street with him. I know I would just go on and talk shit. Like he would try to verbally cross me with his little two friends that are not very mentally strong people. I know what would happen if I started just ranting on him. He'd boot me because he's not going to be able to argue with it. And I don't hate DD, but he's not a strong guy. He's not. You can't even insult. You're right. I'm like, even your attacks on Scott are meaningless outside of your nerd friends. I mean, they're all impressed with it, but everyone else outside of here thinks you're just a weak guy talking about some other weak guy. It's nobody. I asked people I know that just are, hey, you hear him talk about this guy, Scott? I'm like, they call that shit talking, dude. He's like, oh, they're not friends? Because he didn't understand what I was pointing out to him because he hears the guy talking and DD has a soft voice. He doesn't talk like a tough guy. I'm like,
I can't talk when it comes to voices. Mine's kind of high, nasally.
In his circle, I understand because I DM for nerds all my life, like for 30 plus years. I know how they are. I know that I have to be sensitive around them. I know that their shit talk is really soft compared to the real world, right? And I know most of them don't know that. And so it's like when they talk shit, when DD talks shit to me, I'm just like, dude, I'm not really bothered. But if you keep doing this and I got to do a 5-minute video, trust me, you're going to shut up for 2 months. And every time he does some videos about me, you'll notice here's what happened with DD. He'll do 2 or 3 streams talking shit about me. Then I do a 5-minute video. And then for 2 months, I don't hear from him at all because I sting him. Right? I know I do because I get the reaction. Even his fucking partners come over and go, why are you being so harsh? I'm like, well, dude, maybe not talk shit about me for 3 streams if you can't handle it. Because I can talk some shit. Some real shit. So it's all.
I never had anybody back me up like that. No, I didn't care. No, yeah. if you don't mind, I'm only saying this because I do have your restream chats up here. So I'm saying when we start talking about other people, apparently they either go away or they go hiding or something. Is there anything on the gaming side more that you want to know about me? And I apologize. I'm not trying to take over your show, but I like to see chat moving in terms of like showing that you're being successful here.
Yeah, it could just be that we're late into it. Let's see if we can find. All right. Let's, because these are questions I have auto that are going to happen anyway.
Okay.
All right. Tell me about your friend. You mentioned him earlier. He's the guy who's done your show with you for years on.
Heathen Dog.
Heathen Dog. Let's talk about your friend. What's your experience like with him? Are you happy with the whole thing? Give me this.
So Heathen Dog's a friend from the Air Force. So I met him in the Air Force. He actually ran the mage game that I've sometimes talked about that is in. He was in my Earth Dawn game that Earth Dawn being probably my favorite game of all time.
Drink. I'm joking. You can go ahead.
I need water now, but
I just don't have anything.
There we go. Yeah, good call.
Yep.
But we've known each other for a long time. He was not originally part Legion of Myth. So Legion of Myth started as an MMORPG guild for Warcraft, although our first game was actually Star Wars Galaxies. That's
good. You're knocking out 2 questions. I had another question about you changing to TTRP.
We're on Legion of Myth 4.0 right now, as I call it. Well, I don't use the terminology anymore. 1.0 was an MMORPG guild. 2.0 was, what was 2.0? See, the history's gone. I used to have a website with
Yeah.
history on it. 3.0.
Yeah, comic books, was it 1.2?
No. 2. This is long before then. 2.0,
Okay.
I think, was when we spread out to be a multi. Yeah, that's right. When we became a multi MMORPG guild. 3.0 was when we actually decided to focus on reviews. Like, this is just typed reviews on forums and so forth. And then 4.0 became when we started the YouTube channel 10 years ago. So it's more for these. And I kept the name because I literally owned the trademark for the name and the game. So as much as even I want to change, like I want this logo right here without the circle and so forth, that would cost me a lot of money to do that. So I've chosen that. Guess what? I'm just going to keep the circle and all the other. Anyway, so it started off at that. Well, he didn't do guilds. He didn't do all of that. So he was kind of, we kept in contact, but it wasn't something we did like every day. Well, when we started the YouTube channel, it was myself, a guy named Rooks, who is actually a transgender, now named, well, I know he goes by, or she goes by Liliandra now. We had a falling out. I'm sure you understand why.
I've heard a bit about it. Yeah.
And Garthon, I was like, I want to do this thing. I started watching Angry Joe. And this is back when, before I knew Angry Joe's politics. And I was like, so this is like 2013 or 14. I'm like, I want to do something like that, but I want to do it on tabletop RPGs. Garthon, you love comic books. So, we'll talk about at that time, Crowfall was an MMO that was coming out that we were interested in. So we had these things like, I want to do this. I'm like, okay, let's do it. Well, then right off the bat, they said, okay, stop. We're going to be family friendly. I'm like,
well, you can't rant and be Angry Joe with family friendly.
And Garthon was adamant. He's like, I will not do this. And I'm like, well, I don't know anybody else that knows comic books as well. I'm like, mother bleep, I'm like, okay, fine. So I played along with that. Well, then I moved to Germany, and we kind of had a little rotation. Garthon was always there, but again, we didn't know what happened. Rooks fell off the planet. That's when I found out later that he actually transitioned and all that other stuff. Like, oh, well, that explains some things. So we had a rotating co-host come in, a guy we were in the Air Force, actually a couple guys we were in the Air Force with, blah, 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 right? Well, one time I reached out, and I didn't want to. I'm not going to lie. At this point, I did not want to, because Heathen Dog can be, I don't know what the term I want to use is. He can be very, very particular about how he's going to do, and sometimes not listen because he'll just, he's smarter than you, right?
Mm-hmm. I understand.
So I was like, crap, but I don't have anybody else to reach out to at this point, so I'm going to reach out to him. And I did. He agreed to do it, and he's on the show, and he was fantastic. I was like, for his first show, I was like, okay, that, I expected there would be a kind of clumsy show here, but, as we go on, he started off pretty good. He came back more and more. I think at first he still kind of rotated a little bit, but slowly over the course of a couple months, became him and Garthon. And I was absolutely like, dude, you are good at this. Awesome for what we're looking for. And to be fair, I'm spilling a little sausage here. He was more compliant, first of all, than I thought he'd be, but more compliant than Garthon. Garthon was literally, I'm only going to show up, I'm only going to do my comic, and I'm gone. I'm like, there's so much background stuff I need you guys to do, and I need you to do these things. He's like, no, I'm not doing
this.
Nerd.
That's the nerd in him right there. Yep.
So anyway, they went for 5 years. And this was an interesting thing for me, because after 5 years, we had to cancel the show because we're getting on Twitch, we got a few views because that was back when we were on Twitch also, more so than YouTube. We get a few views, but when I put the videos up on YouTube, I still have those videos that have 3 views. 3. Yep. I'm like, what the? And we're talking these are popular comic books, these are whatever. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Well, we had an exit poll, and it came out, and I said, what is the deal here? I asked a few questions, and we got a lot of respondents. So thank you to all the people who did that, if any of them are around. But it came out to this. I was only here for the anime reviews. I was only here for the tabletop gaming. I was only here for the comic books. That's it. I didn't care about the other stuff. And now Garthon and Heathen Dog were like, but you're nerds. You're supposed to like everything. Because I'm kind of the odd man out in this one. I'm like, interesting. You guys give me a bunch of crap because I don't like anime. And I don't read comic books. I never got into them, but I'm a TTRPG nerd. And you always thought I was the weird one. Weird how this seems to be, I wouldn't say a majority necessarily, but it's a lot. So I told Heathen Dog, I said, look, I want to be on these streams. I've got a whole bunch of pent up rage, and you can still see it in some of those videos. You go to I just had somebody complain about one of my old Hyperborea videos, because that was back when we were ranting, even in the gaming segments to some degree. And I didn't like that at all. but I was like, I'm part of Comicsgate. I'm doing, and I don't even like comic books, but I'm into this. I'm like, we got to push back against the woke crowd. We got to blah 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 blah. And I was like, you did such a good job with there. I'd like you to do this with me. Are you okay with this? He's like, yeah. Like, I thought he was gonna have a fight. Like, please. He's like, nope. He's just like, yeah, let's do this. And we've been doing it ever since. And what works for us, and I'm not saying this from my perspective, I'm saying this from outsiders' perspective talking to me, because I'm more spirit of the game and he's more letter of the game. We're both very pedantic about certain things, just a little bit different. We can actually go fisticuffs sometime. Anybody wants to go watch the Degenesis video when we talk about like the damage codes in there, we're shouting at each other. And he's calling me stupid and all this other stuff. Like,
I think it's perfect.
Doesn't happen often, because if it did, I don't think it would work. But it happens on occasion.
How boring would it be if you two just sat there and agreed with each other so much? Go on.
Right. No. You're absolutely right on that. So we have just enough disagreement to keep people interested.
Yeah.
But we have mostly agreement so that we can stay on topic, stay on what we're doing, and present the games that we like to present. So it just turned out to be one of those things that it's worked out wonderfully. And we're not totally different, but we're different people in the real world. I probably shouldn't say it this way because this isn't fully true anymore, but the easy way to put it is he is an old Democrat. I'm an old Republican. And so, we don't see eye to eye on politics pretty much at all, but we're both against the woke, right?
Yeah.
And of course that hurts him more than me because it's people that now don't like, but in a gaming concept, yeah, it's just one of those things where our differences are just enough to cause a little bit of friction that people can be like, okay, they care about what they're talking about, but we have enough agreement where we can keep presenting things that people like. So that's what I've heard on the outside. So it's been an absolutely wonderful time working with him. To be fair, he gets paid more than I do, even though I own the company, simply because I would feel horrible if I didn't pay him for his time and efforts that he puts into this. So that's probably the quickest way I can put that kind of covers the entire gamut there. But yeah, I absolutely enjoy it. Like, even through our disagreements, even sometimes leaving the show going, God, I look forward to next week going, all right, let's do this.
I don't know what the guy thinks of me because I've never heard it, but I'll put it this way without knowing anything. I actually like the Heathen Dog guy. Actually, I think he's actually interesting.
You and him would not get along. I'll just say you would not get along at all. And he's like you. He'll block you, broom you. He'll do whatever instantly. So
in a way, we're probably more alike in some ways.
Yeah,
we're probably more alike in ways, probably strangely. But that's probably why we would clash. Me and you, I think, on other things probably agree more, way more, like way more. Other than some things, most nights I've ever bothered. Where I say bothered, I don't want to say rudely. I don't have much time in life.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't. When I get accused of watching all kinds of people, I'll watch clips like a week later. I could tell most of the people thought I was watching that night. I'll be like, fair enough, guys. I get you think I'm there, but I'm not. I had work. I just don't have that kind of time to watch everyone. I remember, guys, but when I watch Heathen and you, I understood why Heathen wasn't good on the panel thing because he probably clashed with too many people. And I think
he's done the panel. Actually, the thing is Heathen Dog is smart enough to know. I mean, he's made a couple of mistakes. One, I shouldn't call it mistakes. There are a couple of things that linger that I know about that I don't think he does. And if I were to bring it up, he probably just wouldn't give a crap. So there's no reason for me to bring it up. But but he does. He actually did very well when he was on the GMI panels. I think I was still calling it the Rando stream at that point when he was on. But he did very well because he understands that this is supposed to be a panel for everybody. It's something that everybody's cautious about with him because we all know how he can be, but he absolutely is adult enough. And this is, again, why we get along. Because even when I'm like, oh God, I don't know if this is going to work. Oh geez. He understands his position. So
he's an edgy guy that you could worry about, but when you test him, you find out he's a little bit more socially aware than you think he is.
Yes. Yeah.
And without the edginess, which makes you think that about him, he probably wouldn't be as interesting as he is. That edginess is probably what makes him who he is.
I mean, I love it. So we cover Palladium obviously a lot. We've become really good friends with the Palladium guys. To be fair, we never intended for this whole Palladium thing to happen, like at all. It's just I was sitting around going, dude, I don't know what to do anymore. We're toning down the rants. I don't know. I'm sick and tired of OSR games. Sorry to all the OSR folks out there, but there are 5 million of them.
Well, we're going to
keep covering the same game.
Before you go on, this is one of my, before we get to just promoting your channel at the end, but this is one of my main questions. How rewarding has it been doing shows with Kevin, Siembieda? What have you learned and you're talking about? I'm going to let you just continue on, but I just wanted to let you know that was a main question I wanted to get out there because I know that's a
I'll be happy to
meaningful thing
talk
to you.
about that.
Yeah.
So as you know, to piggyback on what I was saying before and your question, I think it was 2022, if I remember correctly, I was just like, look, you like Palladium games, I like Palladium games, you like different Palladium games than me. I like Robotech, After the Bomb, TMNT, and he hates anthropomorphic animals. I hate riffs. I think, screw riffs.
Agreed.
Everything that Kevin says, this is what I made riffs for. I'm like, I hate that. I hate that. I hate that. Although they are converting me. I can't lie about that. They are converting me. But so I was like, let's do this year of Palladium books thing, because I know you know it well, and I know it fairly well, at least within the games that don't sell anymore. So he was like, yeah, let's do this. So we started, and it actually did really well for us. So when he walked off the dragon,
I don't know who he's talking about.
The Dragonlance playtest?
I figured he was talking about like either you or. I never forgot when he walked off after the Dragonlance playtest.
Oh no. Okay, no.
Okay,
that's a different one. Okay, I know what he's talking about. That's the 5e Dragonlance stuff. But okay, I got it.
Go back on your.
We're huge Dragonlance fans, by the way, and I do know you did a video on Dragonlance recently. I have not watched it though yet. So anyway, I just said, I want to have a focus for this year, because one of the things that YouTube likes is they want you to be particular. They want you to focus on something. I'm like, fine, we'll focus. We both like Palladium. Let's do it. And it generally ended up being successful. I never thought that would turn into talking to Kevin Siembieda, somebody whose games I've been playing since the 80s, right? I mean, to be fair, I've never been so scared to talk to somebody in my life, because I don't consider any gamer a hero or anything like that. But he's just a name. It'd be like me if I'm going in to talk to Gary Gygax, right? I mean, that's how important it is to me. I'm like, oh, crap. Well, so here's the first thing that happens. We talk to Kevin, and Kevin starts lighting me up. He's like,
what did you say about my shit?
No. It wasn't about his. It was about all the stuff we used to do on the Chill stream. Because as soon as he announced that he was going to be on our show, people came out of the woodwork to say how we're haters, how we're horrible people, clipped a couple of words. Again, I'm not going to say them here because I'm not going to get your channel in trouble, but they would actually get your channel literally in trouble for saying them about certain people and so on and so forth. He's like, what the hell? And even he said, like, he was nervous. He's like, I didn't know, because I didn't want you ruining my company and so forth. But what ended up happening is by the time he came on, we were pretty much out of the rant game anyway. They were still out there, but we were pretty much out of that game anyway. And we talked for a while, and he's like, John, you don't need to do this, whatever. I'm like, okay, you're being my dad, and I've never met you before. But to be fair, I appreciated it. The fact that Kevin Siembieda, a game designer from Michigan, that's 15 years or so older than me, whatever, came on and just basically in a very kind way was like, what are you doing? We love the coverage of our stuff, but then we got this other crap we got to contend with. And I'm like, that's fair. That's what that. But I did explain to him, we've stopped doing that, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, okay. And he never asked me to put that stuff behind a paywall. I literally only put it behind a paywall because it's not relevant anymore. That's the only reason it's behind a paywall. None of it is relevant anymore. Otherwise, I would have that public right now still. And but I liked it. The fact that he wasn't a jerk about it, but he came up, we talked. I was like, okay, maybe this is a little bit of the beatdown that I need right now to hear it from somebody who's a professional out there who wants, like, if we want to talk to more people, which I don't, but, and that's a whole different story. But there we go. I mean, and since then I've talked to him behind the scenes. We had like that Paramount issue, though that was more with Sean than it was with Kevin. Kevin will sometimes talk after a live stream for 4 or 5 hours. And my wife would start feeding me food, be like, shut up, he's got a business to run.
I sort of understand where Kevin's coming from, just to say this. I've always thought you were a talented guy doing some of this stuff. And I could tell a guy like Kevin, there's no way he's not going to notice that you're good at talking and doing this shit. And he's a guy who's a little bit higher up the mountain than you. And at the part where he's at, you can't just say this stuff casually in public. Mm-hmm. You'd have to say it on Discord and leave that away. Right. But the thing is, he probably, like me, regardless of the issue he has with this, he likes the other part. And that's obvious. I think it's obvious. I see him. Yeah. Cool.
We talked after just this last live stream on Sunday, and I'm got some consternation about things that are going on with YouTube now, and things that I've got to do, and I'm like, this, that, next thing. And he's like, and I was telling him, I said, I'm not going to do it, but man, You know how easy it'd be just to go back to ranting and start, because people used to just do like super chats like this when I'd be ranting. Now it's like pulling teeth to get that from folks. And he's like, John, don't do it. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to. But just still hearing from him that he cares that much, and he's like, your channel, you know what? No, like you don't need to do that. He absolutely is on the positive side of stuff. He's not toxic positivity, but he's one step underneath that sometimes, where he just a rising boat, rising ocean lifts all ships kind of thing, where
I think he understands you get a minimum amount of money doing this, but if you break a certain thing, there's way more money beyond the certain thing.
Well, there's also consequences.
I get what you're saying, but I'm just saying.
Never threatened me. Never once has Kevin or Sean threatened me. They've been nothing but the opposite. But I would hate to hear these words from Kevin. Yeah, I don't think we can talk anymore.
That would suck.
That would, like, I could hear that. I could probably hear that from Heathen Dog. No, this isn't true, but you get the point. I could probably hear that from Heathen Dog before I'd want to hear that from Kevin Siembieda. And I'm not going to say that Kevin hasn't had his run-ins with people in the past, so on and so forth. I know nothing about them other than what people have said, and I know how the internet is. But Kevin Siembieda has been one of the nicest, friendliest, best people that I have ever freaking talk to. We've had other people out. Have Alexander McCrease on. Love talking to him. Like he's fun to talk to. We've had oh my god, Mark McKinnon, big eye, small mouth guy. Up there in Canada.
What about the Ruinhammer guy? Have you had Ruinhammer? I don't want to be one of these stupid audience members. I just don't know. Ruinhammer. Have you had him on?
I don't think so. No, doesn't sound familiar. I'd have to know the name, but
I'll leave you on your time, on your fucking time. You go ahead and look it up. Ruinhammer, very popular.
I know the game. School. I just haven't had the.
No. The guy, a YouTuber called Ruinhammer.
I got you.
You know who I'm talking about now?
I do and I don't. I did an analytics on my channel at the beginning of the year to find out who my competitors are, and he came up by AI. It made him my #1 competitor. I'm like, okay.
Well, he's an old school guy who leaped into 5e because you know how touchy the old school audience is, and he went straight from making nothing to getting with 5e people, but talking old school.
A lot, yeah.
And right away, he did a version called Hardcore 5e. Put it out. He actually made money on this thing. It's actually quite popular, and but he still sticks with the old school mindset. But just he knows if he serves that audience, it's like Dungeon Professor when he started. Go watch his channel. He did the same quality content for probably the first year or so. It's all the same quality content he did later. The old school was picky about things he said, wouldn't give him solid, stable support. The second he goes, okay, I'm going to venture over to some other content in the table, right away, stable support, guaranteed safety. It's like I tell some of the old school guys, Matt Colville's audience, 30% of what he says they disagree with, and they keep sub to him. And they keep liking his videos and watching his content. I said, over here, you wonder why YouTubers have a problem when 98% of what they say is what you like, but because they say 2% of what you don't like, they lose your support or it becomes fidgety. That's not true for any other audience in the hobby.
I think there's some truth to that. It didn't hit me right away, but over time, I think some of that has happened. And I'm not accusing anybody or blaming anybody, but I also think that, to be fair, I have to be very fair when I say this. I don't watch many YouTubers in terms of the tabletop RPG hobby. I used to do it when I had a very small circle, so to speak. I used to watch everybody. I would watch Grim. I would watch you. I would watch Patty. I'd watch the Basic Expert. I'm just trying to throw out names out there. I don't even know who I was watching. GM, whatever. Like I would try.
It's a mix.
But as time went on, I'm like more and more. It turned into I don't have time for this anymore. And now then people are like, did you watch my video? Did you watch my video? I'm like, I can't keep doing this. I want to support like everybody out there, especially people who've come across my channel, and I help give them some support that help them grow. I can't do it. So now I don't really watch anybody. Like I can't even think of a YouTuber I watch at all. And now it got me using that term. That's funny.
I watched some. I didn't have a lot of time. I did skim some of your recent stream, but that's only because I was getting the interview ready to talk to you, and I wanted to see if there was anything I could just pick up from that and figure it was cool. I think you guys talked about player or something. I can't remember the details. I remember there's a guy there that was very unhappy about elitist DMs, which just made no sense to me. He's a 4D guy.
That would have been in GMI. Okay, that'd been in GMI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The elitist DM thing, I was like, That doesn't even exist. Like, who the fuck? Who talked to this guy? Who taught him anything about gaming?
So,
Elitist
before I came
DM.
on here, because I don't use Restream anymore, but sometimes we use Restream for other people I know. And where it says Maxley, I'll Legion Myth there. Before I came on here, it said elitist scrub, because that's exactly what we took from that thing. So
He made me feel like I was like, am I oppressing you? Am I an oppressor? Like, he makes it sound like so. Oh, you're just elitist DM trying to tell me what to do. I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do. Calm down.
The 4D guys make some good points. Like I told Rick, 28 millimeter, a couple years ago when they were trying to explain the 4D thing for me. I said, look, I think you make some good points. They call me 3D, which, okay, that's good enough. I like living in the real world anyway. But I think that 4D hits that mountaintop and then starts to fall off the other side. That's just my take. Let them have some fun. But you know what? I think you guys go too far with this stuff.
It's just too much. It's all it is. And I picked on Shiner because I'm like, you can't even do it, dude. Everything live you put it, and he privately, he acknowledged that. So it was like, too bad I couldn't share that conversation, but that was the way Shiner was. I was never allowed. He would bitch at me all night on a 4-hour stream, and then talk to me about half an hour after the stream was over. Hey man, could you talk? I was like, you just shit on me for 4 hours. He's like, yeah, but I'm bored. Okay. So I don't know if that's your wife, but yeah. The 4D guys, my issue with them is.
Excuse me, just 1 second. I am listening, but I've got to mute.
Yeah.
All right, I'm back.
All right, welcome back. But yes, with that, I felt like, Sean, you have a hard time doing it because it's too consistent. And I said, I pick on it because I'm like, the guys you're criticizing on your streams, the guys that he would put somebody playing the game, right? So they're not doing exactly 4D. They're going to do normal D&D shit. And he's like, I'm like, I tell him afterwards, I'm like, dude, you role play as well as they do. So why you shit talking them? And he laughed, and because he knew I was giving him shit, because he knew I was not impressed with his role play. I thought it was actual crap. I was like, the only reason I said I give you heat, I tell Shiner, man, it's your own fault for making this standard. That's why I bug you about it. I only poke you with this shit because you keep saying this is important, but you can't even do the thing you say is important. And then most of the guys you're promoting can't do the thing, and they talk about how they fail at it all the time. I'm like, there's probably a reason you're all failing. It's because it's drama class and not a fucking game. You've gotten to the point where everything is cycled out to the point you sterilize it. It becomes a drama class. You're pretty much acting more than you are playing an honest game. And I said, dude, the reason I said, unlike you, Shiner, I enjoy the dice rolling. I enjoy the breaks. I enjoy the question of the game mechanic out there. But I agree. I don't want to lose a rhythm. I don't want to have it break on purpose. There's things where I would get close to them on. Mm-hmm. I get it. I get the being in the imagination. You don't want the flow broken. I get that. That's really important. But there's times where I think the flow can still stay with you. Or immersion, as you say, is not just in the imagination, but it's in the experience of the game. It's like what you're doing. You're asking the question, the DM the question at that point. He's like, well, why would the guy stop and ask that question? I'm like, well, it is a game. So he might want to know some shit before he says yes or no. And most people ask stupid questions trying to figure stuff out. That's common for humans. They might not put it together like, okay, that nerd is playing tonight, right? He hasn't thought about this for 15 years, Shiner. He's going to ask a stupid question, which should be obvious, but guess what? He's fucking nervous. He's trying to figure this out. And
at your table. Don't let him at your table. That would have been his response.
That would have been his response. And I'm like, well, then there goes 99% of players. You can't have a hobby. If that guy can't go to your table, you don't have a hobby. You don't have a market. Everyone making games, there'd be no traveler. There'd be no nothing. You wouldn't have a market. You wouldn't have nothing. So it's either you accept those players, because that's the vast majority. And I know this from being a public DM and DMing thousands of them. If you don't accept them and you only count it's nice to have a home group, but I would tell the home group guys, you make up less than 10% of the people taking part in the hobby. I appreciate that you have an exceptional situation. And given that you're only less than 10, that's still lots of people. I get that you number in fucking a surreal number, but don't confuse yourself. That's still a small percentage. Even TSR with the tournament play and public play acknowledges openly all the time the vast majority of their customer base were people that weren't at home. They were the people that had no friends. They were, like you said, you described them earlier. Most of us are nerds, antisocial, have no friends, no nothing. I'm like, Yeah, when you're a public DM, you really find that out. You get into the hobby and you go, man, so we made a game for people that have no friends. No wonder I have to exist. I don't know how many people would have never touched these games if people like me didn't have the nerve to go out and run a game for them. No friends, no chance of a game. This is the vast majority of people. I'm like, I get at home, you have an opinion. I get later in 20 years, you'll make a YouTube channel and you're going to have a lot of strong opinions about what you and a minority of people did in the hobby. And I'm going to have a different experience with the other 90+% of people. And that's going to be the vast majority. And we're going to come on. I'm going to clash with you because you tell me about your less than 10% home experience. And I tell you about my over 90% public experience. So and Gary and them seem to understand what I was saying. And if you go to DF or his reactions, it would all be based on things that I'm saying. And I'm like, guys, why isn't we're doing D&D here? Why are at least I'm not a religious guy with the Gary. I'm not one of these guys that everything Gary says. I disagree with him often. I say
we called them priors of Gygax. I don't know if you watch Stargate at all, but we used to make fun of them, call them priors of Gygax.
I consistently disagree with some things Gary pushes all the time in my content. Then there's some things I just agree with him on. It's not about praising him. I just agree with him on it. What the fuck am I supposed to do? I agree with him on it. So if he's making a point on that and he's agreeing with me, I just say on the gamble, it's more likely this and that. And some guys be like, yeah, well, most. I remember a guy argue with me. I'm like, well, I took the comments from TSR staff. I checked out their research, and they said when they were in existence that the majority of their customers were public. The guy disagreeing with me doesn't know that he's just, no, we're all home DMs. I'm like, no, but I get how much you value your experience. It's just not the majority. And there's millions of old school people online. There is. It's globally. I mean, not talking about just America, the States, but globally, millions of guys who from even late 30s to 50s to 60s, millions of active purchasing people online in the old school. I said, if you home guys are so popular on YouTube, well, why does Matt Colville, who talks differently than you, why does he have a massive old school tabletop role-playing game audience compared to the guys that are the home guys that play with their home groups? I'm like, maybe you don't relate with the community as much as you think you do. And the vast majority of guys relate with more public gaming, which is what Matt Colville talks about a lot. They're going to go relate with his content. And I said, it's a shame because public DMs made up the majority of the old school, but I don't hear them represented amongst the YouTubers outside of me. But I'm like, well, I hear Matt Colville talking like me, and all the guys had that majority experience. No wonder Matt Colville has more old school guys than every YouTuber in the old school combined.
Well, I know who Matt Colville is, but I don't watch his content.
I don't watch it religiously either, but I look at his numbers. Yeah. I was in two of his Discord groups, and I start talking to guys. I'm realizing, why are all you guys old school guys? Like, I thought he was 5'8". I thought he was.
But see, I wonder though, yeah. And this is the part where I was saying earlier that I hate what WotC did, but understand its business practices.
Yeah,
I'll be upfront with you. Here's something that somebody we mentioned earlier tonight, and I get into a lot of arguments over. I want the hobby to go back to being niche. I mean that. I want it to go back to where we're being bullied. I want it to go back to where I can't talk about it at work.
Like I told you, I got cursed out for trying to run it for normal people. Guys like that said, Steven, you're enabling these people to come in to the fucking water down what we're doing. Stop it. They'd freak out at me. Nerds would freak out. And they write letters to Gary all the time.
Well, see, I used to be of the opposite. I used to be like, bring anybody who wanted to play, be like, yes. But here's the difference, though.
Yeah.
Anything that becomes mainstream, and I'll use the example that I like to use all the time. I used to be big into MMORPGs. Do you know what game ruined MMORPGs? World of Warcraft.
Agreed.
What? How could it be? It's the biggest one ever. That's literally why it ruined it. It dumbed everything down. When I played EverQuest, or when I played, Ultima Online, when I played Asheron's Call, you had to get a group. There's no soloing. You had to get a group, or you're going to get killed. You had to put in time. There'd be times when I get called at 3 a.m. Such and such has popped. We got to go. Dude, I got to work in the morning. Well, do you want to be in the guild or not? Okay, yeah, fine. You know, and I'm not saying like I bet you chat will light up. Be like, I will never play a game like that. Good, that's fine. I don't care. You're not meant to play a game like that. Guess who also isn't meant to play a game like that anymore? This guy. So I understand that.
I get where you're going.
But World of Warcraft all of a sudden comes out where we're going to instance everything, and then we're going to have group finders, and we're going to try to balance, and we're going to put in this. It's like, this isn't what it's supposed to be. A community. It's supposed to be, we're competing, and some people get things that other people don't get, so on and so forth. So bring this back to the tabletop RPG.
Yeah,
I understand why WotC's a business, and it has to. Yeah, Dark Age of Camelot was awesome as well. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Where it has to reach out and, it has to make money, right? But by doing, though, it has to do the things that us more puritanical gamers, so to speak, don't like. Well, you know what? We found out that people don't like race class limitations. So let's just remove that. What? This is Dungeons and Dragons. Make your own game. I promise you this. If it was called WotC Fantasy Role Playing First Edition instead of Dungeons and Dragons Third Edition, I'd absolutely be fine with 100%. But because there are always other games out there. Remember when I was saying earlier in the stream that in the 90s we had all these games that we would play, like we'd try this one, try that one, take pieces of this one. But don't ruin the crap that already happened. Well, they went out of business. How is it ruined? I don't care if a game goes out of business. I don't. Sorry for saying that for the people who work there, but sometimes maybe you've run your course.
Yeah. But at the same, here's where I push back on old school guys. Here's where I get critical with them on this stuff. And I get where you're coming from, and you probably more agree on this than you think I would. But just my slight pushback on some of the guys, I'd be like, okay, fair enough if they go to business because you won't give them the money to keep them alive. And TSR was warning their customers.
I mean, I tried.
and having a few people, that's fine. But it's like TSR did try to put out warnings like, if you guys don't support us, we go to business. And then we stop influencing the hobby. They were telling their customers this. Sure. And you're the minority. So if you let this go, understand people will pick it back up. You have no control over this. People want to make money. So either you help us and we can maintain the thing that you want and make more products. And here's the thing. The old school guys, I can understand if they said, look, just if you're out of business, you're out of business. And this is what we got. Problem is, most old school guys wanted new stuff. They weren't just like, oh, it's okay that you're going out of business. No, they were like, we're not going to pay you. We're not going to keep you in business. But somehow, and I don't understand how nerds it's like so out of the reality sense. It was like somehow they think by not giving people the business money that somehow the business can still stay open. Like I heard nerds talk about TSR like after it went out of business. How'd that happen? Well, they were just telling you to your face how it happened, and if you supported them, they have control over D&D. If not, someone else will pick it up later, which is what Gary said. There's money here, and if we don't protect this, somebody else will do whatever they want with it.
To be fair, though,
but that's exactly what happened, right?
TSR jumped the shark a little bit too. So like for me, I didn't like Dark Sun, but I had friends that did, and believe me, they bought all the Dark Sun stuff, and like I said, forced me to play that stupid bug guy. But
I agree that the birth rate was
for me, I was absolutely into the splat where some other people weren't. But I was into, again, you can barely see them there. Oh, where the hell's my finger? Right there. You can see some of my splat right there. I was into that because I like things that fed my imagination. But I never liked Planescape. I thought Planescape was one of the dumbest settings ever created. I love the first edition Manual of the Planes. It's an amazing book, absolutely fantastic book, because it doesn't try to solve everything for you. It just says, here are the planes. This is generally what they're like. Go Game Master. I love that. But so TSR for me was like, what are you making? What like Spelljammer? Really? Although I do own most of Spelljammer stuff, sorry to say, but you get what I'm saying. So I will tell you, and again,
I think it's a combo effect. I don't disagree with you. I think TSR did its own shit. Remember, I criticized Birthright being a waste of money, so I'm more with you than you think I am. I think it's a team sport that it failed, but Gary wasn't wrong. It's like, this is money. This is now a market, and look, here's what. And he warned, and I think Gary was wise on this, and I agree with him. If you have a good relationship with WotC and they see you, if they accept you, if they don't think you turn them off and they don't push you away, if they see you as customers, and this is what and I think he was so wise on this, if they see you as their customers because you're not giving them too much pushback, you'll have more influence over the company. If your mindset, the pushback on WotC, becomes something the staff there starts pushing back against, they'll start serving other people and not you. So you better have a good relationship with WotC. Make them think that you're the customer. So when you finally do complain later, though you keep buying, they'll take you serious to serve you. If they think you're not buying the product because of the way you abandoned TSR, WotC already, most of the staff that works for WotC are TSR guys. They already know you fucked them with TSR. They are not going to keep kissing your ass if you don't establish a good relationship with them.
Well, WotC was specifically, and this is the research I did a couple of years ago to find out more about this. WotC went out of its way to get new customers. It honestly, and this is, I'm being a little hyperbolic. Didn't care about the old customers at all. And again, little hyperbole in there. But again, when they're saying things like, we want people to say play D&D, not settings, and yada yada. But here's the ultimate for me. Most people that I ran across, no matter how many they say they own the books, which I think you can barely see them right there.
Yeah.
No matter how many people said that they own the books, the black books, the power, the skills and powers, the combat and tactics, and all that were universally reviled by second edition players.
Oh, AD&D 1, it's both editions. I don't think most people accept this to this day. I'm a second edition. I love second edition. Most people hate it. First edition, most of the people that came in and purchased it don't like it. That's just the absolute fact. TSR accepted it. It killed them before second. Second edition was a gamble. That was a money risk. So was Birthright. So was everything else. And they kept risking money because they lost their customer base before second edition even hit the fucking thing. Even though you'll hear some revisionist type of people trying to tell you something different about the history of what really happened. TSR staff all acknowledge AD&D 1 wasn't heroes. And that's what most people wanted. They got the dungeon crawl, got bored of it. What was it? They just didn't want to.
I mean, focusing on dungeon crawl, I agree with. But when those black books came out, like I said, they were, and I'm talking pieces of crap right here.
Yeah, like, I know what you're talking about.
Like, hated them. But how much of this made it to third edition? What, 50%, if not more, 70%?
Tieflings, a lot of it, yeah.
Well, but I'm talking specifically these weird rules that were in some.
Oh yeah,
like, this is high level campaign that we like.
Feats come from second edition, not third.
But what they were is they were targeted. They're like, okay, that's fine. The second edition people are just going to keep playing second edition or first or whatever it is that they're playing. Basic. We're going to go find the new audience, and this is why I'm saying. I just wish they would have used a different name because somebody like me, that I'm an IP purist in pretty much all things. For the love of God, if you would have made WotC Fantasy Role-Playing First Edition, I probably would like it. But all these changes you made and still calling it Dungeons & Dragons, I get it. You own the IP. I can't fault you for that. You literally technically own it. It is yours. But it's not Dungeons & Dragons, man. This is a different game. And as long as it says, Dungeons & Dragons on there, I expect the Dungeons & Dragons look, feel, and whatever. And, we talked about Palladium earlier. Even when Palladium riftified, that's kind of the term that's used not with them, but outside with us, riftified some of their first edition because they have first edition for a lot of games, and they have revised because, would you say times have changed? Some of the things that were considered mental insanities then are not considered that now. And then second edition was a kind of a change to unify stuff under the Rifts umbrella because that is by far their biggest seller, right? Mm-hmm. It's still mostly fantasy, you might argue this one, but it's still mostly backward compatible with very few tweaks, like first and second edition were, and you can keep playing 45 years and they're using the same basic rule set. Now, some people call that a fault. I say that's a blessing.
That's the 30% framework that we talked about earlier. That's the framework that keeps every game that you can take old school and mend them together. And
it's funny. I laughed when you said that word earlier because that's literally Kevin. I kind of coined that phrase for Palladium specifically, where I'm like, when people argue about the Palladium rules, it's because they're trying to do this. Hold on. Do I get a +1 or do I get a +2? According to the table here, Palladium isn't built like that. Palladium is built for cinematic play. It's for you, Steven, to say, I have +10% to your roll. Where'd you get that rule from? I pulled it on my butthole because I feel that you're doing something beneficial right now, and you deserve +10%. It is literally the frame, the foundation, and the 4x4s to build the house. Now, do you put in a bay window, or do you have a security lock door?
And you should always feel that way if you're playing some version of that or something. Yes. That is what it is.
Palladium people argue about rules all the time and just go batshit crazy over it. Now, in D&D, you could just go, well, it says right here that that's the rule. Where in Palladium, you're like, well, it says that here, but over here, it's a little different. And some more modern game masters don't like that. They want that definitive. Kevin is very old school. Kevin is very flexible. Kevin wants you to play the game your way. Like, people think there are a lot of rules in his books because they're thick. There's a lot of equipment, and there's a lot of
that's exactly
fluff.
I agree 100% with that. Yep. Because I really have read the books just like you have. I've not fucked around and skipped them. So I agree with you when you say it's a lot of good fluff. Some of the best Robotech material I took for just other things where I was like, shit, Kevin really, really loves this shit. Like,
yes.
Not just the game, but the themes he would put with the game was love, was real. Robotech was awesome.
Absolutely. Now, is he great at writing rules? No, we can, but we got Sean to help him with that, okay? And when I say no, I don't mean that the rules are bad. I mean, let's be honest, some of the Palladium books layout, it's like, where the hell do I find the range for bows in Palladium Fantasy? Yeah. Oh, it's under the weapon proficiency, not on the equipment itself. But, there are some idiosyncrasies there
you get used to.
That we put up with that modern gamers won't. But when it comes to lore, the gaming industry, and I hope this does not happen for at least a couple of decades, and I'm talking about his retirement, not his death. When Kevin leaves this, we are going to lose something amazing. Whatever you think about his game system, which again, I think people complain that most of, not all, but most of the complaints that people have about his system, I can push right back at the game master and say, why is this even an argument?
When the guy leaves, he made a system, he made a thing that will be here in 1,000 years.
Sure.
So there will always be people like yourself that will dig it up sooner or later, even if you drop it. Mm-hmm. If things are popular enough, some things do disappear in history. We have to accept that. If I just made something that went nowhere, no one's going to hear about it in 10,000 years. It's gone. I mean, completely gone. Somebody has to rethink that idea up themselves. Kevin's stuff will be here because of the popularity. It has edged American history. And when you look back at this time, you'll hear about Robotech. There's no way there. It's too legendary. It comes right out. It's one of the core games. I call it a core game because there's not too many popular games, right? In reality, a lot of them are fucking schisms on the side, right? He made something incredible. I give Kevin credit for this. Most guys did not succeed at this, so it's so hard that when you finally meet the guy that does, you should go, "Here's your flowers, dude." Like,
well, look at the people that he was in the industry with. Of course, we know, Gygax Artisan with TSR, Menstner, oh my God, Kuntz, like whatever names, are out there. Tim Kask, who recently passed away, unfortunately. Yeah. But you got Kevin. Let's see, where's GDW right now? Where's West End Games right now? Where I can go down the list. I'm not going to do that. But where are a lot of these companies that were out there back then? One of my favorite games of all time is the West End game Star Wars. I love that system. I absolutely love it for the original trilogy. Now I get some people that D20 is better. I think D20 probably handles the.
You're talking about the D6 stuff, right?
Yes.
Yes, that's what I like. That's what I played. Yes, the D6 stuff.
It's so captured. I don't know if it's accidental or on purpose, but it so captures the original trilogy. You can feel just like Han Solo or a stormtrooper, your own whatever. Like, how did they do this? like I really feel the D20. I don't feel like I'm in Star Wars. I just feel like I'm playing some random other game. But that company's gone now, and you look at these. Kevin is still there. There's been a couple issues with the company over the 45 years, but boom, and it's like, man, the fact that right now the Detroit Historical Museum is giving him props after 45 years. You're like,
I've seen that. Yeah,
it took you 45 years. I mean, I get where if there was like a gaming museum, like in the middle of Texas somewhere, something like that, I could see that taking some time. But Detroit. He's never really left that area. It took you 45 years to give him the recognition for this stuff. What the hell,
So stupid. Yeah, because his stuff was popular long before now. So, I mean, what the fuck are you guys doing? He's already famous. Like, acknowledge who he is. He's already a somebody.
Yeah.
He doesn't need you to make him a somebody, but you should acknowledge him. He should not be like, oh, you got Gary? What about Kevin, man? Like, Kevin really is a legendary guy in the hobby. There's going to be very few people that can even be him going forward. Ever.
Right. And others have tried. I mean, you could look at Steve Jackson, whatever you think about him. I have no use for the guys because he gets too political on his I don't care what you do on your personal site, but on his company site. So I refuse to back anything that he does anymore because of that. But I mean, he's got a lot of stuff for GURPS that people like in terms of like, oh, I like GURP Space.
Yeah.
Nobody plays. I don't know anybody. I shouldn't say nobody, but I don't know anybody that actually still plays GURPS. There's a couple people who threaten it, but they love his books on like the space setting or the fantasy setting or the whatever setting.
Yeah.
So I mean, there are some contenders out there, but have any of them been as prolific as Palladium? And I own maybe a third.
Not even close.
If
Not even close.
So, and I'm not here to kiss Kevin's butt on this, but it's that when you ask the question about our talks with Palladium, there's literally, and I never knew it at the time, there's literally nobody that I'm happier to talk to than Kevin Siembieda. Now, maybe at one point I would have said Lou Prosperi, he's one of the designers of Earth Dawn, or oh my God, why can't I think of his name right now? BattleTech, not Randall. Well, even Randall Bills, but a couple names from BattleTech. But no. I'm so happy to know Kevin, and if I die tomorrow, if I die in 50 years from now, that'll be my favorite thing in the gaming hobby, is that I got to become friends with Kevin Siembieda.
I don't even take it as smoke blowing up his ass. If you earn it, man, there's very few people we can even talk about this way. Very few people we could even take the time out to give such praise to, other than like a guy like Kevin. So no, I don't. I just, it's like, let him have his moment. He probably hasn't had it properly for years, and no one. There's not like some big focus on him when in 100 years they should be doing documentaries on this guy.
Well, he's doing, and
they should be doing it now, but
he is. This is awesome on the Palladium channel. It's Palladium Books, and I think it's like 834 or something like that. I don't know why they don't just have Palladium Books, but maybe somebody took it at some point. But on the Palladium Books channel, he's been sitting down with oh my God, I always forget this guy's name. I feel so horrible because he's such a good guy. Anyway, he's sitting and he's doing the history of himself and Palladium and so forth. I don't know what episode they're on now, but I think they got like 50 recorded and they've got more planned. There's Breakfast Puppies is the YouTube channel, but the Glitter Boys, they do a great job also of talking more historical. See, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I have no problem talking to Kevin about history and listening to it. But to be fair, it's not fully my interest. And it's not about him as a person. I'm talking about for me in the gaming sphere. And if I only have like 2 hours or 3 hours to talk to Kevin, I want to know more about the games. That's just my take. There are already people out there doing the
history thing,
doing the history side of it, and they're probably doing it better than me. We were talking about 5e before. It's like, if you start covering 5e, you'll do better, right? But there are already people out there who've done it and will do it better than I ever will, because things like action economy are interesting.
Same, yeah. I totally agree with you. Yeah, I relate with that too. I wouldn't do. I don't think I'd grow off 5e, because most guys that would do it, let alone the content they want, they would do it better than I would. It's just, I'd be flaky, so I'd rather just do things the way I do. I find myself having a hard time carving out, because I'm not that popular here, and I'm not one of these people that pretend I have to be. I know I'm never going to be big on YouTube, because I'm not a professional entertainer, nor would I put the type of work in that you put in, because I make money in life elsewhere, right? So it's not like I'm completely dead poor or not getting by well, but I know I make some money, like with selling the game. I sold quite a few compared to what I thought I was going to. It's not like I sold enough to get some medal or something on there, but I'm shocked. I am shocked, though, for reasons. But you want to know what? After that experience, I just why I don't mind talking about a guy like Kevin and giving him some flowers, because, like, yeah, if you can do that, dude, fuck, Now. Let's talk about your channel. Legion of Myth. Go ahead, give me a picture on your channel. Tell us what shows are coming up and all that good stuff, because we're about at the 4-hour mark here.
Oh, it is 4 hours. See, again, I'm used to this. So
yeah.
So Legion of Myth. The main thing we do, and I like this term that I'm using now, is we expose you to games and we expose you to ideas. So on Sundays we have RPG Digest. I have to there you go. I have to give credit to Heathen Dog for that name. He said he wanted to call it RPG Digest. I went in and found out that there's actually a word jest, G-E-S-T, which is actually, we'll say, story related. I'll let people go look that up on their own. So I could use the word D-I-E for, a singular die, RPG Digest. So give him credit for the name. I love it. I think it's an absolutely fantastic name for that. But on there, we do deep dives, read-throughs, fundamentals, overviews, and sometimes how-tos on some of your favorite or most hated games. We take requests. To some degree, again, it depends what it is. This year, I'm covering the Kevin Crawford books, so I'll be starting with Stars Without Number, going into Worlds Without Number, then Cities Without Number, and then Ashes Without Number. See what happens after that. If there's any part of that we skip, please, by all means, donate and we'll do more. Heathen Dog does better on the overview side of it. He's just much better at that kind of concept of doing overviews than I am. So he's doing overviews, and we covered like the Rifter, like how to roll dice. He's got some other stuff that he's kicking off that I can't remember what it is, but we're a little more flexible in his segments. So that's the Sunday stream. The Friday stream is Game Master Insight. And that's where I get a bunch of panelists on. Well, 3 panelists specifically. I'm hardcore about that. I have a bunch of strict rules about this because I want the best show for you out there. My preference is one person who thinks this way, one person who thinks that way, and one person who might be kind of in the middle. This week, for example, we're going to be talking about lethality consequences in games. So we got one person that's all into the heroic gaming and thinks that games should be more fun, more heroic, more flexible. I don't know what word I want to use there. Where we got somebody who's going to be on who's like, kill them all. So exaggeration, but you get, and then somebody who's kind of in the middle. So you get different perspectives, so you can figure out what works at your table. And so yeah, that's Friday at 6 p.m. and Sunday at 1 p.m. Central Time, and those are the 2 shows that we've got.
All right, man. I hope you enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun.
4 hours. Legit, it was like a normal stream for me. So that,
no, I know. I don't do the 4-hour thing that often, so I don't have too many guests on. So it was a lot of fun talking to you, man. We're going to keep talking, but I'm going to say goodbye to all of you. Love you. I appreciate your time. Go over and check out this guy. Give him some love. Sub to his channel. Do all that stuff if you're just being introduced to him. For all you guys out there that are here loving your friend Max, we appreciate the time. Take care. Yeah. And you'll see this popping up on Max's channel sometime in the next 24 hours. All right. Take care.